education and have many friends of the same age. Instead of being locked in a room and bullied by those malicious adults. As for the relationship between you and me, I really want to marry you, to give you stability and a status. But I know better than to say that you and I will end up fighting each other. Today, Li Yuan wanted to speak out, and he didn't want to hide it anymore. You know my feelings very well, but you never took my feelings to heart. You only care about your Daqian, your empress, and your principles. My daughter, you don't care. You also don't care about my pleading. For your sake, I can never send troops to Daqian, but can you not take action against Biaoyang? To this day, Daqian is in such chaos, but I have never sent out a single soldier. Do you really think I care about that so-called reputation as a traitor? Which of the ancestors of the Three Kingdoms emperors did not establish the country with the reputation of being a traitor? Everyone below is advising me. I'm just saying, the timing is wrong. Damn it. This is the wrong time. There are many heroes vying for supremacy in Daqian, and there is no better time than now. But I didn't do it. Because I care about what you think and I'm afraid you'll hate me. Li Yuan pointed to his heart and said, 5 years ago, you came to Biaoyang and know what the situation is like in Biaoyang. I spent every day in fear, afraid of being captured and dismembered by the barbarians. Where is the court? Where is the empress? If the imperial court had ever controlled me, I would never have interfered in today's disaster. But they didn't. I can't deceive my own heart. How can I be loyal to Daqian and the empress? You know my dad is vicious. If Liu Su hadn't rescued us in time, my mother, my brothers and sisters would all have died. Where was the empress at that time? If I have to be loyal to that damn Daqian even if my family is destroyed, can I be considered a loyal minister? Let me tell you, it's not that I haven't thought about sending troops to expand the territory, but what can stop me is never reputation. It's you. Xiao Ji and Jia pursed her lips and said nothing, which hit Li Yuan hard. He laughed at himself and said, yes, for someone whose heart is not here, what's the point of me saying all this? You have seen what you should have seen, and I have said what I should have said. Xiao Ji and Jia was very confused. Li Yuan's words were like a blunt knife, cutting her heart. From Li Yuan's point of view, he was right. If it weren't for their good luck, the Lu family would have been destroyed by now. At this moment, she realized that she really had no right to blame Li Yuan, even if she is the empress. But the disaster of the Lu family was also brought by her. It's because she isn't qualified as an emperor. Emperor Tai Ziyu once said, "The king is like a boat and the people are like water. Water can carry a boat, but it can also capsize it." I don't blame you anymore, Xiao Ji and Jia said. I can even understand you, but I will never be able to stand by your side in this life. If one day you send troops to invade Daqian, I will understand you and hate you, but I will not blame you. As for Honggu, she is indeed a good woman. If you play with a woman who is willing to risk her life for you and do anything for you, I will look down on you. But I, Xiao Ji and Jia, disdain to share a husband with others. I also don't like my daughter calling others aunt. Li Yuan, you are right, my heart is not here, and certainly not with you. You want to tame me? Give up on that idea. I tell you, if I meet someone I like one day, I will definitely marry him. Chapter 170. Those who are favored are fearless. It was clearly a frank conversation, but the air was filled with a strong smell of gunpowder. Xiao Ji and Jia said this with such certainty. Li Yuan had never been her firm choice, or perhaps he had never been her first choice, because he was unfaithful to Daqian and the empress. So Xiao Ji and Jia would not consider him. However, Li Yuan was not angry, but said calmly, "Don't blame me for being overbearing. If you dare to marry someone else, I will send troops to invade Daqian. If anyone dares to flirt in front of you, I will kill his entire family. I want to see who dares to touch a hair on your head." Xiao Ji and Jia was so angry that she was shaking all over. Li Yuan, you are so despicable. You bully the weak with your strength. What kind of man are you? Oh, do you still need me to give you my blessing to be a real man? Li Yuan pressed on. The forced melon is not sweet, but it can quench your thirst if you really push me to the limit. I will hold you here and let you give birth to 10 or 8 little Li Yuans. When you are old and ugly, I want to see who dares to marry you. If you dare to touch me, I will hate you forever. If you hate me, I will kill the empress right now. You are shameless. Thank you for the compliment. You are not human. Faced with the aggressive Xiao Ji and Jia, she could only retreat, but Li Yuan pushed her into a corner. She pressed her hands against Li Yuan's chest. His breath sprayed on her face, and she was extremely flustered. But she just stared at Li Yuan, unwilling to give in to him. Li Yuan gathered the hair beside her fair cheeks behind her ears and asked, "Are you scared? Just think of it as being bitten by a dog. It's not the first time. What's there to be afraid of?" Xiao Ji and Jia sneered. Li Yuan was so angry that he laughed. This woman had a temper more stubborn than a cow. Sometimes he really wanted to pry open her head to see what was going on in her mind. But if they really forced her to have him, Li Yuan didn't want to and wasn't willing to do so. Tell me, why did the Empress send you to Biaoyang this time? Li Yuan took a step back and kept his distance. Xiao Jianjia's pressure was relieved. She said coldly. Of course I'm here to discuss business. Could it be that I'm here to see you? Want to buy weapons? Okay. Starting today, the price of the Holy King Army will be doubled tenfold. Xiao Jianjia frowned. Lu Yuan, why do you have to involve the Saint King Army in our affairs? Because I'm unhappy. I'm going to raise the price, whether you want it or not. You, Xiao Jianjia's face turned red with anger. Swindler. Recently, there has been a shortage of raw materials and their prices have skyrocketed. I'm raising the price slightly. That's reasonable, right? Li Yuan smiled faintly. Xiao Jianjia's momentum suddenly weakened. Li Yuan, how can we avoid raising the price? It depends on my mood. Xiao Jianjia wanted to bite him. He was so irritating, domineering and unreasonable. He is allowed to find women, but I am not allowed to find other men? But she really didn't dare to ignore Lu Yuan's threat. If this man was really pushed into a corner, he would do anything. She finally understood that Lu Yuan was determined to dominate her. How about I tell you a joke? Xiao Jianjia said stiffly. Li Yuan sneered. General Xiao really endured humiliation for the sake of the Empress. I won't listen to the jokes anymore. Prepare the silver. I now understand what the use of my sincerity is. Silver is still the reality. But 10 times is too much. Xiao Jianjia frowned. She spent a lot of silver last time she bought explosive arrows. If it increased tenfold, wouldn't it cost hundreds of thousands of tiles? A Holy King Army has been able to survive until now only by relying on silver to pave the way and purchasing food at high prices from outside to ensure the daily life of the people. Most of the money Li Yuan gave him had already been spent. The seized money and grain were used to maintain daily operations. So she is in a tight spot now. That has nothing to do with me. Why should I feel sorry for the Empress? Li Yuan said coldly. Anyway, this is the market now. The price is 10 times higher. If you can't afford it, just leave. Having said that, he turned and left. Xiao Jianjia bit her lip and followed Lu Yuan without saying a word. By this time, Honggu had tittied herself up, and except for her slightly red face, everything was normal. Madam, Honggu shouted. Xiao Jianjia didn't know whether to respond or not, so she could only nod. Lu Yuan sat back in the wide chair, leaned against it, put his feet on the table and waved his hand. Honggu picked up a cigarette from the table, put it to her mouth, lit it, and then passed it to Lu Yuan. When Xiao Jianjia saw Lu Yuan smoking, she frowned subconsciously. Lu Yuan never smoked in front of her. Lu Yuan, I still hope you can calm down. Business is business, and private matters are private matters. I'm not happy, so I won't do business. I'm just an impulsive person. Lu Yuan is also a human being. Being denied and ignored time and time again also made him a little discouraged. He looked at Honggu. I have a headache. Honggu didn't say anything, but just walked silently to Lu Yuan and massaged his temples. She didn't know what the two of them talked about outside, but Lu Yuan's attitude was very different. How about barter? These days, we have stockpiled some coal and iron ore. No need, keep it for yourself. No matter what Xiao Jianjia said, Lu Yuan remained indifferent. She took a deep breath and said, since you don't want to talk about business now, I'll find you tomorrow. At Hong, please show the guests out. Lu Yuan closed his eyes and didn't even look at her. Yes, master, Honggu responded and walked Xiao Jianjia to the stairs. Madam, I will take you here. Xiao Jianjia asked. Honggu, can you persuade Lu Yuan for me? Honggu shook her head and said, Madam, the problem is not with the master. You should think about yourself. In fact, I envy you very much because you are the first person who is not in Biaoyang but can walk sideways in Biaoyang. The master sold weapons to the Empress, but his subordinates complained about it and said that the master was raising a tiger to cause trouble. It was only because of you that the master sold you the powerful explosive arrows and weapons forged from fine steel at all costs. You have always been favored by the master, but you don't know it. The princesses of the Xia and Jing dynasties threw themselves at the masters. But the master remained indifferent. A man like the eldest master, if not having 3 palaces and 6 courtyards, should have many wives and concubines. Ask yourself, who among the others who are his age doesn't have many children? But he only has one child, the young lady. Such a huge Biaoyang must have an heir. You can't keep him hanging and at the same time stand on your high ground and blame the master. Everyone is qualified, but in my opinion, you are not qualified. Because you are the beneficiary. Without the restraint of the eldest master, the Empress wants to conquer Zongshu and Tongshu. Without the help of the master, you would have died of smallpox long ago. I really can't figure out how you could say something like that. Miss, she is not your golden ticket that allows you to hurt the master again and again. If you are really strong, then don't rely on Biaoyang's power. Chapter 171 No more compromise. That's all I have to say. Take care of yourself. Looking at Honggu's back, Xiao Jianjia was stunned. She wanted to retort, but when the words came to her lips, her mind recalled every detail of what had happened in the past few days. The first time she came to Biaoyang, she mistakenly entered Zongshu and was trapped by the matriarch sect. It was Liu Su who saved her. Including the times 6 years ago, Liu Yuan saved her twice. After escaping from Bau Jingji, she relied on the silver given to her by Liu Yuan to gain a foothold in Zongshu. During the Bau Jingji crisis, at her request, Liu Yuan crushed the conspiracy of the Xia and Jing dynasties and saved millions of people. When the smallpox outbreak broke out, Liu Yuan immediately sent out a large medical team to save the wounded and save the dying, egg rivers to divert water and irrigate the land in Zongshu. And every time he encountered a crisis that was difficult to resolve, Liu Yuan would come to his aid. She covered her face. What qualifications do I have to lecture Liu Yuan? At this moment, she just felt her face burning, and she looked like a green tea. Liu Yuan's kindness to her was never just words, but proven through actions. Xiao Ji and Jia felt ashamed. She had been strong all her life, but Honggu's words woke her up. Just as she said, she has always been fearless because she is favored. He was only concerned with the difficulties at hand, but ignored the pressure Liu Yuan was facing. It seems that I have never thought about things from Liu Yuan's perspective. What would she do if Liu Yuan asked her to do this? Just a little bit of it made her feel angry. But Liu Yuan has always been calm and composed. In the eyes of outsiders, everything she did was to hold Huan Huan hostage to control Liu Yuan. Xiao Ji and Jia laughed at herself. I think he is a traitor, but I can't do without his help, so what am I? Even worse than a traitor? Thinking of this, she strode downstairs. When Xiao Pueo saw Xiao Ji and Jia coming down, she quickly went over to her and asked, Miss, how did the talk go? We didn't reach an agreement, let's go back. What? Everyone was stunned. Walk. But miss, let's talk about it after we get out. After getting on the carriage, Xiao Ji and Jia said to Shi Ji Yue, let's go back to Tongshu. But we have just arrived in Biaoyang without explosive arrows. How can we face the next crisis? Don't you hate Liu Yuan the most? Then why do you still ask Liu Yuan for help? Shi Ji Yue was speechless. Did Liu Yuan say something? Xiao Pueo could feel that Xiao Ji and Jia was trying hard to restrain something under her calmness. It doesn't matter what he said from today on. We can no longer rely on Biaoyang even if we are annihilated by Zhu's army. We will never ask Biaoyang for help again, Xiao Ji and Jia said. What about the little princess? Don't you want to watch it either? No, what would happen if I did? Can you take her away? The group looked at each other. Was it Liu Yuan who spread the news? Shi Ji Yue asked again. So what if it is? So what if it isn't? Does it matter? Xiao Ji and Jia looked out the window. The truth was no longer important, but even if it was really Liu Yuan, she understood. Doing business with the Holy King's army does not conflict with containing the Holy King's army. If Biaoyang sent troops, there would be no Holy King army at all. To some extent, she really had to thank Liu Yuan, otherwise he would have suppressed Shang Wei. Relying on the hundreds of thousands of troops at Biaoyang Pass, Shang Wei could instantly become a warlord who controls a certain area. The Holy King's army still dares to move around under his nose? No way. If it weren't for Liu Yuan, she wouldn't dare to settle in Zongshu. When the truth was revealed, she realized how miserable she was. It was Liu Yuan who had been carefully protecting her self-esteem. But I have never given him face in front of outsiders. Liu Yuan has always firmly chosen herself. But she has never seen Liu Yuan as the first option. Today, Liu Yuan withdrew his preference for her. That's why she keeps running into obstacles everywhere. All her reliance comes from Liu Yuan's doting on her. It must be Liu Yuan, that bastard is not a good guy, Shi Ji Yue said angrily. Shut up, Xiao Pueo glared at her, then consoled her, Your Majesty. Since Liu Yuan is unwilling to sell us weapons, then we should find a way to make them ourselves without relying on Biaoyang. We can also revive Daqian. Seeing that Xiao Ji and Jia didn't say anything, Xiao Pueo pulled Shi Ji Yue out of the carriage and rode away from Biaoyang City. Master, the madam has left Biaoyang, Liu Su hurried in to report. Just leave, don't worry about her. Who doesn't have a temper? Liu Yuan said angrily. The strength of those aristocratic warlords is a headache for even the regular army of the court. I want to see how the empress can revive Daqian without Biaoyang's support. This time, Liu Yuan did not compromise. He no longer cares. Liu Su cast a questioning look at Honggu. But Honggu ignored her. Master, how about we go find Mu Rong Wuanking and listen to some music later? Okay. Liu Yuan nodded, and then went to find Mu Rong Wuanking to listen to music. After that, he went to the swimming pool to swim for a while, and then he felt relaxed. Honggu handed over the towel and said, Master, are you feeling better now? Liu Yuan sat down, put his arm around her waist, and let her sit on his lap. I'll take you home when the day is right. Honggu shook her head. Master, I follow you not for status. Liu Yuan knew her worries. I will do a good job for my mother and the children. It's not because of this. Honggu got up from Lu Yuan's arms. Master, I still prefer the way it is now, following you all the time. If I really get married, I will have to stay at home to take care of my husband and children and serve my parents-in-law. That's not what I want. Lu Yuan frowned. Then why have you been so unclear with me? I am a man of the world. As long as the master has me in his heart, that's enough, Honggu said. I know what you are worried about. Now may not be a good time, but when the time is right, I will definitely give you a status. Without waiting for Honggu to speak, Lu Yuan said, don't refuse. Oh, Honggu nodded obediently, her eyes full of tenderness at this moment. Her body and mind were completely occupied by Lu Yuan, and there was no room for even a little bit. Xiaoji and Jia returned to Tongshu, but did not bring back the explosive arrow. Prince Tuan realized something. Your Majesty, what happened? Uncle Prince Tuan, from today on, we will no longer trade with Biaoyang. We must rely on ourselves, Xiaoji and Jia said. Prince Tuan frowned. Your Majesty, has something changed in Biaoyang? No, it's just that I don't want to beg Biaoyang in a humbly manner anymore. Xiaoji and Jia shook her head and did not tell the truth. She didn't know how to start. Did you have a fight with Lu Yuan? Prince Tuan asked tentatively. No. Hearing this, Xiaoji and Jia felt inexplicably uncomfortable. Prince Tuan was an experienced person, and he understood it immediately. He was about to comfort him, but the scout came hurriedly with a report. Enemy attack. Chapter 172, Allied Forces Invasion. Where is the enemy attacking? Xiaoji and Jia's face changed. Reporting to His Majesty the Holy King, Lei County is in danger. As soon as he finished speaking, another scout came in quickly. Reporting to His Majesty the Holy King, Zhang County is in urgent need of help, and Chaomi is in urgent need of help. These county towns all belong to Tongshu. Tongshu is well connected and has more than 4 bordering provincial capitals. Is it the Zhu family army? They are not the Zhu family army, they are from other states. The scout said urgently, the front line is in danger, please support your highness. Xiaoji and Jia's face changed drastically. Isn't it Zhu's army? Prince Tuan took a deep breath and said. Many spies came to gather information. They seem to have confirmed that the empress is here. So, Xiaoji and Jia had just returned and was exhausted. She hadn't even had time to sit down when she was attacked by the allied forces. Without thinking, she said, Sanbao, take my armor and pass on my order. Leave 5,000 people in Tongshu City, and the rest go to the front line to support. Ma Sanbao saw it and felt pain in his heart. Although he really wanted Xiaoji and Jia to have a good rest, he still took out the armor. This burden was too heavy for Xiaoji and Jia to relax. I will go with you. Sanbao, guard Tongshu for me. Xiaoji and Jia put on armor, held a steel knife and put on a ghost mask. Grape, watermelon. Let's go. The whole Tongshu was in motion. Xiaoji and Jia led the women's army to rush to Lei County, which was closest to Tongshu. However, when she arrived, Lei County had already been captured by the bandit army. It's the Yellow Turban army of Jianshu. Xiao Pudeo was also very afraid when he saw the hanging bandit flag. The blue sky is dead, the yellow sky should be established, was the slogan shouted by the Yellow Turban army. The leader of the Yellow Turban army, Chen Daoling, was originally a Taoist priest from An Ayushu mountain in Jianshu. After the turmoil in the world, he founded the Yellow Turban sect. His disciples covered their heads with yellow scarves, making them very easy to recognize. It is said that Chen Daoling's unconventional skills are so miraculous that he can turn beans into soldiers, brought ailments to cure diseases, climb a mountain of knives, jump into a wok of oil, and wade through a sea of fire. He is very famous in Jianshu and even slightly surpasses the Sing King's army. Xiaoji and Jia looked at the fluttering flag and was also extremely angry. Kill. The women's army rushed forward. However, this time Xiaoji and Jia was not reckless, but let the cavalry go first. Lei County was poor and didn't even have city walls, so it was easy for the cavalry to charge in. Xiao Pudeo and others protected Xiaoji and Jia tightly. The moment the cavalry rushed into Lei County, many war horses fell to the ground. So much so that the offensive rhythm was disrupted. Oh no, it's a horse trap. Xiaoji and Jia was shocked. He immediately ordered the cavalry to retreat and switch to volley fire. The so-called horse trap is a very small hole. War horses run very fast if they step on empty space. They will sprain their ankle just like a person would sprain his ankle. Moreover, the warhorse is carrying a heavy load and is moving very fast. If it misses a step, the huge impact force and inertia will break the horse's legs. If they are well prepared, some people will even put some C-Ultra PS in the horse trap, so that if either a person or a horse steps on it, their feet will basically be crippled. If you smear gold juice or poison on it, it will make life worse than death. At this time, people in the city also started shooting arrows out. Retreat, retreat quickly, Xiaoji and Jia shouted loudly. Shield soldiers, push forward. She forced herself to calm down if she let anger get the better of her. These soldiers would die because of her wrong decision. They didn't shoot arrows at the beginning, just to lure us over. The middle gate was wide open. It was a trap set specifically for the cavalry. We can encircle them from both wings and shoot rockets. If we can't take them down, we'll go back. Xiaopudao reminded. The defenders of Lei County have been defeated. It would be good if they could capture it. If they attack by force, it will only consume their own strength. It would be better to retreat to Tongshu City. Xiao Jianjia nodded, and then ordered people to start launching rockets. But what made Xiao Jianjia tired was that the Yellow Turban Army actually had explosive arrows. Retreat, retreat quickly. Xiao Jianjia's face changed drastically. These people were really insidious when attacking Lei County. They did not even use explosive arrows. They waited for the reinforcements to come out and then used explosive arrows unexpectedly. This heavy blow made Xiao Jianjia wake up, and she ordered the cavalry to use the few remaining explosive arrows. But these Yellow Turban soldiers were extremely excited and rushed forward recklessly. Immediately afterwards, 2 teams of Yellow Turban cavalry rushed out from both sides. It's the women's army. The Empress might be inside. The Heavenly Master has ordered that the Empress be captured alive and the helmsman be rewarded. These people looked excited and didn't care even if they were hit by arrows. We've fallen into a trap. Retreat quickly. Xiaopudao gritted his teeth and said. Qi Ji Yue, escort the master away. Xiao Jianjia didn't want to leave, but Xiaopudao said. Their target is you, and they want to lure you out. If you don't leave, then the Saint King army will really have no hope. I'll hold them back. Hurry up. Xiao Jianjia gritted her teeth and turned her horse's head. Be careful and come back alive. When she left, she took several 100 cavalrymen with her, and Xiaopudao took the rest of the people to fight against the Yellow Turban army. At first, they thought that the Yellow Turban army had only 3,000 to 5,000 people, but now, a steady stream of Yellow Turban army emerged from the city. There are at least tens of thousands of people. The other side has cavalry, more people than ours, and better weapons than ours. If they fight to the death, their chances of winning are less than 40. The Yellow Turban army was in such a situation, so she didn't know how many enemy troops there were in other counties. A storm was about to come. Xiaopudao raised his saber high and said, "Charge in by time for the Holy King." The cavalry collided with each other, and the women's army rushed into the crazy Yellow Turban army. A knife chopped on the enemy's body, and blood and flesh splattered. But when he looked down, he saw that his chest had been pierced by a spear. A female soldier spat out blood and threw the knife in her hand out fiercely. A knife sank into the opponent's throat, and she laughed. Killing one is not a loss. Killing 2 is a profit. If there is an afterlife, I will join the Holy King army and follow His Majesty the Holy King. After she finished speaking, the light in the female soldier's eyes disappeared. The enemy coldly drew out his spear, but fearing that she would not die, he thrust the spear head fiercely into the female soldier's head and twisted it violently. However, this bloody and brutal scene did not scare away the women's army. In troubled times, women are like grass. They have already died once, so why should they be afraid of dying again? They launched suicide attacks like crazy. If you can't kill the enemy, then injure him. If you lose your knife, then pounce on the enemy's face and bite him viciously. Who says women are inferior to men? Today's female army will let these men see that they are not bad. Xiao Jianjia's heart bleeds as she looks at the heroic female soldiers who had used their bodies to form a solid line of defense. It was because of her recklessness and irrationality that all this happened. Without knowing the enemy's situation or how many enemies there were, they rashly sent out troops. She felt totally dizzy. After returning from Biaoyang, she seemed to be trapped in a vortex of self-doubt. Now, this battle almost crushed her, making her physically and mentally exhausted to the extreme. At this moment, she doubted herself. Am I not suitable to be the emperor? Can I really revive Da Qian? Chapter 173. Gentlemen, kill the enemies. Xiao Jianjia retreated to Tongshu City in a trance. The days of traveling day and night, coupled with the battle just now, had already pushed her to the limit. Your Majesty. Ma Sinbao looked at the exhausted Xiao Jianjia with great heartache. However, Xiao Jianjia brought back less than half of the troops, and none of the women's army was left. This gave him a bad feeling. Why didn't Grape and Watermelon escort you back? They are still fighting the enemy in Lei County. Xiao Jianjia panted and asked, how are the others? No news yet, Ma Sinbao said. Xiao Jianjia thought for a moment and said, someone, go to Zongshu and pass the order to have Yu Hu lead the troops to support us. Yu Hu was also a secret guard and was one of Xiao Jianjia's confidants. Tongshu was fighting on many fronts and was short of troops, so it had to transfer troops from Zongshu. At this time, the scout came to report, Zhang County, and Kuai County have been captured by the enemy. The White Emperor Army, the Green Forest Army, the Red Eyebrow Army, and the Red Turban Army attacked with an army of 200,000. Prince Duan withdrew his troops and fought against the army in Dagwon County. Ma Sanbao shuddered. 200,000 troops. Lu Qiushan also had a solemn expression. How many people were there in the Holy King's army? At most 60,000 to 70,000. And the cavalry was less than 2,000. This does not include the Yellow Turban Army and the Zhou family army. Even if these rebels are mostly a mob, many ants can kill an elephant. Moreover, these bandits all have explosive arrows in their hands. Needless to say, this must have been purchased from Biaoyang. Originally, the Holy King's army controlled the states, but Zongshu and Tongshu were hit by severe drought. So no one else looked down on them. But now it's different after the management. Although the drought in Zongshu is still serious, with the water brought from Biaoyang, it has turned waste into treasure. If the news that the empress is here spreads, it will be like lice on a bald head, which will stand out. Everyone wants to come and take a bite. Originally, the Holy King army did not take these people seriously, but decided to take them out one by one, step by step. But these minions have upgraded their weapons one by one and suddenly got the ace weapons given by Biaoyang, which cannot but make people take them seriously. The key is that they are not a minority, but the majority. Your Majesty, retreat and defend Tongshu City, Lu Qiushan said hurriedly. Or, issue an emergency order now to evacuate all the people in the city to Zongshu. Zongshu is backed by Biaoyang Pass, so no matter how bold these people are, they have to think twice. Dogguan County is only 30 miles away from here. If we retreat with the people, we will be too conspicuous. Asked the order to defend Tongshu City to the death, Xiao Jianjia made a prompt decision now. He could only continue to shrink his troops as long as he could hold on to Tongshu City and wait for Yu to come back for help. There would be hope of resolving the crisis. Lu King, how long can the supplies in the city last? Lu Qiushan licked his chapped lips and said, 1 month at most. Xiao Jianjia nodded, then went up to the city wall and sat in front of the tower with his horse and sword on the city wall. All the soldiers were ready. Soon, Prince Duan, his son, as well as Shidad An, withdrew their troops back to Tongshu City. I am unworthy of the cultivation of His Majesty the Saint King. Shidad An knelt on the ground, covered in dust and dirt. This battle was extremely embarrassing. Not only did he fail to conquer An County, but he also fell into the enemy's trap and lost more than 200 people. Prince Duan and his son also looked downcast. Since they came to Zongshu, although everything had been smooth sailing, they had never encountered such a big obstacle. I am guilty. Please punish me, Your Highness. The father and son knelt on the ground. Xiao Jianjia looked at them and said, I do want to punish you, but before I punish you, I have to punish myself first. Without understanding the enemy's situation, you will send troops blindly. The 5 bandits' alliance was discovered only when it was under our noses. What do the scouts raised by the Holy King's army do for a living? But I don't blame them. It's me, the Holy King, who has the problem. There is a problem within us. We have already suffered a loss at the hands of Zhu's army, but we haven't learned our lesson yet. If we don't lose, who will? Is it because we have been so successful with the weapons we purchased from Biaoyang that we can no longer see our true combat power? Now that we have run out of weapons, will we not fight anymore? Everyone was speechless. But now we are not in Shuitan County. The Holy King army is the warlord that occupies 2 states. As the small forces were cleared out, only the powerful warlords were able to gain a foothold. We can no longer treat them like a mob. Not to mention that these people have more advanced weapons. Your Highness, the most urgent task now is to get through this crisis. Lu Qiushan said, why not give them a chance to redeem themselves for their crimes? Xiao Jianjia nodded and said, everyone, get up, we'll settle this account later. When she left Tongshu, she gave clear instructions. But when she came back she was forced to send troops. She thought of the military tactics that Lu Yuan taught her. In fact, they were all very common military tactics. But why were the Biaoyang soldiers always able to defeat the larger enemy with a smaller one and achieve victory by surprise? There is no other reason, just not afraid of death and dare to do what ordinary people cannot. Thank you, Your Highness. Everyone bowed and stood up. Just then, Xiao Pudao came back with Shi Ji Yue and other remnants. Blop. Xiao Pudao knelt in front of Xiao Jianjia. I am incompetent and failed to bring my brothers and sisters back intact. I beg Your Highness to punish me. Xiao Jianjia suppressed her anger and asked, how many people came back? There are 600 cavalrymen and less than 3,000 other types of soldiers. The entire women's army was wiped out. Xiao Jianjia felt dizzy. Nearly 1/3 of the people were killed. Her heroic female army was completely wiped out. Her body swayed, her pretty face turned pale, and she bit her lips tightly. Thinking back to those brothers and sisters who have been through life and death with me, she felt a harder nicking pain. The pain spread throughout her body, making her feel like she was dying. Lu Qiushan noticed that something was wrong with Xiao Jianjia, and hurried forward. Your Highness, you. Before he could finish his words, Xiao Jianjia fell backwards. At that moment, Xiao Pudao rushed over and hugged Xiao Jianjia, thus preventing her from falling to the ground. Everyone on the city wall was in a panic. Xiao Ji shouted even louder, "Doctor, where is the accompanying doctor? Come and save him." Fortunately, the great doctor was nearby. He immediately felt Xiao Ji and Jia's pulse and then gave her acupuncture. Don't worry, the Saint King just worked too hard and got angry, so he fainted. Hearing this, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. But before Xiao Ji and Jia woke up, thick smoke was heard from the front. Da da da. The sound of galloping horses came from far away, and the rebel coalition had arrived at the city. At this moment, everyone in Tongshu fell into a brief panic because of Xiao Ji and Jia's coma. Prince Wan stood up and said, "Send His Highness to rest Xiao Ji, you beat the drum. Soldiers, listen to my orders and kill the enemy." Xiao Ji walked quickly to the drum, picked up the drumstick, and struck it vigorously. He squeezed out a hysterical voice from his throat, "Gentlemen, kill the enemy." Chapter 174, The End of the Road. Xiao Ji and Jia slept very comfortably when she woke up. It was dark. She stretched contentedly, but suddenly, she thought of something and sat up abruptly from the bed. "Sanbao! Sanbao!" Hearing the shout, Ma Sanbao also hurriedly stood up from the ground. "Your Majesty! This old slave is here. How long have I slept?" Xiao Ji and Jia still remembered that she fainted at noon at that time. Xiao Pudayo had just retreated with the remaining troops. What's the situation outside now? As she spoke, she picked up the armor on the screen and put it on herself. "Don't worry, the enemy has temporarily retreated," Ma Sanbao said. Xiao Ji and Jia secretly hated herself for being useless and fainting at the critical moment. She hurriedly left the house with a knife in her hand. When she came to the street, she saw many wounded soldiers sitting on the street or under the eaves to rest. Some people took out cigarettes made in Biaoyang and smoked them greedily. When they saw Xiao Ji and Jia, they all bowed. Most of these people were slightly injured, but there were rows of corpses under the city wall, and Lu Qiushan was arranging people to transport these dead soldiers away. Some seriously injured soldiers were still being rescued in a tent not far away, and people kept wailing. The air was filled with a strong smell of blood and gunpowder. Lu Qiushan also saw Xiao Ji and Jia. "I pay my respects to your highness." "Lu King, where is Prince Wan?" "Prince Wan was hit by an exploding arrow and was injured. He is being bandaged in the tent over there," said Lu Qiushan. Xiao Ji and Jia nodded stiffly and quickly came to the tent where Prince Wan was. He saw Prince Wan with a bloody face. "Those were the wounds caused by the exploding arrows. I pay my respects to your highness." "No need to be so polite." Xiao Ji and Jia asked worriedly, "Are you okay?" "It looks scary, but it's just a superficial wound." Prince Wan laughed, "But thanks to my armor. If it hadn't been blocked by the armor, this arrow would have taken my life." Xiao Ji and Jia pursed her lips and glanced at Xiao Ji, who was lying there. He was more seriously injured, with iron filings all over his hands and feet. The military doctor was carefully treating his wounds, and he grimaced in pain. "Sister, I'm fine. I'll be fine in 2 days. We have killed at least 3,000 to 4,000 people this time. They won't dare to attack again in the short term." Once upon a time, Xiao Ji was still the little boy with snot bubbles hanging from his nose, following her around and asking for candy. But at this time, he became a real husband. "You guys have a good rest. I'll be on guard at night," Xiao Ji and Jia said, and then climbed up the city wall. Xiao Pudayo and Shi Ji Yue also came up, and they were both injured to varying degrees. Even if they didn't say it, looking at the holes on the city walls and the piles of corpses outside the city, she knew how difficult it would be to defend the city during the day. "Rest first and keep watch with me at night." Xiao Ji and Jia leaned back in the chair and then closed her eyes. The two of them said nothing and just leaned against the pillars of the tower to rest. That night, the enemy pretended to attack 3 times, which made Xiao Ji and Jia exhausted. It was not until dawn that they launched another attack. However, there is a point in Tongshu where lights illuminate the surroundings, so a sneak attack is not easy. But on the second day of defending the city, these people cut off the power supply in Tongshu, and defending the city became difficult again. However, on this day, Yuhu arrived and launched a surprise attack on the enemy from the outside. But due to the coalition forces' thorough preparation, this battle did not gain much. But before Xiao Ji and Jia could be happy, the coalition forces sent a part of their forces to delay Yuhu, and the remaining troops launched a suicide attack. The casualties of the Holy King's army increased, and they had to recruit civilians to defend the city. After 4 days of defending the city and more than 20 battles, everyone was exhausted both physically and mentally, and the city gate was in ruins. If the passage had not been blocked, Tongshu would have been captured. But now Tongshu is like a sieve, with countless holes dug underground. Xiao Ji and Jia didn't know how long she could hold on. Perhaps by the time one of the gates was opened, Tongshu's city would be broken. Just then, Xiao Ji and Jia received a letter. The letter was thrown in at night by an arrow. The person who wrote this letter was Wang Jingzhi, the governor of Xianbi. Xianbi city is one of the largest cities in the north, and the Xianbi Wang family is one of the most powerful aristocratic families in the north. Why did Emperor Taiziyu move the capital south? I just don't want to be restricted by these clans, even though I have been trying to weaken the strength of the aristocratic families over the years. The effect has been minimal. If the means were a little harsher, several rebel forces would immediately emerge in the north. So, Taiziyu compromise. She looked through the manual left by Emperor Taiziyu, which recorded the verbal agreement he reached with the northern family. Shao and the aristocratic families rule the world together. He supported the southern clans in an attempt to compete with the northern families, but ended up forming a new party. Shao Jianjia opened the envelope in the letter. Wang Jingzhi addressed himself as a minister and kept saying that he was here to save the emperor. She was quite happy at first. But later, Wang Jingzhi blatantly exposed his ambition. He wanted Shao Jianjia to marry him so that he could send troops to relieve the Saint King's army. Traitor! Shao Jianjia slammed the table in anger. She called Prince Wan and others and circulated the letter to them. Everyone said, "Your Majesty, we must not let the Wang family succeed." But despite being angry, Shao Jianjia said, "Their target is me. As long as the rumors are not cleared up, the unrest will not stop even if the Wang family is gone. There are still the Li family and the Liu family. Perhaps, the Holy King army should not keep a low profile. I want to fly the Great Qianlong banner. Make it clear and attract more people. Your Majesty, are you planning to drive the tiger to devour the wolf?" Lu Qiushan looked solemn. "That's right, I don't intend to swallow my anger any longer. These traitors and villains all want to capture me. So let them capture me," Shao Jianjia said coldly. "Promise the Wang family to send troops. We will sit back and watch the tigers fight. And we can reap the benefits. Although the idea is good, it is like trying to grab chestnuts from the fire. If you are not careful, you will lose everything," Prince Wan said in a deep voice. "Do you have any better ideas?" Shao Jianjia asked. "If the enemy attacks us a few more times, can we still hold on?" "Royal sister, ask Biaoyang for help. No matter what Biaoyang asks for, we must agree to it first," Shao Ji gritted his teeth and said. "No matter how bad Biaoyang is, it is definitely better than those people. We have an old friendship, so we won't fight each other. Without Biaoyang, will I be unable to revive Da Qian? If so, then you can go to Biailiang. I will never stop you." Shao Ji sighed heavily. "They want to get me, don't they? Then let them try with their abilities. I don't believe that these bandits can be united as one." Shao Jianjia was also ruthless. "If they fail today, they will die." Everyone had no choice but to say yes. "Now, we have indeed reached the end of our rope, and there is no other way out. Lu King, please stay for a moment." Chapter 175, Knowing the Truth but Acting Ignorantly. Lu Qiushan stopped and asked, "Your Majesty, what do you want?" "Hongshu City should be unable to be defended. If I had listened to you from the beginning and not been so timid, we might have swept across the north long ago." Shao Jianjia sighed. Lu Qiushan's plan was really good, but she was too conservative and was unwilling to abandon innocent people. The result was that they were trapped into states and missed the best time for development. As a result, warlords now coexist in various places, and it is extremely difficult to sweep them all together. "Your Majesty is kind-hearted. So he certainly can't be like those rebels," Lu Qiushan said hurriedly. "You don't need to comfort me. I am too indecisive and too soft-hearted. Perhaps, I am not fit to be the emperor." Shao Jianjia laughed at herself. "The world is in chaos. Wars are raging everywhere, and there will be deaths. Only by completely destroying and rebuilding, and stopping killing with killing, can we truly achieve peace. It was me who failed your good intentions. Unfortunately, I realized it too late." She bowed to Lu Qiushan. Lu Qiushan's face changed drastically, and he quickly stepped aside. "Your Majesty, you are embarrassing me. You deserve this respect," Shao Jianjia said. "Leave Tongshu." Lu Qiushan didn't react for a moment. "Where are you going?" "Go to a safe place, such as Biaoyang," said Shao Jianjia. Lu Qiushan was stunned. "Your Majesty, are you going to drive me away?" "I'm not afraid of death. I haven't helped your Majesty to revive Da Qian yet. How can I leave so easily?" "To this day, do you still believe that I can revive Da Qian?" "Of course," Lu Qiushan said firmly. "I have never doubted it. Mr. Lu is indeed a person valued by the late emperor." Shao Jianjia's eyes were full of admiration. However, at this point, Tongshu had completely no way out. The so-called driving a tiger to devour a wolf is nothing more than attracting a more powerful enemy and only delaying the time. "I will not go to Biaoyang. I will stay here and guard your Majesty," Lu Qiushan said. "There is no place safer than Biaoyang in this world. Don't you want to be reunited with your family?" Lu Qiushan smiled bitterly. "Your Majesty really knows. How long will Lu King keep this secret from me?" "I did not intend to conceal it. I simply did not want to involve my wife and children in this turmoil. Please punish me, Your Majesty." "Lu King knows a lot, right?" "I don't know much." Lu Qiushan knelt on the ground and said respectfully. "Emperor Shenzong has been kind to me, and your Majesty has also been kind to me. I would rather die in Tongshu than go to Bialiang. This is my humble wish. Even if my family knew, they would understand. Xiao Jianjia really wanted to say, "Do you know my identity?" But when the words came to her lips, she couldn't bring herself to ask. She had a complicated expression. Lu Qiushan's loyalty was pure and without any impurities. Even though he suffered hardships, he never hated Da Qian. It is in sharp contrast with the land source. For a moment, she didn't know how to deal with Lu Qiushan. "Don't tell him who you are, ever?" Xiao Jianjia asked. "Can you do it?" Lu Qiushan lowered his head and said in a deep voice, "Your Majesty, rest assured. I will keep my mouth shut." Sure enough, he knew. Xiao Jianjia's mouth was full of bitterness. How could someone as smart as Lu Qiushan not guess her identity? These days, he has been pretending to be ignorant even though he knows the truth. She suddenly didn't know how to face Lu Qiushan. I still have some things to deal with, so I'll take my leave first," Lu Qiushan said hurriedly. "Okay, go down." Lu Qiushan left the hall and couldn't help but sigh, then the corners of his mouth slightly raised. "That bastard is really lucky. I was wondering why the little princess looks exactly like Ling Zh when she was a child. It turns out she is really our child. This way. I can't leave." Originally, Lu Qiushan stayed only because of his hatred for the new party and gratitude to the late emperor for his recognition, but now, he has another reason to stay. That is to protect my son and my daughter-in-law. However, let the conflicts between them be handled by the young people. Meanwhile, Prince Duan called Xiao Pudayo and said, "If this continues, Hongshu City will surely fall. Find a way to retreat to Zongshu with Biaoyang Pass there. They won't dare to act recklessly. Send someone to Biaoyang to seek help from Lu Yuan." "But Your Majesty, it's already this late, and you're still so pedantic. You have to wait until His Majesty is abducted before you regret it?" Prince Duan said, "No matter what, even if we beg Lu Yuan to help, even if we ask him to do it for Huan Huan's sake, he has to help. Besides, isn't his father here too? You can't just ignore his father, right?" Xiao Pudayo nodded silently. His Majesty was now displaying the Great Qianlong flag, which was tantamount to implicitly acknowledging that the Empress was here. "Those people will definitely go crazy when they find out. Even if you escape this disaster, the road ahead will be even more difficult. Please arrange it as soon as possible. I will persuade His Majesty to leave Tongshu." "Yes, I understand." Xiao Pudayo asked Taozi to leave Tongshu through the tunnel and go to Biaoyang for help. Taozi did not dare to stop for a moment, and arrived at the destination in just 2 days, which should have taken 3 or 4 days. However, when she arrived in Biaoyang this time, she did not receive the same treatment as before when she entered Bialiang Pass. She was strictly interrogated and searched. After a lot of effort, the people at Biaoyang Pass reluctantly issued him a pass. Taozi didn't want to get entangled and went straight to Biaoyang Prefecture. However, the process of her meeting Lu Yuan was not so smooth. "The master is very busy. If you don't have an appointment, please make one. This will be delivered to the master. If the master wants to see you, he will send someone to notify you." The front desk said in the hall of the prefectural governor's mansion. "Come, leave your name." "How long will that take?" "I don't know. If it's fast, it will take 3 to 5 days. If it's slow, it may take a month." "It's been too long." Taozi was so angry. "I want to see him now." "I can't see you." "Lu Yuan, I'm Taozi. If you're a man, come out and see me." Taozi didn't care anymore and shouted loudly, "My lady is in trouble. If you're a man, don't hide. Come and see me. This is a restricted area of the prefectural government. No noise is allowed. If you yell again, I'll kick you out of Biaoyang." Several guards rushed over. Taozi was pulled out immediately. "Let me go." Taozi struggled hard. "Lu Yuan, come out. Come out quickly. If you don't come out, my wife will marry someone else." However, Lu Yuan did not show up, and she was even detained and sent out of Biaoyang Prefecture. Taozi never expected that Lu Yuan would be so ruthless. She stood outside Biaoyang Mansion, feeling extremely desperate. Just go back like this? She is not willing to give in. Then, she knelt outside the city, not caring at all even if people around her pointed fingers at her. Even if she dies kneeling here, she wants to see Lu Yuan. Chapter 176, Marry into the Wang family? "Master, she has been kneeling outside for 2 hours. Do we really not need to care about her?" Liu Su came in and said. "Every day, all kinds of people come in and out of Biaoyang, and each of them has something to ask for. Can I satisfy every one of them?" Lu Yuan said inferently. "When there are benefits, they never think of me. They only think of me when they encounter danger. Do you treat me as a dog that can be summoned and dismissed at will? I'm afraid of the bad influence." "Then send her away. The 5 armies are besieging Tongshu, and it is in danger. Even if we don't take care of the lady, the old man will at least take care of her, right?" Liu Su said. Lu Yuan was also ruthless. "Bring my father back. Even if he is unwilling, I will tie him up and bring him back. As for Xiao Jianjia, her life is her life, And so are the leaves of my Biao Yang brothers. Yes, master. Liu Su was about to leave when Honggu suddenly called her. What's up? Let's talk outside. Honggu pulled Liu Su out of the office. What can't be said in front of the master? Liu Su frowned. If possible, rescue the lady as well. A master is furious if the lady really dies in battle or is captured. He will definitely regret it. Liu Su said reluctantly. The master has already said. Even if we don't consider their face, we should consider the face of the young lady after all. She is the young lady's biological mother. If the young lady asks about it in the future, how will the master answer? I know you dislike her. In fact, I dislike her too, but I know the master better. As for Prince Wan and others, you can handle it as you wish, Honggu said. You really know how to cause trouble for me. Liu Su took out a cigarette, feeling very unhappy. Stop talking nonsense and make arrangements quickly, Don. Wait until Tongshu City is breached. If something happens to the old man, you'll be in trouble, Honggu snorted. Don't think that just because the master likes you now, you can tell me what to do. We don't know who will have the upper hand in the future. Liu Su exhaled a smoke and left without looking back. Honggu returned to the office again, and Liu Wan asked, "What are you whispering about?" Just to remind her to be careful, Honggu said with a smile. When Tao Zi was sent out of the country by the Biao Yang soldiers, she was extremely desperate. No matter how she cursed, these people remained indifferent. Liu Yuan, you are such a heartless man. You watched someone die without helping him. You are such a jerk. Chang Wei, if you still believe that you are the general of Da Qian, then led your troops to Tongshu to kill the enemy. But no matter how she provoked, no one paid any attention to her. Taozi returned to Tongshu prefecture in despair. As soon as she entered the city, she heard the news that Yu Hu was defeated and killed in a trap. Without Yu Hu's restraint, the rebel army became more and more arrogant and had surrounded Tongshu prefecture. Fortunately, she was smart and chose to enter the city after dark. Taozi, have you borrowed the soldiers? Xiao Pudeyo asked anxiously. Chief, Taozi is useless. He failed to borrow any soldiers from Biao Yang. Taozi knelt on the ground and told the whole story. Xiao Pudeyo remained silent. While Shi Jiyue started to curse, what you said about protecting His Majesty for life is all bullshit. That's enough. Stop adding fuel to the fire. Xiao Pudeyo patted Shi Jiyue and immediately found Prince Wan to report the matter to him. Prince Wan was full of doubts. Based on my understanding of Liu Yuan, he is not such a person. Even if he doesn't care about your majesty, his father will still care, right? Who knows? Xiao Pudeyo said. Anyway, since Biao Yang won't send troops now, we can only think of another way. Tell me the truth, did your majesty have a conflict with Liu Yuan when you went to Biao Yang? Prince Wan said. Xiao Pudeyo smiled bitterly. Maybe. Prince Wan shook his head helplessly. Forget it, it's better to rely on yourself than on others. Since Biao Yang won't lend us troops, then we'll just fight our way out. Grape, those people will attack the city again tonight. I will open the south gate and attract all the people here. You take His Majesty and leave from the north city. Do you understand? Your Majesty will not agree. We have reached the end of our rope. If we don't leave now, we will be stuck, Prince Wan said tiredly. Your Majesty wants to drive the tiger to devour the wolf, but Wang Jingzhi is not fooled at all. How cunning is Wang Jingzhi? Hearing that he would be used, he asked Xiao Jianjia to send the imperial seal to him. The Daqian national seal is carved from a single piece of natural blood. Jade. It is extremely precious and its imitations are extremely easy to identify. Not only that, he also asked Xiao Jianjia to issue an edict to confer the title of king of the same character on Wang Jingzhi to specify that she would marry Wang Jingzhi. With the imperial seal, Wang Jingzhi became a king and could act as regent on behalf of the emperor. Once the imperial edict is issued, the marriage is settled no matter whether it is true or false. As long as others believe it, it is enough. It was impossible to give her the imperial seal, and as for the last two requests, Xiao Jianjia actually wanted to agree to them. Prince Wan and Lu Qiushan strongly opposed it, but they failed to dissuade her from doing so. Just then, Ma Sanbao arrived. Prince Wan, His Majesty invites you. Prince Wan hurried to the meeting hall. Everything that is supposed to come has come. Is everyone here? Xiao Jianjia said. I have an important announcement to make. Everyone pricked up their ears. I want to form an alliance with the Wang family to resolve the crisis in Tongshu. Xiao Jianjia said. Your Majesty, this is absolutely not possible. Xiao Pudeyo was the first to object. Prince Wen also said in a deep voice, the intentions of the Wang family are obvious. Your Majesty, please withdraw your order. Even Shi Jiyue said, Your Majesty, no matter how powerful the Wang family is, they are not as powerful as Biao Yang. Instead of asking the Wang family for help, it is better to fulfill Biao Yang's wish and go to the Wang family. Maybe the Wang family can deal with Biao Yang? She didn't like Liu Yuan, but she had to admit that Biao Yang was really strong. At least Liu Yuan wouldn't make so many excessive demands, and they still had an old relationship. Lu Qiushan said. Your Majesty, it is far from this point. If we cannot defend the city, then we will fight our way out and retreat to Zongshu. I don't want to retreat anymore, nor do I want to abandon the people under my rule. Xiao Jianjia was firm in her attitude before the imperial flag was raised. She could still live in disgrace, but after the imperial flag was raised, she was unwilling to escape again. 5 years ago she fled in a panic. 1 year ago she fled in a panic. Is she going to flee in a panic again now? Of course she knew what kind of person Wang Jingziaichai was, but how could she make him take the bait without using some ruthless tactics? She wanted to set up a trap, lure all these bastards over here, let them kill each other, and then she would reap the benefits. Xiao Ji wanted to persuade him, but Xiao Ji and Jia interrupted him. It's settled. Send the imperial seal and the imperial edict out at night. Everyone looked at each other in bewilderment. The night is pitch black. That night, the enemy army rarely attacked the city. After more than 10 days of siege, not only was Tongshu at its wit's end, but the allied forces were also in a bad situation. In the Yellow Turban army camp, Chen Daoling was drawing taillessnams at this moment. His disciple Chen Zhaoi came in hurriedly. Master, we have captured a group of scouts from Tongshu. Oh, what did you find out? We didn't find out anything, but we did seize some treasures. Chapter 177, Diverting Trouble to Others. Chen Zhaoi took out a package and took out 3 things from it. What is this? Chen Daoling asked curiously. Master, why don't you open it and take a look yourself? Chen Zhaoi said. Chen Daoling walked forward with a smile, but when he opened the package, he was stunned. This is. Yes, this is the Daqian national seal, Chen Zhaoi said excitedly. The other 2 items are the imperial edict from the empress conferring the title of king of Xiangbi Jingzi Yichai and a marriage certificate. Chen Daoling carefully observed the blood-red jade seal. It's hard to tell whether this jade seal is real or fake. It's probably true, Master. You'll understand after looking at this imperial edict and the marriage certificate. Chen Zhaoi hurriedly spread out the imperial edict and the marriage certificate. Chen Daoling stepped forward and took a closer look. He was shocked when he saw it. And then he sneered. It was almost there. It was really almost there. If the empress really gave these 3 things away, we would be in big trouble. Xiangbi is a big city in the north, and it is also a transit station for war horse trading. The Xiangbi Wang family has tens of thousands of mercenaries and at least 20 zero cavalry. 1 horse is worth 10 steps. Don't be careless. Master, now that we have seized the Wang family's stuff, what should we do next? Chen Zhaoi said. If the Wang family knew that the stuff was in our hands, they would definitely not let it go. Otherwise, let's withdraw our troops first. Chen Daoling said. Go, find someone who knows the business and check to see if this national seal is genuine. Soon, Chen Zhaoi found someone who knew the business. Master, this is indeed blood jade. The carving is simple and elegant, and it looks natural. I am 70% sure it is real. 70% sure. Chen Daoling frowned slightly, but he also understood that not many people had seen such an important artifact as the national seal, and one could only distinguish it by its material and carving. 70% is already a lot. Chen Zhaoi grabbed the man's shoulder and pulled him aside. Not long after, a scream came from outside, and then it stopped abruptly. Chen Zhaoi entered the tent again, with a fresh stain of blood on his body. Master, everything has been taken care of. Chen Daoling nodded in satisfaction. We can't leave. If we leave, won't it reveal that the imperial seal is with us? When the time comes, the Wang family will only come to settle accounts with us. There are hundreds of thousands of troops here. Even if the Wang family sends out all their forces, we are not afraid. It turned out that when the 5 major forces formed an alliance, they had already agreed to capture the empress and establish a new court in the north. Everything could be negotiated as to how to divide the benefits at that time. Even if Chen Daoling had a vague suspicion that the jade seal was fake, what if it was real? The empress has been left with no other options. If she marries into the Wang family, the imperial seal will sooner or later belong to the Wang family. So he was 60% sure that the national seal was authentic. Below the national seal is engraved, granted the mandate of heaven, may you live long and prosper forever. Who wouldn't be moved after reading these 8 big words? Master is wise. Chen Zhaoi flattered. Do many people know about this? I took care of them all, said Chen Zhaoi. Well, let's just pretend nothing happened, Chen Daoling sneered. But just as he finished speaking, a yellow turban warrior came running over to report. Master, the Holy King's army is coming towards us. How dare they? We didn't go looking for them, but they came looking for us, Chen Zhaoi said angrily. They are here to look for the national seal. Let's meet them quickly, Chen Daoling said hurriedly. Soon, the 2 groups collided with each other, and the sound of the horde also alarmed people in other camps. For a moment, everyone was shocked. This is Chen Daoling starting the attack. But didn't we agree that we should just surround them from now on? Yes, Tongshu City is short of water and food. As long as we besiege it, we can take it down without bloodshed. No, it's not Chen Daoling attacking, it's the Saint King army that's leaving the city. Let's go and take a look. But soon, someone discovered something was wrong. This is a trick to lure the tiger away from the mountain. They want to escape, they can't leave. The Five Armies Alliance, however, has ulterior motives and each has its own plans. When sending out troops, no one wants to send more troops, so they hope that the other side will suffer more casualties. Now they only need to guard the other three directions, and let the Holy King army consume the strength of the Yellow Turban army. Why not? Therefore, everyone just watched from the sidelines. But no one sent out troops. These sons of bitches, why don't they come to help? Chen Zhaoi cursed. Are they just standing by and watching the show? Chen Daoling also looked coldly in the direction of the coalition forces. They wish we would perish together with the Holy King army. He knew too well what these people were thinking. Then he ordered, take the medicine and kill the enemy. After hearing the order, the Yellow Turban warrior took out the yellow talisman paper he carried with him, which contained some medicinal powder. After taking this medicinal powder, one would become much braver, tireless, insensitive to pain, and full of energy, able to fight 10 people at once. After taking the powder, these Yellow Turban warriors were like they had been injected with chicken blood. Their skin began to turn red, and even their eyeballs turned red. The knife cut into their bodies, but they seemed not to feel it. Some people had their hands cut off, so they used their bodies as weapons to knock down the enemy. Some people had their feet cut off, with their bones exposed, but they didn't feel the pain at all and rushed forward even though they were rolling and crawling. His veins bulged out like evil spirits crawling out of hell. The people of the Holy King army had dealt with them before. Seeing that the situation was not right, they quickly ran out of the city. Chen Daoling, you took things that you shouldn't have taken, return them quickly, otherwise, when our prince consort leads the troops to come, you will be dead. The people of the Holy King's army shouted in unison as if they had agreed in advance. Hearing this voice, Chen Daoling's heart skipped a beat. Oh no, I've been fooled. Hurry! Catch up and kill these people. Chen Zhaoi was also anxious. However, these cavalrymen are very fast and will run away if they cannot defeat them. It is basically impossible to catch up with them in the dark. Chen Daoling hurriedly gathered his troops, and those who had taken the powder began to suffer from the after effects of exhaustion one after another, their hands and feet becoming as soft as noodles. Before he could catch his breath, someone came over and asked him what he had taken that he shouldn't have. Chen Daoling scolded them for being disloyal, but did not give a direct answer. Everyone knew they were in the wrong, and seeing Chen Daoling running away, they did not dare to stay any longer. But everyone had doubts in their hearts. That is, what on earth did Chen Daoling have that could make the Holy King army rush out of the city and attack regardless of everything? At night, the cavalrymen who had escaped returned again and again, exhausting the Yellow Turban army. The next morning, everyone knew that Chen Daoling had robbed the imperial seal that the empress gave to Wang Jingzhi, because Tongshu began to shoot arrows at their military camp to send messages. The letter said that the empress was marrying the Xiangbia royal family, and the royal army would arrive soon if you don't want to die. Get out now. No one believed it at first, but when they thought about the crazy attack of the Holy King's army last night and the uncharacteristically high profile of Tongshu City, they couldn't help but believe it. That damned Chen the god had actually stole the national seal without making any noise and pretended that nothing had happened. Let's go and ask him for an explanation. Chapter 178. Join the game with your own strength and you will win half a step against heaven. Chen Daoling looked at the aggressive group of people and would never admit it even if he was beaten to death. This is a conspiracy, the Empress's conspiracy, don't be fooled. Conspiracy. EID sneered. Who do you really think we are? A few days ago, spies discovered that the Wang family cavalry was ready to make a move outside. The Empress has a conspiracy, which is to form an alliance with the Wang family and catch us off guard. That's right, Chen Daoling. If you hand over the national seal, we can still shoulder the responsibility together. If you want to keep it to yourself, there's no point in talking. Liu Chaimai said coldly, you took all the benefits, and you want us to shoulder the blame with you? No way. Hand over the national seal, and we can discuss everything else otherwise. Don't blame me for turning my back on you. Yes, hand over the national seal. They all came for the Empress now that they have the national seal. It is no longer so important whether they want the Empress or not. But the national seal, they are legitimate. Chen Daoling said angrily. I've already said that I don't have a national seal. The Empress has married into the Wang family, which she joke about her own reputation. Stop the bullshit. If you hand it over honestly, we can forgive you for what happened. If you refuse, then we'll have to fight you. At this moment, Chen Daoling finally tasted the feeling of being forced into a corner. These people will not give up unless the national seal is handed over. When the Wang family comes, they will be the first to settle the score with him. No matter how strong the Yellow Turban army is, they cannot deal with so many people. Master. Chen Zhaoi shook his head secretly. Chen Daoling's eyes were uncertain should he hand it over to keep it safe, or, he looked towards Tongshu City with great hatred in his heart. This time he had to admit defeat. Last night, we intercepted a group of people and did seize some things, but I don't know if that thing is the national seal. I have never seen it. I will get it now. Chen Zhaoyi was furious. If he had known this would happen, he would not have taken it out. Now, not only did we not gain any advantage, but we also lost a lot of men. He secretly blamed Chen Daoling for being too timid. Soon, Chen Daoling brought out 3 things: the blood seal, the imperial edict, and the marriage certificate. After the imperial edict and the marriage certificate were circulated among the group, they all gasped. Damn it, this little bitch actually married into the Wang family. This slut has a child before marriage. Wang Jingzhi is just a slut. Everyone's words were filled with contempt and disdain, but no one dared to underestimate the Wang family. However, at this moment, their attention was attracted by the blood seal that was shining brightly in the sun. Especially the following 8 big characters: granted the mandate of heaven. And may you live long and prosper. It's the Daqian national seal. It really is. A trace of greed flashed in Liu Chaimai's eyes. Look, but don't do anything. Chen Daoling took a step back. There is only one national seal, but I don't know if it's real or not. What the Empress handed over must be real. Chen the charlatan, you are so evil. Didn't you say there is no national seal? What is this? The glared at him. Chen Daoling sneered and said, I've taken out the things, but there are 5 of us here. Who will take them? My Beidai army is the strongest, so naturally I should be the one to go. Or did you put my red eyebrow army? My Green Forest army is composed of heroes from all walks of life. Everyone was arguing fiercely. Chen Daoling said, it's no good to make such a fuss. Why not leave it with me first? When the time comes, we can find a puppet from the Xiao royal family. What if you keep it all for yourself? Liu Chaimai asked. No matter how strong I am, I can't deal with everyone. Chen Daoling said calmly. Besides, I seized this thing first. I am willing to give it to you because I cherish our alliance. Moreover, our most urgent task is not to fight among ourselves, but to find a way to deal with Wang's army. Take Tongshu first, and then deal with the Wang family, said Beidai. No, Tongshu is easy to defend but difficult to attack. Even if we take it by force, it will be difficult to deal with. It is better to conserve our strength. As long as we defeat the Wang family, we can take Tongshu at any time, Chen Daoling said. But we have put so much thought into this. Wouldn't it be a waste if we just withdraw our troops like this? Which is more important, the Empress or the Imperial Seal? Chen Daoling asked in return. There is a Xiaoyi in Bianjing, and the Empress has long been a fake emperor. But Xiaoyi did not have the national seal, so he was not legitimate. Then whoever holds the national seal is the legitimate one, understand? That makes some sense. Then let's withdraw. After some discussion, Chen Daoling finally handed over the national seal to Beidai on the grounds that Beidai's army was the strongest. Beidai was so excited that he praised Chen Daoling for his loyalty. He wished he could cut off a chicken's head and burn yellow paper to become sworn brothers with him on the spot. Let's withdraw our troops first. After we have dealt with the Wang family, we will deal with Tongshu. Chen Daoling threw away the hot potato and now only wanted to return to his territory. And everyone's attention shifted to Beidai. Master, why? Shen Zhaoyi asked in confusion. That's the national seal that we worked so hard to get, and we just gave it to Beidai like this. I can't accept it. The White Emperor has obtained the national seal, but he has to live to enjoy it. The 5 armies seem to be united, but in fact they have their own agenda. When the Wang family army arrives, will the others fight to the death for the White Emperor? Chen Daoling patiently explained. Now, it doesn't matter whether the national seal is real or fake. It came out of the Empress's hands, and others think it is real, so it is real. Who do you think gave the Great Seal its importance? It's a human being. I underestimated the wisdom of the Empress. This move of diverting trouble to others has dragged everyone into the trap. But, so what? It is still unknown who is the fisherman. Did you do this on purpose? That's right. Chen Daoling patted Chen Zhaoyi's shoulder and said, withdraw the troops. We won't fight for the time being. When the time comes, we will not only get the national seal, but also take down these people and the forces in these states. Chen Zhaoyi finally understood Chen Daoling's good intentions. Yes, master. At this time, Shi Jiyue rushed into the meeting room and said, They retreated. Everyone in the hall stood up suddenly. Shi Jiyue. Are they retreating? Xiao Puteo asked anxiously. They quit. They really quit. Shi Jiyue cried with joy. Everyone clapped their hands and laughed. Great, that's great. Xiao Jianjia couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Luke Yuishan proposed to use the national seal as bait, and she used herself as bait to wait. If the Wang family is not involved, these people will come back. At this moment, she felt the charm of military tactics and tasted the secret of defeating the enemy without bloodshed. However, The news of her marriage with the Wang family will probably spread soon, and everyone in the world will know about it. But so what? Once in the chess game. She is both the chess player and the chess piece. If you want to be even a little bit better than the heavens, you have to be ruthless. You bastard. If you knew, you would be so pissed off, right? Xiao Jianjia pursed her lips and smiled, feeling indescribably happy in her heart. Chapter 179, The Tragic Chen Aoling. Report. On the northern border of Xi'an, 30,000 cavalrymen are stationed here. Inside the military tent, a handsome man over 7 feet tall and wearing black armor was sitting in the main seat. He is the eldest son of the Wang family, Wang Jingzhi. As the largest family in Xi'anbi, the Wang family had raised thousands of private soldiers during the Shengxi period. Now, with many heroes vying for supremacy, the Wang family has nearly 80,000 mercenaries and 40,000 cavalry, making it one of the most powerful families in the entire north. Wang Jingzhi has been waiting for an opportunity, waiting for Tangshu City to give up and for the Five Armies Alliance to have internal strife. By then, the Wang family cavalry will be able to capture these people without any effort. Master, we have received a reply from Tangshu City. Wang Jingzhi raised the corner of his mouth slightly, took the letter from the scout, and frowned after reading it. Brother, what did the empress say in the letter? Asked Wang Jingdi, the second son of the Wang family. Read it yourself. Wang Jingzhi handed over the letter. Is this a conspiracy? Is the empress really so decisive as to hand over the imperial seal? Wang Jingdi said in a deep voice. Wang Jingzhi looked at the scout. How is the front line? The 5 bandits retreated and failed to capture Tangshu City, the scout reported truthfully. And then took out 3 silk books. These were sent by people from Tangshu City. When Wang Jingzhi opened it, he found an imperial edict conferring the title of King Yizibingjian on himself and a marriage certificate. A letter said that the imperial seal, imperial edict and marriage certificate had all been stolen, so the 2 silk books were not stamped with the imperial seal but with the empress's personal seal. If Wang Jingzhi doesn't believe it, he can ask the Yellow Turban Army for an explanation. In addition, there is a gold seal specially made for Wang Jingzhi. Brother, this is the king's seal. Have you become the king of one line? The third brother, Wang Shuntenji, was holding a sledgehammer weighing dozens of kilograms, and his face was full of curiosity. Can I see it? What a cruel move, Wang Jingdi said coldly. We clearly asked for the title of Yizibingjian Wang for our father by conferring the title on you. We are trying to make you appear unfilial. Isn't there another imperial edict that conferred the title to our father? Wang Jingzhi casually threw the golden seal to his brother and picked up another silk book, which read, Wang En is conferred the title of King of Xi'anbi. He, the King Yizibingjian, is much more powerful than the King of Xi'anbi. Who wouldn't be envious of having 2 kings from one family? But it's not easy to get noticed. Without the imperial seal, it is not valid. Although the marriage contract is written on the silk book, there is no wedding date said. It is not sincere at all, said Wang Jingdi. Wang Jingzhi continued to ask the scout, why did the 5th Army withdraw? The scout then told the news he had gathered in detail. This is the situation. 3 days ago, the Yellow Turban Army intercepted the wedding procession from Tangshu City. In addition to the national seal and silk book, they also brought dowry and royal clothing. But these were withheld. That day, the Tangshu cavalry went out of the city, and fought many fierce battles with the Yellow Turban Army. During the next day, the Five Army Alliance withdrew from Tangshu. Moreover, they deployed troops on the outside, seemingly targeting us, averting trouble to others. Quite interesting. Wang Jingzhi suddenly laughed. What a clever empress. Brother, the empress's move forced the 5 armies to retreat and turned the conflict towards us. She is worthy of death. So what? Wang Jingzhi said calmly. I don't care whether the national seal is real or not. The common people have never seen it. So how can they know whether it is real or not? Moreover, I guess that the national seal given by the female bride must be fake. But if they thought it was real when she gave it to them, then the national seal must be real. It is a fact that Xiao Yi in the Bianjing Palace did not have the national seal. Do you think everyone recognizes him? The empress was deposed. So why are people trying so hard to find her? Isn't it just for the sake of orthodoxy? She used the Yellow Turban Army to shift the conflict onto us, which is really despicable. But the identity of our Wang family also spread. The title of the prince consort and the king of one word is given to me. Do you think I should accept it or not? Admit it. Wang Jingdi said after thinking for a while. Yes, I must admit it, even if it means biting the bullet. Wang Jingzhi smiled and looked at his brother who was playing with the golden seal. Does Shenten like it? Old can buy delicious food, of course I like it. Wang Shenten smiled naively. Okay, then how about you ask your sister-in-law to give you a gold seal as well? Wang Jingzhi said. Okay, big brother, I want a bigger piece of gold than yours. Wang Jingzhi touched his brother's head. His brother had a brain disease and almost died in his childhood. He was taken away by a Taoist priest to learn martial arts for several years. Although he was short, he was extremely brave and was as powerful as 100 men. He was the most powerful general under his command. Well, pass on my military order and go to Tongshu City to welcome the young lady. Wang Jingzhi laughed. Of the 40,000 cavalrymen, 10,000 were left to guard the Xiangbi border, and the remaining 30,000 were divided into 3 groups. Wang Jingzhi and Wang Shentenji took the middle road, passing through the Yellow Turban Army's territory, while Wang Jingdi led 8,000 troops through the Green Forest Army's territory. Wang Jingzhi's cousin Wang Chuan led another team through the Ba Army's territory. His purpose was simple: to destroy the Yellow Turban Army, take back the National Seal and Imperial Edict, and demonstrate his strength. Then he marched his troops to Tongshu City and forced the empress to go home with him. It doesn't matter if he doesn't go home, the wedding date has to be set. And he also has to meet his fiancée. The cavalry soon arrived at the border of Huangshu. When Chen Daoling learned that more than 10,000 cavalrymen were coming, he was stunned. I clearly gave the imperial seal to Ba. Why are they coming to attack me? Chen Jiaoyi was also confused. Master, why is this different from what you thought? Chen Daoling suddenly felt uneasy. The Yellow Turban Army claimed to have 100 Zaro soldiers, but in total there were only 50,000 to 60,000 soldiers, and half of them were just minions. At 100 cavalry, it is very difficult to collide with one key. I'm not a god. How can I predict the future? Chen Daoling thought that after he dropped the hot potato, he could sit back and watch the fight between the 2 tigers, but in the end, the other party came straight for him. What's there to be afraid of? I have magic medicine and explosive arrows. Even if Biao Yang is 10,000 cavalrymen, just come and fight me. Chen Daoling gritted his teeth and rushed out quickly. He was a little confused about what Wang Jingzhi meant, but since people were already at the door, how could he not hide? A war broke out in the central part of Huangshu, and the border defenders were defeated by the Wang family cavalry. Although Wang Jingzhi is leading light cavalry, don't forget that he is Wang Shentenji by his side. This kid was wearing special armor weighing hundreds of kilograms and carrying a hammer weighing dozens of kilograms. He was like an empty space. One man killed his way through the enemy camp. Moreover, cavalry is an unsolvable bug in this era, and when the cavalry reaches 10,000, the only thing that can resist is the cavalry. If they had organized heavy infantry, they would still be able to fight, but the Yellow Turban Army's financial resources were not enough compared to the hundreds of years of foundation of the Wang family. In just one day, the Wang family cavalry reached the Yellow Turban Army's headquarters from the border. At this moment, the Wang family cavalry were challenging each other outside the city, shouting all sorts of ugly insults, but they refused to come out. Chen Daoling said, depressed lie, the national seal is in the hands of Ba. Why do you want to fight us? Chapter 180, The Strength of the Wang Family. Wang Jing frowned. Isn't the national seal in the hands of the Yellow Turban Army? He continued to ask people to challenge him, but Chen Daoling refused to respond. Moreover, this battle was not smooth, especially the weapons of the Yellow Turban Army, which caught him off guard and he was almost injured. If he guessed correctly, this weapon should have come from Biao Yang. Speaking of Biao Yang, we have to mention Lu Lingjun. He is not afraid of anyone. The only person he is wary of is Biao Yang. He had met Lu Yuan before. The man was 2 years younger than him, but he possessed enough power to conquer the world, destroy the barbarians, punch Da Jing, and kick Diaxia. Who wouldn't be jealous after hearing this? Chen Daoling, right? As long as you hand over the national seal and the imperial edict, we will withdraw our troops. Otherwise, we will fight to the death. The national seal and the imperial edict have been handed over to Ba. They are not with me. Chen Daoling was extremely helpless. He simply wrote a letter and shot it into the enemy's camp with an arrow. It was not that he was timid and afraid of death, but he really could not win. In just one day, he lost 30 of his troops. If the fighting continued, his lair would be destroyed. After reading the letter written by Chen Daoling, Wang Jingzhi thought for a while and then made a request: submit or die. This Wang Jingzhi is going too far, Chen Jiaoyi said angrily. You little brat from the Wang family have gone too far in bullying me. Chen Daoling was furious. He didn't get any benefit at all and got himself into trouble. Master, let me leave the city and fight them to the death. How can we fight with our few hundred cavalry? Chen Daoling said coldly. Hold on, I want to see if he really has the courage to attack the city. Although the city of Huangshu was not tall, it was not something that could be easily captured by cavalry. If Wang Jingzhi had come with a siege vehicle, he would have been really afraid. But now, they can only stare blankly. Then he ordered people to curse at the Wang cavalry on the city wall. Master, they won't surrender. Wang Jingzhi sneered. Come, let them see our methods. Yes, master. Shentenji, come back and rest. Wang Shentenji pouted in dissatisfaction. But after hearing his elder brother's words, he came back obediently. The cavalry behind Wang Jingzhi began to move out one after another. They pulled out something. Sack. Then quickly load the soil. The city walls of Huangshu Prefecture are not built with large stones or blue bricks, so they are not very tall. Non-fortresses usually have city walls built with rammed earth. After all, building city walls is very expensive. Not every city in ancient times had city walls, and not all of them were built with bricks and stones. Master, what are they doing? Chen Zhaohui frowned. It seems like they are digging the soil. Chen Daoling had a telescope in his hand. It was a simple version, but he also spent hundreds of gold to buy it. Digging? Chen Zhaohui was stunned, then he sneered. The people around burst into laughter. Wang Jingzhi isn't going to smash us to death with a clod of earth, is he? They don't have trebuchets either. I thought they were chopping down trees to make ladders. Everyone started to make sarcastic remarks. But Chen Daoling frowned. He had a bad feeling. Soon, the royal cavalry began to move. Tens of thousands of cavalrymen rushed towards the city at a rapid speed, but what surprised Chen Daoling was that there were sacks of sand on the horses' backs. The cavalrymen threw the sacks under the city, and in just a quarter of an hour, they piled them up into a small hill. Oh no, they are going to use sandbags to make a path. Chen Daoling shuddered all over. He had many ideas, but he never expected that Wang Jingzhi would actually use earth attack. There is an example. This greatly refreshed his cognition. Chen Zhaohui couldn't laugh anymore. Quick, pour kerosene. Attack with fire. The yellow turban warriors around didn't dare to laugh anymore. They were all dumbfounded. But even if we use kerosene, what's the use? Once the enemy's sand and soil cover the fire, no matter how much kerosene is poured, the fire will be extinguished. Fire ignites earth, but earth can extinguish fire. Chill. Chen Daoling did not hold back and fired explosive arrows like crazy. Wang Jingzhi ignored it and just ordered the cavalry to run a few times to build a path leading to the city wall. He is not a reckless man. So how can he fight a battle without preparation? Now, it's our turn. My men, break through the city, kill the enemy, and capture Chen Daoling alive. There will be a reward of 10,000 gold coins. Deal. The cavalry charged forward with all their might as if they had been injected with chicken blood. The army climbed up the city wall and it was like a no man's land. Hurry, take the medicine and kill the enemy, Chen Zhaohui shouted loudly. But it was too late. Wang's army rushed into the city, opened the city gate, and the cavalry charged into the city, directly breaking up the formation. The mobility of the cavalry and the sharpness of the saber were fully demonstrated at this moment. Chen Daoling had only one thought, and that was to escape. However, with war raging on all sides, he could no longer escape. Half an hour later, Huangshu Prefecture was captured. Master Chen Daoling and his apprentice were captured. Those yellow turban warriors who took the drugs, after the effect of the drugs wore off, their legs became as soft as noodles and they lay on the ground like dead dogs. Wang Jingzhi curled his lips in disdain, and looked down at Chen Daoling who was kneeling on the ground. Where is the national seal? I really gave it to Bai. Chen Daoling said. I'm already like this, what's the point of lying to you again? Gone? Then you are worthless. With a gesture of his hand, Wang Shuntenji's hammer hit Chen Daoling's head. Bang! Chen Daoling's body fell to the ground and his head was smashed. Chen Zhaohui was so scared that he almost peed himself. Don't kill me, I can sell it for you. Before he could even utter the word life, Wang Shuntenji smashed him to death. You smashed him to death in one blow. You are too impatient. Wang Jingzhi touched his brother's head and said, don't worry. There's more for you to play with later. He had his head cut off and send it to Tongshu City. Say it's my betrothal gift to the empress. Tell her to get ready to welcome me into the city. Soon, Xiaoji and Jia received Wang Jingzhi's betrothal gift. The two bloody and rotten heads made Xiaoji and Jia feel uncomfortable. The Wang family was too fast. Wang Jingzhi captured Huangshu and killed Chen Daoling and his apprentice. His younger brother, Wang Jingdi, killed Liu Chaimai. My cousin Wang Chuan is fighting fiercely with the Bai army. In just a few days, the situation around Tongshu changed dramatically. The Wang family seems to have the potential to conquer the world. Wang Jingzhi is coming to Tongshu. Xiaoji and Jia frowned. They drove away the coalition of 5 thieves. But a more ferocious Wang family came. The Yellow Turban Army and the Red Eyebrow Army have all been destroyed, leaving only the White Emperor Army, the Green Forest Army, and the Red Turban Army. Xiaoji and Jia said solemnly, or, leave Tongshu and go to Zongshu, using the power of Biao Yang to intimidate the Wang family. But this trip will undoubtedly ruin his future. Therefore, I have decided to send troops to attack Wang's army. Your Majesty, Wang Jingzhi is leading cavalry, and they are very mobile. I have a plan. Prince Duan stepped out and said, retreat to Zongshu and led the Wang family cavalry to Bai Liang. Chapter 181, being too clever may lead to mistakes. Since Biaoliang is ruthless, both sides should not think about old friendship, but make the best use of their resources. What if Wang Jingzhi doesn't fall for it? Xiao Ji and Jia said, there's more than just the Wang family in the north, we can also find a way to drag the Zhu family into it. The Zhu family is attacking Nias. I'm afraid they won't be fooled, Xiao Ji said. No one knows why the Zhu family gave up attacking Tongshu, but at this time, the Zhu family would not fight on two fronts. What about the Zi family, which is as famous as the Wang family? Xiao Ji and Jia asked. It's too late, Xiao Puodeo shook her head. The Wang family cavalry has already reached the border of Huangshu. They will reach Tongshu prefecture in one day at most. Then we'll ambush them halfway, Xiao Ji and Jia said in a deep voice. Once the Wang family's army gathers together, Tongshu city will be unable to stop them. Original intention was to let the Wang family and the five thieves consume each other. And he didn't expect that these people would lose so quickly and were eliminated without any effort. She thought of Liu Anjiao's roundabout tactics. In fact, Liao Yang's tactics are very common tactics, but in Liu Yuan's hands, these tactics can always catch the opponent by surprise. However, to be on the safe side, Lu King, you should let all the people to retreat to Zongshu now. I obey your command. Xiao Ji, assist Lu King. Yes, your majesty. Prince Wan, Shi Dadan, the two of you will follow me to the battle, Xiao Ji and Jia said. Only bring the cavalry, the others will be led by Xiao Ji. Make sure to protect the people. Yes, your majesty. Everyone knows that Tongshu has no place to retreat. If it does not rise up and fight, it will only perish. Soon, Lu Qiushan and Xiao Ji escorted the people out of Tongshu city. Looking at the empty Tongshu, Xiao Ji and Jia could not hide her disappointment. But she was not discouraged. She overcame this difficulty without relying on anyone. In the evening, Wang Jingzhi led his troops to Tongshu. Looking at the tightly closed city gate, Wang Jingzhi sent people to knock on the door. However, no matter how hard they knocked, no one responded. Master, this city is so quiet. Why is there no guard on the city wall? Wang Jingzhi looked around in confusion, and there was indeed no one there. No matter if there are people or not. Just kill them, Wang Shuntenji said impatiently. I will beat them to death. No, maybe there is a conspiracy, Wang Jingzhi said in a deep voice. Perhaps this is their empty city plan. Once we rush in, they may have already ambushed us in the city. Hongshu city is not comparable to Huangshu city. The city walls are thick and high, easy to defend but difficult to attack. If they don't open the gate, they won't be able to break in within a few days. Then we'll just wait here? Send some people to test the waters first. And have them dig tunnels. I want to see how long they can hide. Wang Jingzhi looked at the newly filled soil under the city. Some tunnels had not even been filled in yet. He reminded them, those may be traps they left behind. On to be fooled, choose a new place to dig. Yes, master. Soon, a group of people came with pickaxes and started digging the soil. They dug until dark and almost dug through the city wall, but no one showed up. Okay. You really can keep your composure. Wang Jingzhi sneered. The empress thought she was smart. He wanted to see what expression the empress would have after he broke into the city. About 2/4 of an hour later, someone came to report, Master, the city wall has been dug through. And our people have entered the city. Anyone there? No one is there. It's pitch black inside. There's no one. That's impossible. Wang Jingzhi denied his statement without even thinking about it. It's true. There really is no one inside. It's like a dead city. Just as Wang Jingzhi was about to retort, the gate of Tongshu city made a teeth-grinding creaking sound. And then the gate opened wide, and someone from the Wang family walked out. Master, the gate is open. Wang Jingzhi was stunned. The door opened so easily. Have you checked everything inside? I checked. And there's no one. Wang Jingzhi hurriedly led a large army and rushed in. When he entered the inner city, he found that it was indeed an empty city. At that moment, he felt a burning sensation on his face as if he had been slapped in the face. Where are those people? Where did they go? I want to kill people. Wang Shuntanji seemed particularly angry. Rest here tonight. Send scouts to look for them. We must find them. Wang Jingzhi suppressed the anger in his heart. This is what it means to be too clever by half. The empress was more decisive than he had imagined. However, besides being angry, he was actually more excited. It is more interesting to catch such prey. On the other side, at the Huangshu border, Xiao Ji and Ji arrived here with 1,500 cavalrymen, traveling day and night. Your Majesty, please order arrest. People may be able to bear it, but horses can't, said Prince Duan. Xiao Ji and Jia was already exhausted at this moment. Her weakness as a woman was exposed at this moment, but she still forced herself to cheer up. Repair here and take a half-hour break. She got off the horse, took out the dry food from the horse's back, and swallowed it with cold water. Then he found a tree and leaned against it to rest. Xiao Puodeo and Shi Jiyue were guarding her in the middle, one on each side. Xiao Ji and Jia felt like she had just dozed off for a moment when she was woken up. Your Majesty, half an hour has passed. It's time to get going, Xiao Pudayo said in a low voice. Xiao Jianjia didn't sleep well this time. She felt her all over. But she also regained some strength. Let's go, march towards Xiangbi. Yes, she did not snipe Wang Jingzi halfway, but took the cavalry and prepared to cut off his retreat. Only in this way could she severely damage the Wang family, deter the Wang family, and make them dare not invade Tongshu again. It's risky, but it's her only option. Ran from day to dark. And from dark to day. The sky was gray at the moment, and it was not far from dawn. In one day and one night, they marched more than 400 miles. She no longer cared about the damage to the warhorse. There are many war horses in Xianbi City. Looking at the nearby Xianbi City, Xiao Jianjia swallowed the last of his dry food, silently drew out his saber, and said in a low voice, "Brothers, follow me and charge." No one responded, but silently drew their swords, even though they were tired. Their eyes were as hard as iron. Xiao Jianji originally wanted to charge ahead, but Prince Wan and Shidadan had already rushed out. At this time, a gate of Xianbi City had just opened, and the soldiers guarding the city were taking turns to take over. Farmers outside the city were carrying vegetables into the city. No one expected that a team of cavalry was charging quickly. When the cavalry approached and were discovered by the soldiers on the city wall, everyone was just surprised, because no one thought that after Wang Jing's series of victories, there were still enemies that could get right under their noses. Some people even thought they were cavalry. But when the cavalry arrived at the city, they could see clearly who was coming. Enemy attack. The soldiers defending the city made a loud noise. But soon, the sound was shattered by the roar of horses' hooves. Yep, Xiao Jianjia raised his long sword to the sky. At this moment, she is not an emperor, but a warrior fighting hard. Chapter 182. Killing a million people makes him the best of heroes. Master, something big has happened. A figure rolled and crawled into the Wang family mansion. In the center of Xianbi City, there are courtyards with 4 entrances and exits, one after another. If you count them carefully, there are no less than 100 of them. This is the Wang family. A Wang family mansion is home to 3,000 to 4,000 people all year round. Its hierarchy is as strict as that of an imperial palace. At this moment, Wang Yan was getting dressed and washing with the help of his concubine. The bigger the family, the stricter the rules. As the head of the family, you must set an example at all times. At daybreak, they would get up and go to the ancestral hall to worship their ancestors, then deal with clan affairs, and occasionally go for inspections down below. Apart from his status, he is just like an emperor. Wang Yan was offering sacrifices to his ancestors in the ancestral hall. At the moment behind him a group of people were kneeling, offering sacrifices sincerely, until the sharp explosion broke the solemnity of the ancestor worship. Everyone looked back. Wang Yan also frowned. What's the matter? Master, enemy cavalry has rushed into the city and is heading towards the Wang family mansion. When these words were spoken, everyone in the ancestral hall was stunned. Wang Yan's pupils shrank slightly. Where did the enemy come from? I don't know, they are already here to kill us. Everyone in the ancestral hall was in an uproar. Wang Yan also reacted. Quick, close the door. Mobilize people, defend. At this moment, the Wang family was operating like a precision instrument. However, no matter how fast they were, they could not be faster than the cavalry. Xiao Jianjia led the cavalry and charged straight into the inner city. She knew very well that she could not give the Wang family time to react. Only by attacking the enemy directly could she inflict heavy damage on the Wang family. Shidadan, I give you 200 men to take the east gate. If you fail, you will be beheaded. Yes, your majesty. After knowing Xiao Jianjia's true identity, Shidadan worked even harder. He took 200 men and went up to the east gate city wall to fight. Kill. Xiao Jianjia clamped her legs around the horse's belly, and used the sharp saber to directly cut off the enemy's head. The huge head flew into the sky. The warm blood soaked the black armor. A headless corpse fell to the ground and was trampled into a pulp by the horse's hooves. Shoot! The cavalryman took out arrows from his quiver and drew his bow with all his might. Collapse! The bowstring vibrates. Thousands of arrows were fired at the enemy. The rockets even set fire to houses along the road. At this moment, Xiao Jianjia had forgotten that she was a woman and an emperor. The adrenaline rush made up for her shortcomings for a short time. But she told herself to stay calm. Rape, you take 300 men to the right. Watermelon, you take 300 men to the left, and the rest of you follow me to attack through the middle gate. She only had 500 cavalrymen, and if she wanted to make use of them to produce the effect of 10,000 cavalrymen, she had to use them rationally. At this time, she sent out another 50 cavalrymen to set fire to the entire city to bluff the enemy, so that they would not be able to figure out their true intentions. Only by being fictitious can you fish in troubled waters. However, the Wang family is indeed powerful, and they built their house like a fortress. Xiao Jianjia was faster. Before they could close the door, she led her men to rush in. She still had less than 3,000 explosive arrows in her hand, which was her trump card weapon. Originally, the plan was to surprise the coalition forces of the 5 bandits. Now, it's just right here. These 3,000 explosive arrows were distributed among the 700 people, which meant each person received less than 5 arrows. But it's enough to cause explosive damage. Bang bang bang. The damage and deterrence caused by the arrow explosion immediately intimidated the Wang family. People are only afraid of the unknown. At this moment, with the cavalry riding on their faces, the arrogant Wang family had no choice but to lie in the corner and tremble. Xiao Jianjia did not let go of anyone, regardless of gender, or status. Lessons, casualties, regrets, self-motivation and doubts. Finally at this moment, rebirth from the ashes. If you are too soft-hearted, you shouldn't be an emperor. Let alone think about reviving the country. Killing a person is a sin. Killing 10 people makes you a hero. Killing millions of people makes you the best of the best. Whatever Li Yuan can do, Xiao Jianjia can do as well. Die. Xiao Jianjia dodged the enemy's knife and cut off the enemy's head with his backhand. Death no longer scare her. If Da Qian wants to be reborn, it must find opportunities in death. At this moment, Xiao Jianjia felt a force injected into her body and mind, and her whole body was transformed in blood and fire. Her eyes were no longer confused and hesitant, but full of iron-bloodedness and courage. Don't get entangled with them inside, set fire and burn them to death. Don't be surrounded by reinforcements, fight your way out and disperse their troops, Xiao Jianjia said loudly. Prince Duan didn't waste any time. Turned his horse around and rushed out of the Wang family. Soon after, the entire Wang family was engulfed in fire. Quick! Put out the fire! Help! Someone save me! Some people jumped into the water in the yard. Some people were so choked by the fire that their noses and tears were streaming. But in a fire, most people are not burned to death, but suffocated to death. Thick smoke billowed into the sky. At this moment, all the Wang family's hundreds of years of heritage were burned in the fire. Who is it? Whose people are these? Wang An almost cried blood. What exactly is Wang Jingzhi doing outside? Isn't he making great progress? Wang An didn't understand, and at this moment, he was pulled into a secret tunnel. The tunnel is 3 meters underground and is built with blue bricks. Even troops can march inside. Master, let's go quickly, we still have hope of escaping. The servant pulled Wang An and ran wildly in the tunnel, followed by the Wang family members. However, only a part of them entered here. And more people remained on the ground and were killed and burned by fire. Even underground, he could hear the wailing above ground. He didn't know what was happening outside. But he knew that hundreds of years of Wang family's heritage had been burned down in this fire. He is the sinner of the Wang family. After walking for an unknown amount of time, Wang Yan's eyes suddenly lit up. At this moment, the sky was bright and he was already soaked in sweat. Looking back at the city, thick smoke covered the sky. Shouts and cries of killing filled the sky. What kind of hell scene is inside when you look through the city gate? The ground was littered with broken limbs and corpses, and blood gathered into streams flowing freely. The reinforcements were crushed and killed, and their army was completely routed. Wang Yan felt a sweetness in his throat and spat out a large mouthful of blood. I am a sinner of the Wang family. It's gone, everything is gone. The Wang family's hundreds of years of foundation were destroyed in one day. Quick, carry the master away. Seeing Wang Yan fainting from anger, the loyal servant hurriedly carried him on his back and said, Quick, right away. The fighting in the city continued. The battle lasted for nearly 2 hours. The entire Xianbi city was engulfed in a boundless sea of fire, like a burning hell. Xiao Jianjia had become a bloody man at this moment. Her hands felt heavy as if they were filled with lead, and the blade of her saber had been bent by the blows it had taken. However, looking at the corpses covering the long street and the captives kneeling on the ground, she couldn't help but burst into laughter. Today, I am a new person. Chapter 183, Defeated in Tongshu. The laughter was arrogant, but the tears flowed down mixed with sweat and the blood of the enemies. Are you crying? Why are you crying? Should I cry for the hardships of my desperate struggle, or for the death of my past self? Maybe, both. Quick, grab the horses and supplies and we'll leave. However, Xiao Jianjia was not immersed in joy. She knew very well that the reason her 1,500 cavalrymen were able to sweep across Xiangbi was because Wang Jingzhi had transferred all the cavalry away. There were only infantry in Xiangbi. Wang Jingzhi was advancing at a rapid pace. The Wang family was too confident. They would never have thought that someone would dare to cross hundreds of miles and attack the Wang family's base camp. But she only had 1,500 cavalrymen. And after the long-distance raid and the fierce battle, they were all extremely exhausted. If we were surrounded by a large army, we would most likely be trapped here. Xianbi has been completely destroyed. Most of the Wang family's accumulation over hundreds of years has been lost here. After Wang Jingzhi gets the news, he will definitely send people back to defend. And they also left cavalry on the border. Fight and then run. This is the core 16 mantras of Lu Yuan's tactics. Xiao Jianjia has obtained the result she wanted and is very satisfied. The biggest gain from this battle was the war horses from Mashi. When coming, each person rides one horse. When leaving, each person rides 3 horses. Or even 4 horses. But these war horses, she can train more cavalry. Today is the 3rd day since Wang Jingzhi took over Tongshu prefecture. He has already found out that the empress retreated to Zongshu with her troops and all the people in the city. Beyond Zongshu is Biaoyang Pass, which completely stumped Wang Jingzhi. If I send troops to Zongshu, will Biaoyang think that I am provoking him? He could tell at a glance that the empress was taking advantage of her position to pressure others. However, the Holy King's army has already raised their flags. Aren't they courting death? He has been fooled once and will not send troops rashly. So in the past 2 days, he has been clearing out the entire Tongshu area, waiting for Wang Jingdi and Wang Shuan's army to reunite. Even if they failed to capture the empress this time, they had conquered 3 states and obtained the imperial edict and marriage certificate. As long as they could get the national seal in Biadai's hands, it would be great whether they were recruiting soldiers or reviving Dakian under the banner of the emperor's husband. He even thought about it and decided that if he really didn't believe it, he could just let the empress go for the time being. The empress is trapped in Zongshu and cannot escape. Keeping her around can also provide early warning. If the Northerlyang army has any movements, he can react immediately. However, he still did not give up. He sent people disguised as merchants to contact Biaoyang. No matter how courageous the empress was, she dared not cut off the trade routes. At this moment, the appearance of a person made Wang Jingzhi stunned. Second uncle. Why are you here? Wang Jingzhi looked at Wang Shi, who was exhausted, and hurried to greet him. Why am I here? Wang Shi said angrily. I should ask you this. Do you know that Xianbi was attacked? What? Wang Jingzhi was dumbfounded. When did it happen? Just yesterday. The enemy burned, killed and looted in the city. A huge fire burned down Xianbi. All the accumulation of our Wang family over hundreds of years was burned down by the fire. If your father and I hadn't been quick enough to escape into the tunnel, you wouldn't be able to see us now. Speaking of this, Wang Shi was sad. Your father got angry and had a stroke. Now he is lying in bed and can't move. Wang Jingzhi's breathing stagnated, his eyes full of disbelief. He tightly grasped Wang Shi's arms. Second uncle, this is impossible. That's impossible. Our Wang family suffered heavy losses in this battle. Thousands of our clan members died. It's all because of you. You mobilized all the cavalry and left us without the power to fight back. Wang Jingzhi, you are the sinner of the Wang family. Wang Shi shook off Wang Jingzhi's hand, his eyes full of coldness. No, that's impossible. Could it be the Z family? Wang Jingzhi asked. It's not the Z family, it's the Holy King army. What? Wang Jingzhi couldn't hold it in any longer. Wang Shi slapped a letter on his chest and said, this is the letter that the Holy King army hung on the city wall. Take a look for yourself. Wang Jingzhi hurriedly took out the letter and opened it. It turned out to be a letter written in blood. Judging from the handwriting, it must have been written by someone with blood on his finger. A familiar handwriting immediately made Wang Jing's eyes red. Empress, this is the Empress handwriting. There was a line of words written on the letter. The thief Wang has invaded the border. His crime is unforgivable. Kill him. The word kill took up almost half of the paper, revealing a murderous intent that was shocking. Wang Jingzhi yelled, feeling like a donkey being played around. First, he was tricked into sending troops to resolve the crisis in Tongshu. Because of greed, he fought hard against the Yellow Turban Army, the Red Eyebrow Army and the White Emperor Army, and dispersed the large group of troops. What Wang Jingzhi did not expect was that the Empress burned her boats and took away her men and the people in the city, and then led the cavalry to launch a surprise attack on the Xianbi base camp. He seemed to see the mockery in the corner of the Empress's mouth. At this moment, he had boundless anger that was difficult to vent. The clever by half. These words filled his mind. This was the heaviest blow in the life of Wang Jingzhi, a man who was so proud and arrogant. Sizzle. He tore the blood letter into pieces. A tyrannical spirit filled her heart. Empress, I cannot coexist with you. What's the point of saying this now? Hurry back to Xiangbi. Wang Shi said coldly. The Z family is already stirring at the border. If you don't come back to help, you will be the corpse of our Wang family. Let Jingdi and Xuaner go back first. I want to conquer Zongshu. Wang Jingzhi has still had some rationality at this moment. But not much. Nonsense. What if you anger Biaoyang? Are you more powerful than Xia Jing's million-strong army? Wang Shi grabbed his collar and slapped him in the face. Quickly retreat. Wang Jingzhi felt a burning pain on his face, but he woke up. Yes, he knew clearly that this was the Empress's plan, but he still wanted to rush forward. There was an 80 chance that he would run into the northern Liang army. That is not something they can contend with right now. Are you awake? Wang Shi slapped him again. Uncle, I'm awake, Wang Jingzichai said. Seeing that Wang Jingzichai had regained clarity, Wang Shi let go of his hand. Although he was extremely reluctant, Wang Jingzichai still ordered the troops to retreat. This time, everything he did was to help the Empress. Before Wang Jing left, he ordered Tongshu to be burned down, and even all the city gates were removed and thrown into the fire. But this still couldn't eliminate the anger in his heart. When he left, he not only took away all the troops in Tongshu, but also abandoned all the captured prefectures such as Huangshu. If we lose these places, we can still fight them back later, but if we lose Xiangbi, we will never have another chance. The Zi family, the Huan family, the Zheng family, and the Wang family are the four major families in the north, and they are all man-eating tigers. In fact, the strength of the other three families is even greater than that of the Wang family. Wang Jingzhi looked towards Song Shu and said unwillingly, today's humiliation must be repaid tenfold. Chapter 184, Babosha. I'm back, I'm finally back. Zhao Ji and Jia brought everyone back to Zongshu, but the first thing he did was not to accept everyone's worship, but to fall asleep. For 3 days and 4 nights. They traveled day and night, with less than 2 hours of rest each day. Not to mention her as a woman. Even the men were devastated to the extreme. Xiao Ji and Jia slept for a whole day and night, and almost scared the people in the camp to death. Fortunately, Xiao Ji and Jia woke up the next day. Looking at the Empress, everyone felt that Xiao Ji and Jia was different, but they couldn't tell what was different. We won this battle with great difficulty. But Tongshu was destroyed and we suffered heavy losses, so next, we have to take Tongshu back. Wang Jingzichai's army has retreated. We must make a concerted effort to capture Huangshu. Pass on my order to expand the army to 100,000. When Xiao Ji and Jia came back, she had already thought about her next path. She didn't want to be bound by so-called benevolence, righteousness, and morality. An emperor without power is worse than a pheasant. Gentlemen, are you ready to follow me in revitalizing Daqiang? Your Majesty. I am willing to die for you, Prince Wan bowed. I am willing to do the same. At that moment, everyone in the hall knelt down. Xiao Ji and Jia nodded with satisfaction, and then rewarded everyone and deployed troops. This time, she decided to put Lu Qiushan's plan on the agenda. Sacrifice the few for peace for the many. At the same time, Li Yuan's and rehearsed the battle of Tongshu on the sand table. Brilliant, it's really brilliant. It's really an unconventional move. Extremely dangerous. Lu Yuan touched his chin. However, how can this fighting method be so unique? At this point, he couldn't help but sigh. The Empress survived the desperate situation, and Xiao Ji and Jia must have participated in the roundabout battle. Based on his understanding of the Empress, it was impossible for her to come up with such an idea. So, it's my good teaching? Li Yuan had mixed feelings. He was satisfied with his teaching, but he also sighed inwardly. Everyone thought that the Empress was doomed. But unexpectedly, she turned the situation around in no time. Only the White Emperor army and the Green Forest army were left of the 5 bandits, and they no longer posed a threat to the Empress. The Wang family's base camp was destroyed, and Wang Jingzhi could only return to defend. He would not take action against the Empress in the short term. This time, he was very sad that he didn't bring Lao Lu back. It seems that we need to increase our support for the surrounding forces. Li Yuan thought so, and then called Yu Suan. How many forces are there in the north now? Replying to the master, there are 2 top forces, for first-class forces, and 12 third-class forces. Okay, the 18 rebel kings of the north. Li Yuan tapped his fingers on the surrounding area. This was the distribution of forces that had been formed several years after the north was disrupted. In the past, there must have been hundreds of rebel forces of varying sizes. The 2 top forces are Prince Xian's palace and Prince Yu's palace. These 2 were the sons of Taizi Daqian, and their fiefdom was in the north. When Taizi moved the capital, his original intention was to support the southern barbarian clans in competing with the northern clans. During this period, the Enfi fed all his 9 sons in the north in an attempt to disintegrate the northern clans. However, these princes were eventually killed or crippled by the northern clans, leaving only these 2. Although the 2 survivors cannot compete with the aristocratic families, if one of them is taken out alone, they are no match for them. The remaining 4 first-level forces are the 4 major families in the north. The remaining 12 small forces will also gradually be divided up and swallowed up. However, the center of Daqian is in the south for the past 200 years. The strategies left by Daqian Izu are still effective given another 100 years. Perhaps the powerful families in the north will be wiped out. What a pity. It is useless to future generations. How can we make it so easy for these 12 small forces to succeed in their business? Lu Yuan said calmly. As Biaoyang's territory expanded, the resource problems that once constrained Biaoyang have been largely resolved. Moreover, as the population increased, the military factories were running at full capacity, producing 500 guns a day. Now that the flintlock has been an obsolete product for many years, Liyuan feels that it is time to open up the foreign trade version. Let's go check out the military factory. Liyuan brought Honggu 2 military factory No. 1. Back then, Liyuan brought 3 craftsmen, and made the first flintlock rifle by hand in this small workshop. After that, things got out of control. A machine tool, known as the industrial mother machine, took 2 years to build. Although its functions are simple, it has the functions of cutting and washing. Nowadays, although the gun barrels are still polished manually, the pass rate has increased by more than 100 times. Biaoyang military factory also has 4 complete assembly lines. I am honored to see you, Master, and Ayu Taishu, the director of the No. 1 arsenal. Hurried over. There are 2 cows in Biaoyang, the agricultural cow and Ayu Han, the bull of industry. And Ayu Taishu. And Ayu Taishu lost his mother at the age of 3, his father at the age of 18, his wife at the age of 24, his daughter at the age of 30, and encountered bandits at the age of 32, so he had to flee to Biaoyang with his son. As luck would have it, the child was stabbed and caught a cold, and his life was almost in danger. It's so tragic that even novels wouldn't dare to write about it this way. But Liyuan knew very well that misfortune often favors the unfortunate. Even in such a desperate situation, Liyuan saved them and brought his son back to life. After that, Ayu Taishu was completely devoted to Liyuan. He was one of the 3 old blacksmiths. No need to be so polite. Liyuan waved his hand. Taishu, I'm here to inspect this time because of the new weapons. Master, you've come at the right time. This new weapon has entered the final experimental stage. As long as the quality is ensured, it can be put into mass production. Ayu Taishu was delighted and hurriedly took Liyuan to the indoor design room. In the design room, hundreds of identical guns are displayed. And these guns have all undergone brutal experiments. For example, continuous firing to see if the barrel will explode. And then the stability of single-shot firing, its waterproofness, and whether it will jam when fighting on sand. It also needs to undergo low temperature and high temperature tests. The harsh combat environment simulated by the gun has to go through multiple tests before it can be approved for construction. In fact, this batch of guns was put into experimentation last year. Biaoyang's style is to eliminate a batch, use a batch, and develop a batch. After the flintlock rifle was mature, Liyuan couldn't wait to devote himself to the research of rifles. After smokeless gunpowder matured, rifles became mainstream. Last year, after the 98K demonstrated its prowess, a carbine rifle suitable for cavalry came out and became the mainstream weapon in service. There is also the Mauser pistol, which is standard issue to the entire army. And this batch of weapons are exclusive to the firearms battalion. Liyuan picked out a gun from the collection. It felt heavy in his hand, and the barrel was covered with holes. The most eye-catching thing was its magazine, which was round and drum-shaped. It is not called a magazine. Its professional name is drum magazine. It also has a nice name, called PP submachine gun. Chapter 185, A Comprehensive Industrial Survey. We had 3 great artifacts back then. The Tusha rocket launchers, Mi G-15 fighter jets, and the somewhat strange-looking PP submachine gun. The first 2 are difficult to produce in a short period of time, but the PPS submachine gun has already been released. The advantages of this gun are its high rate of fire and strong firepower, and it is especially adaptable to the harsh cold climate in the north. The most exciting thing is that the PP submachine gun has an extra-large drum magazine that can hold 71 rounds of bullets at a time. Compared with bolt-action rifles, the PPS submachine gun's feeding method is novel and practical. Soldiers can avoid the trouble of frequently pulling the bolt to load bullets when uninterrupted shooting is required. It can help soldiers suppress the enemy more effectively. Even this barrel full of holes is for heat dissipation. Because the PP submachine gun fires quickly, the barrel can easily become burned red. Liyuan skillfully picked up the gun, put on earmuffs to protect his ears, and started shooting. Da-da-da. After pulling the trigger, a series of flames came out of the muzzle and all the bullets were used up in an instant. After a volley of bullets, the target in front was smashed. Liyuan nodded in satisfaction, and then had someone bring him a drum magazine. This gun could not only fire continuously, but also single shots. It is not easy to reload the drum magazine, and if it is too heavy, it will bring difficulties to the soldiers in combat, but the rate of fire is very fast, the consistency is very strong, and the recoil is moderate. If facing 100,000 cavalry, it only takes thousands of soldiers armed with PPS submachine guns to suppress them. However, the disadvantage is also obvious, that is, the accuracy is not enough. But don't worry about accuracy when you are on the battlefield. After all, they come in groups. Although the range is a little shorter, it is enough. Li Yuan analyzed the pros and cons of this gun in detail. Of the total length of 814, a firing rate of 900 rounds per minute, 7.62 caliber bullets, and an effective range of 150 meters, it is enough to make it stand out from the crowd. The most important thing is that this gun uses a brand new stamping process. Before this, it was always cutting technology. Not only is it time-consuming and labor-intensive, but the cost is also extremely high. If it takes 30 hours to make a 98K, then this PP submachine gun only takes 5 to 6 hours, a gap of nearly 5 times. Of course, guns are different and cannot be compared. But this means that this babosha can be produced in large quantities. If we can make 500 guns a day now, then we can make at least 2.0 PPSHs a day. The entire army can be equipped in 1 month. Of course, this is just theory. After all 4 production lines are currently using cutting technology. Even if the stamping technology is used to make babosha, only one production line can be opened separately. Maintain about 500 swords a day. The arsenal not only makes guns, but also cannons. There are mortars suitable for soldiers to carry, as well as huge cannons for defending cities. If you have guns, you must have ammunition, right? These materials are limiting factors. Bao and IU, improve the stamping production line. I will transfer experienced workers from other arsenals. We must focus on the production of PP submachine guns. Li Yuan put down the gun, took off his earmuffs, turned and said to Niu Taishu, "My lord, the stamping production line has actually been assembled a long time ago, and I have already trained the workers in advance. As long as you give the order, we can start production today," said Niu Taishu. Li Yuan was very satisfied. Although Niu Taishu was a rough guy, his foresight was something few could match. "Lao and you always do things that touch my heart." Niu Taishu scratched his head, embarrassed lie. Every time the master mentioned a new technology, I knew that this must be the future development direction. As long as I can keep up with the master's footsteps, I will be very satisfied. The more Li Yuan looked at Niu Taishu, the more he liked him. "Is your son going to have his coming-of-age ceremony? I'll come and crown him and take him in as my student. How about that?" Niu Taishu was overjoyed and knelt on the ground. "Thank you, Master. Being your student is a blessing that my son Dan has earned in 8 lifetimes. Niu Dan has inherited the blacksmithing skills from his ancestors, but Li Yuan thinks he is still young, so he lets him study in school. Only through systematic learning can he keep up with the times. If you throw those old blacksmiths into the arsenal, they will be dumbfounded. Get up." Li Yuan hurriedly helped Niu Taishu up. "Go back and prepare also. There will be a group of students coming here for internship this year. You have to be prepared and let them start from the most basic assembly line." Niu Taishu stopped and said, "Yes, master." Li Yuan patted him on the shoulder, went to the production workshop to check, and then left Arsenal No. 1. There are 3 arsenals in Biaoyang. Arsenal No. 1 mainly produces firearms, such as 98K, cavalry rifles, and Mauser pistols, all of which are produced here. No. 2 arsenal mainly produces various types of artillery shells. For example, the 50 mortar currently in service throughout the army is produced by the No. 2 arsenal. This mortar can be disassembled and even put into a bag so that soldiers can carry it. The shell used weighs about 1. It is impossible to perfectly replicate the data kilogram when the shell with a cast iron casing explodes. The fragmentation killing radius is 4.6 meters. The 15 shell leaves the barrel at a speed of about 70 meters per second, can fly up to 550 meters, and has a minimum range of 25 meters. Well-trained soldiers can fire 20 shells per minute. Corrected the combat rate of fire after aiming to no more than 10 rounds minute. As a means of fire reinforcement, each infantry company should be equipped with 3 15 mortars and each infantry platoon should be equipped with 1 mortar. Li Yuan is familiar with the weapons currently in service in the containerized division, and today he mainly wants to see a big guy. That's the howitzer. If the mortar is a kind of auxiliary fire reinforcement and covering fire, then the howitzer is the god of war. The extremely long range and huge destructive power, who wouldn't be moved? But this thing, the city wall, is like paper if he is given time. He can even destroy the Biaoyang city wall. This is also the most advanced industrial technology achievement in the entire Biaoyang at present. Li Yuan entered the arsenal without disturbing others and only entered the park after going through a rigorous process. At this time, the factory director Li Dialong was holding a magnifying glass in his hand and looking at something on the desk. Li Dialong. Li Yuan pushed the door open and scared Li Dialong. But after seeing who it was, Li Dialong was delighted. He put down the magnifying glass and ran over. "I am here to see you, sir. What are you looking at so intently? You've come at the right time. This is the 105 Maratser designed by me. Please take a look." Li Dialong held Li Yuan's hand and stood in front of the desk, as shy as a child. As for Honggu behind Li Yuan, he automatically ignored her. Although the blueprint was a secret among secrets, There was no need to be on guard against the people Liu Yuan brought in. Liu Yuan was stunned. Wow. They even designed a 105 Malabar howitzer. Chapter 100 Itexis, the jewel in the crown of industry. As we all know, the larger the caliber and the longer the barrel, the greater the power. The technology behind the 50 mortar has only been developed in recent years. It took a total of 4 years from finalization to military-wide promotion. Even so, there are only about 1,000 of them in the entire army. On this basis, Liu Yuan and the designers of the No. 2 arsenal spent more than a year polishing the design before finally deciding on the 75 howitzer. It's not that Liu Yuan doesn't want to build cannons. It's just that the technology is not up to par. The larger the caliber of the cannon, the more difficult the craftsmanship required. It has to ensure both power and safety, unlike the traditional red cannon, which is a clumsy thing. The 75 howitzer designed by Liu Yuan can be disassembled into 8 parts for transportation. It can fire different shells and can be pulled by a mule. The weight of the entire gun does not exceed 1,400 kilograms. Only 6 people are needed to operate it. Master, is there something dirty on my face? Li Dialong asked doubtfully. Liu Yuan came back to his senses. No, La Li, can we keep up with the technology now? Yes. Sir, I have already made the electric arc furnace you mentioned, said Li Dialong. What did you say? Liu Yuan's pupils trembled, and then he took a breath of cold air, constantly looking at the short, dark-skinned, honest-looking man in front of him. Old Li, although our skills are weak, we don't brag. Compared to Niu Taishu, the Li family has been weapon craftsmen for generations. The so-called weapon craftsmen are those who specialize in making weapons for government offices or the court. Thanks to the chaos in the world. Otherwise, how could such a talent end up in Biayang? It is precisely because of this that Li Dialong has such insight into weapon design that is far beyond that of ordinary people. For example, he led the way in overcoming all the difficulties faced by the 50 mortar. After his technical skills were accumulated, he immediately moved on to the 75 caliber howitzer. Now, he even said that the drawings of the 105 Maya 5 mount. Everyone in Liu Yuan was dumbfounded. Master, I really didn't brag you. I'll know if you follow me. Li Dialong collected the drawings on the table and put them in the safe, then left with Liu Yuan. Soon, they arrived at the steel plant under the No. 2 arsenal. As the saying goes, good steel should be used on the blade. They no longer look down on things like Baiduan steel, which have no technical content. Moreover, Li Dialong felt that this was a waste of resources. It would be better to equip the entire army with fine iron knives. Knives are consumables anyway, and you can't expect everyone to have a dragon's laying sword. The sword that can cut iron like mud and never get damaged only exists in novels. As soon as he entered the steel plant, Liu Yuan felt a wave of hot air blowing towards him. Steel workers were working busily inside. After crossing this area, you will come to an area with relatively lower temperature. And this area is newly built. Master, look, that's an electric arc furnace, Li Dialong said, pointing to the teapot-shaped furnace in front of him. Liu Yuan was stunned again. He kept pacing around the stove. The furnace is not very big compared with the huge iron smelting furnace. It can only be regarded as a small one. But the electric arc furnace is really not that big. An electric arc furnace that can melt hundreds of tons of molten steel in one furnace is simply not something that can be manufactured at this stage. Listening to the sound of the electric arc furnace working, Liu Yuan took a breath of cold air. Wow! This is really an electric arc furnace. He looked at Li Dialong and said in ecstasy, Dialong, you are such a talent. Li Dialong scratched his head in embarrassment. In fact, if the brothers in the research department hadn't built the thermal power station, I wouldn't have had the conditions to build the electric arc furnace. I was wondering why the power station consumed so much electricity this month. It turns out all the electricity was used here. Liu Yuan clicked his tongue. Unlike the casting of the red cannon, the traditional gun barrel can even be cast with mud, but this method will leave bubbles and pits on the inner wall of the barrel, which can easily cause the barrel to explode. So, someone came up with an idea to tie the gun barrel with an iron hoop to prevent it from exploding. Although it was effective, its weight increased dramatically, and after just a few shots the barrel would become very hot. If the damage was ignored, it would easily explode. So, whether it is a mortar or a howitzer, they are all steel pipes. Howitzer barrels are long and have large calibers, requiring higher strength steel. The electric arc furnace is a way to further purify steel. Because electricity is a pure energy source and does not contain any harmful substances, the molten steel produced by it will be purer. Most high-end steel products cannot be produced without electric arc furnaces. After making the right steel ingot, it is impossible to grind it by hand, so a large forging machine is needed to forge it. The largest hydraulic forge in Biaoyang is only 2,000 tons, which is the limit of what they can do at present. Even if we have an electric arc furnace, the forging machine won't be powerful enough to forge such a large ingot, right? This was like a 3-year-old child swinging a sledgehammer, with good intentions but insufficient power. Oh, I have completed the research and assembly of the new forging machine with my brothers in the research group. The experiment has been completed and I am planning to report to you. Li Dialong looked calm, as if he was talking about a trivial matter. For some reason, Li Yuan felt that Li Dialong deserved a beating when he saw his indifferent look. But what comes randomly is ecstasy. Have you built the hydraulic forging machine? Yes. Sir, you will know if you move over here. Li Dialong brought Lu Yuan to another area, where a huge hydraulic forging machine was placed. When Lu Yuan saw the forging machine, it was like seeing a peerless beauty, and he almost drooled. He has as many beauties as he wants and he doesn't care about any of them. But this forging press is the jewel and the crown of industry and the cornerstone of everything that sweeps the world. It is no exaggeration to say that with this forging press, he has the courage to build a 115 howitzer. How many tons? About 7 to 9,000 tons, and it's still not perfect. When Li Dialong said this, his brows were furrowed and his face looked a little unhappy, as if he was very dissatisfied with this semi-thin product. Okay, your skills are awesome. You are amazing, I won't bother with you, okay? Li Yuan stroked the machine with his hand, and his affectionate look made Honggu feel jealous. The master has never been so gentle when touching me. However, what she didn't know was that Lu Yuan's eyes were actually a little moist. This huge industrial machine almost helped Biao Yang skip the first industrial revolution and enter the second industrial revolution directly. This behemoth is the embodiment of Biao Yang's highest technology, and also the most awesome technology in the world. Li Yuan even kissed the machine hard. I love you so much. That affectionate look made Li Dialong shudder. Master, do you have this hobby? Chapter 187. Save my sister. Li Yuan then looked at Li Dialong and picked him up. Dialong, I was too loud just now. Are you tired recently? Do you want me to reward you with some beauty so that you can relax? Is the money enough? How about I give you a personal reward of tens of thousands of tiles? Don't push yourself so hard, combine work and rest. Compared to these, your health is Biao Yang's wealth. Do you understand? Li Yuan held his hand, extremely gentle. Li Dialong got goose and stall over his body. Master, I don't want beautiful women. I just want to study technology while also. I don't lack money if you give me a salary every year. My family can't spend it all. Do you encounter any difficulties in your daily life? Do you feel uncomfortable? Li Yuan asked. No, it's great. Li Dialong swallowed his saliva. Master, this forging press is only the first generation. I'm already working on the second generation. The next generation will strive to break through 10,000 tons and reach 15,000 tons. By the way, there will be a 30,000 ton forging press in the second season. That's good, Lu Yuan nodded. Master, that 105 howitzer. It's done. Lu Yuan waved his hand. Is it enough to allocate another 2 million tiles of silver to you? Enough. Li Dialong was like a chicken pecking at rice. How much money has he invested in his arsenal now, to over the years? If not 20 million tiles, there were at least 18 million tiles. During those years when there were no results, it was Lu Yuan who accompanied them to overcome the difficulties. It is precisely because of this that there has been an accumulation and explosion of technology, and that this 9,000-ton forging press was built. Rather than saying that it was his credit, it would be more accurate to say that it was Li Yuan who fed the food into their mouths bit by bit. I still remember that 6 years ago, he was still called Da Chong. As a soldier craftsman of low status, how could he be called Dialong? It was Li Yuan who changed his name. He told himself that Da Chong didn't sound good, so he would be called Dalong from now on. It was Li Yuan who affirmed him, gave him enough respect and importance, and made him go from a lowly person to the director of an arsenal. His wife, children and parents are living a good life, so he has no reason not to work wholeheartedly for Li Yuan. Dialong, you really become a dragon. Li Yuan patted Li Dialong's shoulder. There was a huge forging machine behind him, and he felt indescribable emotion in his heart. 6 years ago, he casually threw a seed, and at this moment, it grew into a towering tree. Li Dialong felt a little sad, and he said with his hands clasped, it was the master who gave Dialong a new life. Taught Dialong what design is, and told Dialong that there is no inferior profession in the 360 professions. What Dialong created today is not even 1/100th of what the master gave. Please rest assured. Master Dialong will become the sharp sword in your hand to protect Biao Yang and cut through all obstacles. At this moment, they are not superiors and subordinates, but running into directions. Li Yuan took a deep breath and said with a smile, you did it, I'm very relieved. Thank you for the compliment, sir, Li Dialong said loudly. From today on, you will be promoted from brigade level to deputy division level. Report the names of the people under your command, and they will all be rewarded, Lu Yuan said. Yes, master. Li Dialong was extremely excited. He was probably the first person to enter the deputy division level as a military civilian. Let's go and take a look at the 75 howitzer, Li Yuan said. Immediately Li Dialong took Li Yuan to the armory, where more than a dozen 75 howitzers were stored. To be precise, it is called a 75 Mach howitzer. The gun has a maximum range of 9,000 meters, a firing rate of 5 rounds per minute, and an initial velocity of 381 meters per second. Very suitable for complex terrain and long-distance combat. In an era without roads, this large-caliber artillery with strong mobility and high deterrence became a deadly weapon on the battlefield. Li Yuan checked the various tests that Li Dialong handed over and nodded with satisfaction. Everything is in compliance. How much can be produced in a month? Because we are still adapting to the new technology, a conservative estimate is that we can only produce about 15 statues a month. Once we become proficient in it, 20 statues will not be a problem, Li Dialong replied cautiously. Li Yuan was thinking in his mind that this kind of large-caliber howitzer would have enormous destructive power whether in siege or field battle. Of course, the more the better. At this rate, even if production continues for 10 years, the market will not reach saturation. If we set up one more production line, we won't have to worry about producing more, said Li Yuan. I'm not afraid, but I'm afraid that Arsenal No. 3 can't keep up with the speed, Li Dialong said with a smile. Don't worry, this problem will never occur, Li Yuan said, patting his chest. After leaving Arsenal No. 2, Li Yuan felt light-footed. This inspection gave him so many surprises. First, the Popo gun was perfectly accepted. Then the stamping process, the 9,000-ton forging press, the 75 howitzer was accepted. And the 105 howitzer drawings came out. After 6 years of hard work, at this moment, Biao Yang finally has the ability to conquer the world. He just wanted to shout, who else? From now on, no matter who you are, you will not be qualified to speak loudly in front of him. Li Yuan felt much better when he arrived at the prefecture residence. Honggu's face was already red as blood. This enemy is really a nuisance. Tonight, I'll go to your place. Huan will sleep with Ling Zhi tonight, Li Yuan said in her ear. He couldn't bear it any longer and was determined to go through the final process with Honggu tonight. Honggu said, Master, you are joking. I have been guarding you all these years. Where did I get the room? Li Yuan was stunned. It was true. Then take a shower tonight. I'll give you a surprise, Li Yuan said. Honggu said no, but she was looking forward to it in her heart. Even though her hands were stained with blood, she hoped that the man she loved would treat her well. But at this moment, Liu Su's arrival interrupted their conversation. Master, someone from Diaxia is coming. Who's coming? Princess Anla. Damn, I don't want to see you. Li Yuan was almost annoyed to death by this little girl. He was so troublesome and talkative. It seems like they came here for Li Wuyu, Liu Su said. I heard that Li Wuyu is seriously ill and is dying. And we can't meet each other. Who knows what disease she has contracted? What if she is contagious? Li Yuan refused without thinking. He had played enough with Li Wuyu and he didn't plan to marry her. If he continued to play with her, he would not be a scumbag, but a bitch. Moreover, she got sick when she returned. God knows what she did. Li Yuan would never take any risk. Li Su nodded and had to go back and tell Li Anla. Li Anla's eyes were red as he asked, what will it take for Li Yuan to save my sister? Chapter 188. I still like your rebellious look. Princess Anla, you came to Bai Liang without permission. We made a mistake by letting you in order to avoid unnecessary misunderstandings. We will send you back to Diaxia. Liu Su frowned. I just want to see Li Yuan once, just once, Li Anla said anxiously, otherwise, my sister will really die. As she said this, she actually knelt on the ground. I beg you. Liu Su quickly stepped aside, refusing to accept her greeting. Princess Anla, it's very difficult for me to handle this. Li Anla was desperate. I really have no other choice. My father wanted to marry my sister off to someone else, but she would rather die than agree. She first went on a hunger strike, and now she is half dead. I only ask Li Yuan to write her a letter. Just one letter can save her life. No matter what you ask for, as long as I can afford it, I will do whatever it takes. After Li Wuyu returned to Li Jing, he lost his appetite and felt like he had lost his soul. He locked himself in the yard every day, neither going out nor communicating with anyone. He was either in a daze or frantically painting Li Yuan's portrait, as if he had become a completely different person. My father felt that my sister had lost her innocence and believed the slander of treacherous officials, and wanted to marry my sister to Dajing. My sister was already in a bad mood, and when she found out about the marriage, she completely broke down. In more than a month, he has lost so much weight. If this continues, she will be without a sister. So, for her sister's sake, she escaped anyway. She usually practiced modest magic and often went into seclusion, so no one would notice when she disappeared for a while. However, she didn't expect Li Yuan to be so cruel. Liu Su frowned last time. She almost stripped Lianla naked and threw her on the street. This little girl treated her like a cat when she saw her, but now she was not afraid at all. You know, she came here alone, so even if she was killed, no one would know. Liu Su asked. Why would the master save her? What can you give? I have silver, not much. More than 800,000 tiles. I also have the royal farmland given to me by my father. I can sell all of these and exchange them for silver for you. More than 1 million taels of silver. This is all my assets. I beg Master Lu, please save my sister. Lianla said with red eyes. If you think it is not enough, I can write an IOU. I can borrow silver. As long as it can save my sister, I am willing to give any amount of silver. Which child who grew up in the palace did not grow up in an environment of intrigue and deception? Her mother died of exhaustion after giving birth to her 16th brother. So her father asked concubines in to raise her, but how could concubines in be sincere to her? It was her sister who brought her to her side. An elder sister is like a mother. And this is not just a saying. For Li Wuyu, she is really willing to give everything. Liu Su thought for a moment and said, wait. Thank you. Lianla was overjoyed. Soon, Liu Su came back again. Come with me, the master wants to see you. Lianla breathed a sigh of relief and hurriedly followed. Once again entering the prefect's government office, Lianla no longer had his former arrogance and followed Liu Su cautiously. Soon, Lianla came to the top floor and met Lu Yuan. Lu Yuan, please save my sister. She hated Lu Yuan so much that sometimes she even dreamed about how to deal with Lu Yuan. However, at this moment, she had to beg Lu Yuan humbly. Princess Anla, you are so brave, Lu Yuan said. You came to be Aoyang alone, or aren't you afraid that you won't be able to return? You are not that kind of person. Lianla gritted his teeth and said, although I hate you very much, you still disdain to bully a little girl. Although we have different positions, I know that you are an extremely conceited person. Then you are wrong. I am the most petty person. I will definitely take revenge on anyone who has wronged me. Lu Yuan held a cigarette between his legs and looked at the dusty Lianla. He smiled and said, I still remember your unruly look. Isn't it enough for me to give you silver? Am I short of money? Lu Yuan asked with a smile. Lianla was speechless. Lu Yuan certainly had no shortage of money. Well, then tell me how you want to retaliate. I'll accept it. Lianla bit his lip, his eyes full of determination. Your sister dances well. You should dance for me too, Lu Yuan said. I can't dance. Lianla said embarrassed lie. So what can you do? I can forge iron and be a carpenter. Lianla blushed. Other princesses had either been doing needlework or training since childhood, but she was different. She had been holding a hammer at the age of 3, became fascinated with ironwork at the age of 5, and became a carpenter at the age of 8. By the age of 12, she was even more unstoppable and turned her own palace into a workshop. Just you, the blacksmith. Who are you looking down on? Lianla rolled up his sleeves, and a muscle suddenly bulged out on his arm. Lu Yuan sneered, it doesn't grow where it should, but it grows where it shouldn't. Lianla was ashamed and annoyed. Why do you care? I didn't eat your rice. After she finished speaking, she felt that she was too arrogant, and immediately suppressed her anger. Master Lu, you are a real man. You naturally won't argue with a little girl like me. Before, I was ignorant and offended you. I will kneel down and kowtow 3 times to apologize to you. As she said that, she knelt on the ground and kowtowed 3 times. When Lu Yuan heard the sound of his head hitting the ground, he felt a little annoyed. This little girl is really cruel. After knocking his head 3 times, Lianla said, if Master Lu still feels unsatisfied, I can keep knocking my head until Master Lu calms down. Bang, 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 bang. Lianla knocked his head hard. Seeing that her forehead was bleeding, Lu Yuan was afraid that she would really die here. Okay, stop knocking. Are you no longer angry? Lianla said dazed lie. The price is 5 million tiles of silver. You must deliver it to Biaoyang within 2 months. If you exceed the time limit, I will personally lead troops to Diaxia to collect the debt. Lianla was extremely angry. She had thought that Lu Yuan would ask for an exorbitant price, but she had not expected him to be so shameless. 5 million taels of silver. Even if you sell her, you can't get that much money. I am a princess, not a cornucopia. My entire fortune is only a little over 1 million taels. If you want 2 or 3 million taels, I will lend it to you even if I have to borrow from everyone. But 5 million taels is useless even if you kill me. Ask your father for it. He won't give it to me. Lianla smiled bitterly and shook his head. Is my daughter's life worthless? My father paid 3 million taels of silver for my sister to return to the capital. Do you think he will pay another 5 million taels of silver to save her? Besides, in his eyes, my sister has already what? It's already dirty, Lianla said with red eyes. If you had married my sister, why would she have to suffer this sin? None of my business? Do you dare to say that you haven't done anything excessive to my sister? Chapter 189 Say thank you. Then tell me. What did I do that was excessive? Did you take away her innocence? Lianla clenched his fists. Even if not, in the eyes of everyone, she is already dirty. And the whole court regards her as a punching bag. Those people put all the blame on my sister. Nowadays, everyone can scold her and compare her to a scourge. No one cares whether she lives or dies except me. Do you think my father will still spend money to save her? Master Lu, perhaps we little girls are nothing more than playthings in the eyes of you big men. Playthings also have hearts. Lianla choked up and said, my sister is the eldest princess of Deaxia, a royal daughter. Since she came to you, she has become the eternal sinner of Deaxia. When you sent her away, did you ever think about whether she lived or died? You know that she thinks of you every day? She locked herself in the palace every day and painted you over and over again even when she went to bed at night. She dreamed of you. I racked my brains but still couldn't figure out what charm you have that could make my sister so obsessed that she lost herself and even her life. You say this has nothing to do with you? Li Yuan was stunned and frowned. Is that so? Then your father is such a piece of shit. This reminded him of someone. Princess Ero Fu. During the Jing Kang incident, he was captured along with the emperor and taken to the Jin kingdom, where he suffered humiliation. To put it nicely, they were slaves. To put it bluntly, they were people provided for the entertainment of the Jin nobles. But after she returned to China, she was executed by her own brother. It's really sad. Although the customs in Deaxia were open-minded, the discipline towards women was very strict. Therefore, he was not surprised at all that Li Wuyu was treated like this after returning to China. Can't you find out whether she is innocent or not? Li Yuan exhaled of smoke. Although he regarded Li Wuyu as a entertainment, he did not cross that bottom line. We checked, but no one believed it. Li Yanla shook his head. After my sister returned to China, she regarded herself as your woman, which angered my father and attracted criticism from all the civil and military officials in the court. Her father ordered her to marry Da Jing. But she would rather die than obey, so she went on a hunger strike, cut her wrists, and hanged herself. Lu Yuan, have you put a curse on my sister? If so, could you please be so kind as to remove the curse? If you let her go and spare her life, I can stay here and suffer for her. Lianla started sobbing. Who was her sister? The eldest princess of Daoxia, once the most beautiful woman in Daoxia, was extremely beautiful and arrogant. Those who wanted to marry her lined up at Da Jing. But now, he looks withered and lifeless, like a seriously ill patient. In order to prevent her from committing suicide, they had to tie her hands and feet with cloth and tie her to the bed. Li Yuan was a little surprised. Hunger strike, slitting wrists. Hanging yourself? Is this true or false? What's her game? Li Yuan. My sister didn't play any tricks. If the palace servants hadn't discovered it in time, I would be dead. Li Yanla trembled with fear when he thought of that scene. Please be kind and save her, okay? Could it be that the training was too harsh and she had a stress reaction? Lu Yuan crushed the cigarette. Let me correct you, I didn't put a spell on her, nor did I drug her. She deserved this. The way she was treated in Deaxia was caused by your father's irresponsibility and incompetence and had nothing to do with me. The reason I see you is because I am in a good mood. Don't try to blackmail me, I won't take it. But 5 million taels of silver is too much, I can't take it out. However, can I pledge myself here? Li Yanla was desperate. Li Yuan looked her up and down. You are troublesome, ugly, and still talkative. If I keep you in Biaoyang, am I not asking for trouble? I have to support you? Which is a losing deal. Or am I ugly? Lianla sobbed again in anger. She was still a little tongue-tied. She admitted it, but she was really not ugly. Anyway, if I say you're ugly, you're ugly. Li Yuan glared at her. If you continue to be stubborn, I'll fine you 6 million taels of silver. Okay, I'm ugly, Lianla cried. If you cry again, I'll sew your mouth shut. Lianla quickly covered his mouth. Li Yuan was a little annoyed. Was this woman Li Wuyu relying on him? But what Lianla said didn't sound false. You can find out about this kind of thing once you investigate. Could it be a new type of trap? Li Yuan drummed his fingers on the table. What was there to be afraid of? Since this woman wanted to follow him wholeheartedly, why not just take her in as a bed warmer? After all, her bunny girl was the most presentable one he had ever seen. I haven't seen you for a while, and I really miss you. Tell me, how do you want me to save her? Heart disease needs heart medicine. My sister said you don't want her anymore, so you can write to her and tell her that you will take her in. Okay? Don't make it so troublesome. I can just write a letter to your father, Li Yuan said. Okay, but you'd better write her a separate letter, otherwise, she will refuse to eat and will starve to death. Li Yanla said. Trouble. Please Lu. Father Lu, Li Yanla begged. Li Yuan sighed, then picked up his pen and wrote 2 letters in total. Liu Su, send this letter to the border of Daoxia and tell them to send it to Emperor Rexai urgently within 800 miles. Then, he sealed another letter with wax and handed it to Li Yanla. This is from your sister. Tell your sister that I hate people who seek death the most. Take good care of her if she loses weight. Don't come to Biaoyang next month. Lianla took the letter with both hands, as if he had found a treasure. Thank you, Brother Lu. Here's an IOU, please sign and seal it. Li Yuan slapped the IOU in front of her. Lianla looked at the IOU and saw that the final amount owed was 3 million taels of silver, which made her so angry that her teeth itched. He is not a real man at all. He doesn't know how to be gentle and considerate to women. I don't know why my sister would be so obsessed with such a man. But she still signed it without hesitation. Within 2 months, I will collect 3 million taels of silver. If I can't collect it, I will use materials of equal value instead, okay? Sure. Li Yuan nodded, then picked up the IOU and said in a rather annoying tone, "Hey, someone sent 3 million taels of silver to my door early in the morning. It's so annoying." Lianla kept all the greetings in his heart. Nothing else, I'll leave first. Stop. Anything else? Say thank you. Lianla almost couldn't hold back when he saw Li Yuan's serious expression. This bastard is so annoying. I caught Ed, gave him money. And cried, but he actually asked me to say thank you. He is not a human being at all. Thank you. Thank you, Lianla said with a smile that was uglier than crying. Chapter 190. Li Yuan's handwritten letter. After sending Lianla away, Honggu said, "You are so kind. There's nothing I can do. Who can blame me, Lu? For being kind-hearted?" Lu Yuan chuckled. However, the meaning behind these 2 letters is far more than what 3 million taels of silver can represent. Biaoyang is now the 4th largest force in the world and is vaguely sitting on the throne of the first. If he sneezes, people around him will speculate cautiously. He wants to protect Li Wuyu, who dares to say anything against it. Honggu shook her head helplessly, but this man just had the ability to charm people to death. It was just that Li Wuyu was unlucky to have met Lu Yuan. At this moment, Diaxia Wuyu Palace. Emperor Xie was also very angry when he saw Li Wuyu, who was lying on the bed with his hands and feet tied up and looked ashen. You have been dumped. If Li Yuan really wanted you, why would he let you go? He is a true hero, and women are nothing more than playthings to him. Why can't you see through it? Li Wuyu didn't say anything, but just cried silently. She didn't know what was wrong with her. She felt sad when she thought about being abandoned by Li Yuan, as if her heart was hollowed out by a knife. Wuyu, your father asked you to marry to protect you. If you continue to stay in Liqing, everyone's spit will drown you. Li Wuyu laughed, sarcastically. Father, you just want one person to bear all the consequences, and I happen to be the unlucky one. Her will was broken, but that didn't mean she was stupid. Back then, it was you who asked me to go on a diplomatic mission to Biaoyang, and you asked me to seduce Li Yuan. Now that I failed, you're blaming me again? That's right, it's my fault that I'm useless and couldn't get myself out. It is only natural that people who cannot even give a single thing away should be ridiculed and mocked by the world. If being abandoned by Lu Yuan was a hurdle she could not bear, then being treated as an abandoned child by her father was the last straw that broke the camel's back. She is the eldest princess of Daxai, as he has known her mission since she was a child. But knowing it does not mean she is willing to do it. Now, Li Yuan doesn't want her anymore and her father has abandoned her, so everyone is blaming her. Even the servants in the palace laughed at her and said she was an unfaithful person and a disaster. What's the meaning of her living in this world? I'll ask you one last time, are you going to Dajing or not? Emperor Xie had lost his patience. No, Li Wuyu said coldly, since everyone thinks that I have been defiled by Lu Yuan, and I will only be his woman in this life, and only his woman. You have been abandoned by him. He doesn't want you anymore. Do you understand? Why are you so cheap? Emperor Xie roared. I don't care. I don't care even if you die, you have to be buried in Dajing. You were the one who didn't want me first. Father, you were so anxious to send me away only because you felt guilty. You. Xie's thoughts were exposed, and he raised his hand and slapped Li Wuyu. Li Wuyu, who was already weak, took a long time to recover from the slap, but she smiled. Yes, just beat me like this. It would be better if you beat me to death, then no one will laugh at Diaxia's failure. Only when I die can everyone's anger be calmed, and they will be happy and joyful. Father, you can also give an explanation to the people of the world, right? Ew. Xie was so angry that he was shaking all over. He seemed to have just met Li Wuyu. This obedient, well-behaved and sensible daughter in his eyes seemed to have become a different person. You want to die, but it's not that easy, Emperor Xie said coldly. Others don't dare to force you to eat, so I will feed you. He took the bowl, opened her mouth, and poured porridge into her mouth spoonful by spoonful. Swallow it for me. Li Wuyu did not resist at all, but just looked at him calmly. Emperor Xie was a little frightened by her gaze, but he was more angry. I order you to swallow it. Li Wuyu spat out the porridge in his mouth, getting it all over his body and Emperor Xie's face. Emperor Xie was furious and threatened to kill her. If the eunuch beside him had not held his feet, Li Wuyu might have been beaten to death. Your Majesty, if you kill the princess, who will go to the marriage? Xiad also calmed down and threw the bowl aside. If she doesn't want to eat, force her to eat until she is full. At this moment, the eunuch hurriedly came to report, Your Majesty, Biao Yang is sending an urgent message of 800 miles. Emperor Xiai frowned. When Li Wuyu heard the word Biao Yang, there seemed to be a glimmer in his eyes. Whose letter is it? The letter was sent from Biao Yang. A handwritten letter from Lu Yuan, said the eunuch. Emperor Xiai was surprised. A handwritten letter from Lu Yuan. Where is the letter? Your Majesty, please take a look. The eunuch hurriedly presented the letter. Emperor Xiai checked the envelope and made sure it had not been opened before he opened it and began to read. It would have been fine if he hadn't looked at it, but when he did, Emperor Xiai was stunned. He suddenly turned around and looked at Li Wuyu, his eyes extremely complicated. Are you sure this is Lu Yuan's handwritten letter? Your Majesty. It is indeed a handwritten letter from Lu Yuan, and Lu Yuan asked us to deliver it to you at an emergency distance of 800 miles, the eunuch replied. Emperor Xiai held the letter tightly, his face changing from gloomy to bright. Li Yuan said in the letter that he hoped to allow Li Wuyu to serve as captain and attend the sports meet next month. In addition, he also said that he had a very good relationship with Li Wuyu, missed Li Wuyu very much, and did not want Li Wuyu to suffer any grievances after returning to Diaxia. If anyone had wronged Li Wuyu, he would definitely seek revenge for Li Wuyu and kill his entire family. These 4 words are written particularly eye-catchingly. Emperor Xiai felt threatened by Li Yuan. But can he ignore Li Yuan's threat? Cannot. At least, he can't before the victory of the Three Kingdoms alliance. At this moment, he felt his face burning after all. He had just told Li Wuyu that she was a band and the next moment, Li Yuan's letter arrived. The whole article is a defense of Li Wuyu. Who would believe that there is nothing going on between them? Are you hiding something from me between you and Lu Yuan? Emperor Xiai tried his best to make his tone gentle. No. Wuyu, just now, I was too aggressive. I apologize to you, please don't be angry with me, okay? Li Wuyu looked at her father. A little confused, but when she saw the letter, the corners of her mouth slightly raised. Did Lu Yuan say something in the letter? Emperor Xiai's face froze. Don't worry about what I say, but since you don't want to marry Da Jing, I will consider it carefully. How about this, at the sports meet next month, you lead the team to Biao Yang to relax, okay? Li Wuyu looked at his father and laughed. Did he ask me to go? Xiadi was furious, but he couldn't vent his anger. He could only suppress it and said, I miss you even though you didn't make any contributions. I love you, do you understand? Chapter 191 Reform. How could a man like Li Yuan go back to his ex? Don't be so foolish, Emperor Xiai refuted vigorously. And why did the emperor change his mind again? Li Wuyu didn't believe that he had a change of heart. Emperor Xiai was extremely angry. He concluded that there was something going on between Li Wuyu and Lu Yuan. Otherwise, why would she be so desperate after returning to the capital? He asked her to go on a diplomatic mission to Biao Yang to seduce Li Yuan. As a result, he lost hundreds of thousands of troops in the Diaxia Pass. And he lost all his face. It would be fine if Li Wuyu really failed. Judging from this letter, there seems to be another hidden story. He looked at Li Wuyu with murderous intent in his eyes. I will ask you one last time, are you hiding something from me? Isn't it that father already knows everything he should know? Good, very good. Xiadi laughed angrily. No wonder you dare to do this. It turns out you are fearless. Did you expect Li Yuan to support you? So, my daughter guessed right, it was really what he said in the letter. Li Wuyu's eyes became brighter. How dare you betray me in great Xia? Emperor Xia grabbed Li Wuyu's neck with murderous intent in his eyes at this moment. It didn't matter whether there was really something between Li Wuyu and Lu Yuan. With Li Wuyu being what she is, even if we let her go, I'm afraid she will sell out Da Xia completely. It's better to kill her. Li Wuyu's expression was calm, but her face turned red and then purple because she couldn't breathe. But she did not struggle, she just looked at Emperor Xia calmly with a cold expression. Your Majesty, I can't do this. Shang Bao knelt on the ground and hugged Emperor Xia's legs. Even a tiger won't eat its own cubs. Killing the princess will bring you bad reputation. The rest of the people knelt on the ground and pleaded for Li Wuyu. It's not that they sympathize with Li Wuyu. Who knows whether Emperor Xia will regret killing Li Wuyu. If so, they will be in trouble. It would be fine if the emperor wanted to kill ordinary people, but Li Wuyu was the eldest princess after all. Even a tiger would not eat its own cubs, so killing a daughter would not bring good reputation. Seeing that Li Wuyu was about to faint, Emperor Xia snorted coldly and let go of his hand. It's not that I can't bear to do it, but I can't kill her now. Li Wuyu started coughing violently and gasped for a long time before he recovered. At that moment, she felt as if her soul had left her body and felt death for the first time. Why don't you beg me? ask for forgiveness and admit your mistake. Emperor Xia didn't like Li Wuyu's eyes. My daughter's life was given by my father. If my father wants to kill her, then just do it, Li Wuyu said calmly. Some time ago, my father killed my daughter once, and today he killed her again, which means he has done it twice. It seems my daughter is very lucky and won't die. Just wait, Li Yuan wants to protect you, but I won't do as you wish. Emperor Xia left with a cold face, but hurriedly summoned his trusted ministers. After everyone passed the letter around, they all looked solemn, but no one dared to speak rashly. Tell me, how should we deal with it? Emperor Xia said coldly. Your Majesty, when I offered you the marriage, Li Yuan refused and extorted 3 million taels of silver. Now, he is threatening to send the princess to Biaoyang as a guest. This is intimidation. How can we, the great Xia, be frightened by Biaoyang? Said the Minister of War Xu Shaowen in a cold voice. I second the motion. We must not let Li Yuan succeed. Does Biaoyang think that Diaxia is really afraid of him? Many people stood up and firmly opposed it. Shan King, what do you think? Shan Ying thought for a moment and said. The Three Kingdoms War has just ended. Logically, Li Yuan should not take the initiative to provoke a war. Although Biaoyang is the victorious party, it needs more time to digest the results of the victory. According to intelligence sent back by spies at the front line, Biaoyang is carrying out large-scale infrastructure construction in addition to opening up port cities. It is also building 3 new cities including Taishan County, widening the Jingyang River and building roads in the mountains, with no less than 500 workers involved. Such a huge project requires the whole nation's efforts even for a big country. Biaoyang is only a few hundred miles in area, but it has to support a population of 2 to 3 million. So the pressure must be huge. Therefore I think Li Yuan has no intention of starting a war, but just wants to gain more benefits. Speaking of this matter, I have also heard that the open port of Hangshan County not only attracts merchants from other countries to settle down and trade, but Biaoyang has also recently passed an immigration bill. Merchants, scholars, or ordinary people with a skill can obtain Biaoyang household registration, as long as they pass Biaoyang's assessment. Biaoyang does not recognize multiple nationalities. Many people have moved their businesses and properties to Biaoyang. Cai Yongshu frowned and said, I'm afraid Biaoyang is planning to establish a country. I think this move is to establish Biaoyang's lofty image and attract immigrants. Moreover, the people of Biaoyang do not have to perform coercive labor or pay grain taxes, and the land is evenly distributed. This is a great attraction for many people. Emperor Xia felt that the two prime ministers' analysis made sense. But Biaoyang is such a small territory, can it accommodate so many people? Biaoyang's household registration is divided into urban and rural household registration. Urban residents do not own land. The land outside is almost always owned by farmers. Biaoyang is a large city with a population of hundreds of thousands. I have estimated that it is not a problem to absorb 1 or 2 million people. The loss of Huzhu Pass by Dajing allowed Biaoyang to expand its territory by another 200 or 300 miles, thus absorbing more population. At present, Biaoyang adopts unified farming and unified breeding, and the prices of grain and meat are extremely low. Ordinary people in Biaoyang have meat 3 times a day almost every day. Even in Lijiang, ordinary people only have 2 meals a day. They could only eat meat once every 2 or 3 days. Although I am reluctant to believe this, it is a real fact. Biaoyang is not a big place, but in many aspects, it is far superior to Diaxia. After these words were spoken, everyone present fell silent. Yes, these powerful people naturally don't care what they eat for 3 meals a day, because they have everything they need. But it is different for ordinary people. They work all day and their families' food and clothing cannot be guaranteed. And Biaoyang's high treatment is based on trade and plunder. Cai Yongshu said calmly, food will not appear out of thin air, and the same goes for money. I have been studying Biaoyang these days and finally came to a conclusion. What conclusion? Emperor Xi asked curiously. Everyone in Biaoyang has abandoned logic. I still remember that during the Cold War, Li Yuan said that he would open the door to anyone who dared to stop trade. He said so and did so. Or Biaoyang's high-end manufacturing. They plundered the wealth of the 3 kingdoms. That's why Biaoyang was able to rise in such a short period of time and become invincible. Cai Yongshu cupped his hands and said, I believe that Diaxia has reached a point where it must change. As one side grows stronger, the other side declines. Biaoyang is becoming more and more powerful, and Diaxia's domestic wealth and market will sooner or later be eaten away by Biaoyang. Only by facing challenges head-on can we resolve the crisis of Diaxia. I beg your majesty to reform the law. When these words were spoken, everyone in the audience was shocked. Chapter 192, We Can Also Die. Even Xiang Ying looked at Cai Yongshu in surprise. Reform is no small matter. Emperor Xia frowned. 50 years ago, Emperor Lizong's reform is still vivid in my memory. That reform almost brought about the downfall of great Xia. At that time, the Axia was already the undisputed #1 in the world. Da Jing was chasing closely behind, but Daqian had not yet been as destitute as he is now. Emperor Lizong attempted to reform in order to unify the three kingdoms. Radicals at the time called for enriching the country and strengthening the military, focusing on financial management and military reorganization that did increase the revenue of the national treasury, but it also brought many negative effects. The Axia was not defeated by foreign enemies, but it almost perished from internal strife. Emperor Lizong lost, and when it came to the previous emperor, he was deeply frightened by party struggle. She learned from his mistakes and separated the military and politics, which made the Axia great again. Therefore, the Axia was terrified when talking about reform. I know, but the Axia is now on the verge of destruction, said Kai Yangshu. Prime Minister Kai, be careful with your words. Many people tried to persuade him. Emperor Rexia's expression turned gloomy. Are you saying that I will be the king who loses my country? Your Majesty, please do not be angry, please listen to me. Kai Yangshu said, 50 years ago, Emperor Lizong had the hope of unifying the three kingdoms, but because of party struggles, Emperor Lizong's ambition was ruined, so that later generations kept silent whenever this matter was mentioned. But I think there is nothing wrong with the reform. Especially now. The reason why the Axia is great is that its military is powerful and unstoppable. No matter how hard Qian and Jing try, they can only catch up with Xia. The Axia is rich in martial virtue and abundant in resources. The things we make are sold well all over the world and are sought after by everyone. Therefore, our great Texai can continue to plunder the world's wealth and provide for the whole country. But now, the Axia has lost its advantage. The country is flooded with products made in Biaoliang, with only some low-end products with little profit still controlled by the Axia. However, those high-end products have been crazily sought after. Just like this pure-colored glaze, the people of Biaoliang call it glass, which is made by firing gravel. In Biaoliang, everyone uses it to make windows. But in our Axia, it is sold at a sky's price. A piece of glass 1 meter square is worth 1 or 2 tiles of silver, and it is in short supply. Electricity, which we treasure, costs only 10 cents per kilowatt hour in Biaoliang. Ours is 10 als per degree, which is 1,000 times difference and huge profit. Today, the Axia's products have lost their competitiveness and are no longer favored by the market. The prevalence of Biaoliang manufacturing is a sign of national weakness. At this point, Kai Yangshu paused and continued. Why can Biaoliang make things that we can't make? It's because they have more advanced technology. The same saber, when colliding with the Northern Liang saber, would be cut off within 3 rounds, while the Northern Liang saber only made a gap. The armor of Biaoliang is difficult for arrows to penetrate, but the arrows of Biaoliang can easily penetrate our armor. Not to mention that they have the nemesis of cavalry, the Modayo soldiers, as well as guns, sky bombs, and artillery, which we don't have. Biaoliang has surpassed the Axia in every aspect. If the Axia is still immersed in the pride of being the overlord for 200 years, then Daqian will be our way out. The reason why Liuan dared to write such an arrogant letter was because of Biaoliang's strength, right? Liuan can test us so wildly. But can we respond casually? If not, wouldn't it be enough to just send people to attack Biaoliang? Shut up! Emperor Rexia's expression changed drastically. His words deeply hurt Emperor Rexia's dignity. If I keep silent today, no one will tell your majesty the truth in the future. Kai Yangshu knelt on the ground. 50 years ago, it was Emperor Lizong who took the initiative to reform the country and wanted to unify the 3 kingdoms. Although something went wrong, the reform of the previous emperor separated the military and politics, and in return, the Axia became great again. Today, 50 years later, the enemy has put a knife to our neck as the Axia has no way out and can only survive by reforming. Our cavalry and weapons are no longer at an advantage, and are even far behind Northern Liang. Biaoliang only needs to pay a very small price to wipe out our army of hundreds of thousands. Does His Majesty have to wait until Liu Yuan leads his troops into Lijiang before he wakes up? I told you to shut up. Emperor Rexaye was furious. He picked up the pen washer on the desk and smashed it over, hitting Kai Yangshu squarely on the forehead. Blood gushed out immediately. Kai Yangshu almost fainted on the ground, but he still held on to the ground with both hands. Biaoliang is too far ahead of us. If we don't rise up today, Diaxia will face more intimidation and bullying in the future. One day, Biaoliang continued to encroach on Diaxia. A day, we ceded Diaxia Pass. What if Liyuan asked us to cede Lijiang tomorrow? Do we have to flee to the secondary capital? Escaping will never solve the problem. Even if your majesty kills me, there is still no solution. The enemy is making progress. But we are obsessed with our past glory. I am willing to use my blood to awaken everyone to this situation. When he said this, he choked up, knelt on the ground, and burst into tears. Seeing this scene, everyone present was moved. Yangshu had already reached the highest position in the country, so why would he risk the disapproval of the world and offend the emperor? After all, he truly serves the country. Are you really not afraid of death? Emperor Rek'Sai was furious. I am willing to shed my blood on the dragon platform. Yangshu took off his official hat. I am willing to die. Your Majesty, Prime Minister Kai is right. Lap. Lap. At that moment, everyone knelt on the ground. Zhang Ying saw this scene inside, lifted his hakama and knelt on the ground. I agree with Prime Minister Kai's words, which are the words of an experienced and wise man. In this age of great strife, the Axia has reached a point where change is inevitable. Your Majesty, please think twice. Xu Xiaowen and the others were forced to kneel down one after another. Your Majesty, please think twice. Emperor Rek'Sai never expected that Yangshu would do this to him, just to ask for advice. Li Wuyu was disobedient. And these people were also disobedient. Are you forcing the emperor to abdicate? I dare not. Your Majesty. The hearts of our subjects are as bright as the sun and the moon. Emperor Rek'Sai looked at them, his heart filled with violent rage. Can he kill Yangshu? Cannot. Everyone, get out, everyone, get out. But the crowd did not leave, but knelt in the hall. Yangshu looked at Zhang Ying and the others. Aren't you afraid of death? Only you, Yangshu, are allowed to be heroes, but we are not allowed to be heroes? Zhang Ying curled her lips. You wish. That's right, Prime Minister Kai. You can die bravely for the country, and so can we. Their eyes were calm, but they were not afraid. Yangshu was moved. He turned around and bowed to the crowd. On behalf of the people, Kai thanks you all. Chapter 193. Want to eat lots and lots of meat. Emperor Rek'Sai returned to his bedroom, but felt uneasy. Yangshu's words echoed in my ears again. Yes, a letter from Biaoyang was enough to make him lose his composure. What if the Three Kingdoms coalition lost again? Emperor Rek'Sai was in a state of confusion. The cost of the variable method is too high. If it succeeds, it's fine, but if it fails, the consequences will be disastrous. But what Yangshu said was not wrong. If we don't change now, it would be like boiling a frog in warm water. Once the last position is lost, that would be the day when Diaxia would fall completely. But he was still waiting for the Three Kingdoms alliance. As long as we defeat Biaoyang, everything in Biaoyang will belong to Diaxia. Your Majesty, they are still kneeling there and haven't left. Shangbao said with a bitter face. They are all rebelling. Emperor Rek'Sai shouted angrily. Let them kneel there and die. Don't bother with them. However, in the end, Emperor Rek'Sai compromised because a steady stream of ministers entered the palace. It couldn't really kill Yangshu, could he? He had to find an excuse to calm Yangshu and others down. As for Li Wuyu, his methods were more brutal. He first had people put chronic poison in Li Wuyu's food. When these poisons accumulated to a certain level, Li Wuyu would die suddenly. He felt that he would not allow Li Wuyu to live happily in Biaoyang. Moreover, once Li Wuyu died, there would be an excuse to declare war on Biaoyang, killing two birds with one stone. After finishing all these, he asked with a slightly tired look, what is Ila doing? Your Majesty, the princess is in seclusion. The servants in Eli Palace said that the princess, research on gunpowder has reached the most critical stage and no one is allowed to disturb her if your Majesty summons her. Please understand, Shangbao said. Oh, it would be great if this girl could really research gunpowder. Emperor Rek'Sai sighed. The princess is extremely talented and will surely be able to develop a national treasure for your Majesty. Shangbao flattered her again. Tell the palace servants not to make loud noises when passing by Anla Palace. If Anla is disturbed, I will not let them off easily. Emperor Rek'Sai was very fond of Li Anla, and this girl had loved Mohist magic since she was a child. Over the years, she had made a lot of improvements to Diaxia's weapons, so he was looking forward to it in his heart. If we really had gunpowder, we could definitely use it as a trump card to deal a heavy blow to Biaoyang. No, he couldn't show it once he defeated Biaoyang. He could easily take care of the Xi and Jing dynasties. Da Jing was badly wounded, Da Qian was in chaos, and only Diaxia's strength was preserved. Perhaps, this is an opportunity to establish the Three Kingdoms. He murmured, and please don't let me down. At this time, Li Enla carefully entered Li Jing. And under the cover of his men, he was able to return to the palace smoothly. The first thing he did after returning to the palace was to go see Li Wuyu. Sister, I'm back. Li Enla came to Wuyu Palace. At this moment Li Wuyu was still lifeless, lying on the bed in a daze, looking at the ceiling. When she heard the voice, her lifeless eyes moved. It turned out to be Li Enla. She forced a smile. Enla? Sister, why are you losing weight again? Didn't you eat well? Looking at the thin Li Wuyu, Li Enla was distressed and could only cry. Didn't you receive Li Yuan's letter? Li Yuan wrote to the emperor, asking you to lead the team to Biaoyang to participate in the sports meeting. Li Wuyu was stunned. You left Beijing? This is not important. What is important is that I brought Li Yuan's handwritten letter. She did not take credit for it, but quickly took out the letter. You should recognize Li Yuan's handwriting, right? Li Wuyu took a closer look and found that it was indeed Li Yuan's unique handwriting. Biaoyang people don't use brushes. Most of them use fountain pens, and Biaoyang promotes simplified Chinese characters. Li Yuan's handwriting is also original, very different from that of others. This is really Li Yuan's handwriting. Anla, you. Sister, look. Li Anla smiled. Before. You protected me, now it's my turn to protect you. Li Wuyu looked at his sister seriously, and then read the letter word by word. When she saw in the letter that Li Yuan said that if she lost weight by going to Biaoyang next month, she wouldn't have to go, she couldn't help but tear up. He really asked me to go to Biaoyang. I thought my father was planning something again. Sister. Don't cry, it will be bad if people outside hear you. Li Anla wiped her tears hastily. So starting today, you have to eat well and take good care of yourself, so that you will have the strength to go to Biaoyang. You don't want Lu Yuan to see you looking so dirty, right? How could he change his mind? I begged him so much, but he never even looked at me. How could? Li Wuyu didn't understand. Maybe he has a change of heart anyway. When I met him and told him about your situation, he said he wanted to write to you. He even wrote a special letter to my father and asked the people at the border to send it back urgently over 800 miles. Li Anla concealed the truth. Real? Of course, if not, how could I have returned safely from Biaoyang? Li Anla smiled. And then helped Li Wuyu untie the cloth strips on his hands and feet. Looking at the bloody marks, she gritted her teeth and said, these damn things are too cruel. Li Wuyu had been tied up for too long. His blood circulation was cut off, and coupled with his hunger strike and insomnia, he didn't even have the strength to sit up. But she still mustered up all her strength, picked up the envelope, and read it over and over again. I thought you really didn't want me anymore. Did you feel sorry for me because you saw me suffering in Daixia? I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm so humble and servile, but I can't control myself. You said I was cheap and flirtatious, but I've never been flirtatious to anyone other than you. Look how conservatively I'm dressed now. Will you still think I'm flirtatious next time you see me? You said I was insincere, but Xi Yining really gave me the medicine. Li Anla felt distressed and helpless when she saw her sister like this, and she hated Li Yuan in her heart. She turned her good sister into what she is now. Sister, this letter must be burned if it falls into the hands of our father. The consequences will be disastrous, said Li Anla. Li Wuyu shook his head. Father will not come to see me again. I will hide this letter and will never let anyone find it, please. And Li Wuyu kept begging. These days, she fell into darkness and couldn't even feel that she was still alive. Li Yuan's letter was like a ray of light that dispelled the darkness and made her feel alive again. I will eat well, sleep well, and keep myself plump and white. Li Yuan likes me to wear a bunny girl costume the most. He said that girls look better if they have a little more flesh. Li Anla felt very complicated and looked down at herself. So, is a girl like her only fit to be ugly? However, seeing her sister gradually regain her vitality, all the suffering she had endured these days was worth it. Anla, help me up. I want to wash myself and eat lots of meat. Chapter 194, Trampling. Time flies, and the sports meeting is approaching in the blink of an eye. Biaoyang has also become more lively than before. Merchants, students, and tourists from the three kingdoms flock to Biaoyang, making it difficult to find a room in Biaoyang's inns. Biaoyang's economy has reached new highs. In order to demonstrate Biaoyang's strength, Li Yuan cancelled the curfew throughout the territory and arranged dawn patrols every 12 hours. Master, the Empress has sent people over, and the team is led by Madame and Prince Xiao. Liu Su said. Li Yuan nodded, but did not go to greet him as usual. Master, don't you want to go and answer it? Asked Honggu. Why bother trying to please someone who doesn't like you? Li Yuan took out a document and started reading it. These days, the Empress not only took back Tongshu, but also swept into Huangshu, and even swallowed up the territories of the Red Ivory and the Green Forest Army. In other words, the Empress now has 5 states in her hands. From the perspective of territory, she can be considered a second-rate force in the north. The Empress changed her strategy and led the refugees to invade the border. This desperate way of fighting, like a snowball, made the team bigger and bigger. Although she was criticized, she was emperor for 5 years and still had some recognition among the people. This reminded him of Li Chang, who also used the same method. But Li Chang did not have as high a starting point as the Empress. In fact, Li Yuan is quite afraid of this kind of thing rather than being afraid. It is better to say that he is unwilling to kill indiscriminately. At this moment, the Empress seemed to have let go of her airs and was acting more and more like a traitor. If we keep moving forward, I'm afraid we can really revive the country. However, she met Biaoyang. It won't be long before she understands what cruelty is. At this time, Xiaoji and Jia lead the team to the dock. It was more convenient to travel by water from Tongshu than by land. This time, she brought dozens of people to participate in the sports meeting. Her purpose was simple: to make a name for herself. A sports conference involves dozens of countries, which is undoubtedly a good opportunity for publicity. The rejuvenation of Dakion depends not only on strength but also on publicity. And this time, she came to return the silver that Li Yuan gave her. In addition, she also wanted to open up trade with Bai Liang again, just trade, without any personal feelings involved. Sister, this time I came, Bai Liang seems to be more prosperous, Xiao Ji said with emotion. If only one day, our Dakion could be as prosperous as this. Xiao Ji and Jia said. Watch more, learn more, sooner or later, we will be able to catch up. Bai Liang is indeed powerful even if she doesn't admit it. Everything before her reminds her of Bai Liang's prosperity and strength. As Li Yuan said, those who fall behind will be beaten. If you don't want to get beaten, you have to study hard, but you can't work in isolation. Even Xia Jing is learning from Bai Liang. What is there for her to be proud of? After she figured it out, she no longer felt conflicted. Madam, Prince Xiao, we have arrived at the guest house. You can check in by showing your ID. The usher gave a few instructions and left. Sister, are you really not going to Master Lu's place? No, Xiao Ji and Jia took out her ID and started to check in. Those who are invited to attend the sports meeting can stay in the guest house for free. However, athletes cannot live here, but will be diverted to live in the newly built sports area. It is said that there are 2,000 people participating in the competition this time, with 18 major events and 30 minor events. Those who successfully win the event will not only receive a medal from Bai Liang, but also a bonus. The champion received 300,000 tiles of silver, the runner-up received 200,000 tiles, and the third place received only 100,000 tiles. The champion of the small event will receive 100,000 tiles of silver, the runner-up will receive 50,000 tiles, and the third place will receive 30,000 tiles. With 18 major projects and 30 minor projects, the bonus that Bai Liang needs to prepare is as high as 10 million tiles. The expenditure of one event exceeds Dakion's tax revenue in 1 year. How terrifying is that? Based on her understanding of Lu Yuan, there will be a profit after deducting all expenses. Most importantly, hosting this world-class event will greatly enhance Bai Liang's influence. This cannot be bought with silver. Just then, there was a noise behind her. Xiao Ji and Jia glanced sideways and saw a woman in Xiangzhem walking towards her. Who else could this woman be but Li Wuyu? Li Wuyu seemed to have felt Xiao Ji and Jia's gaze as well, but she did not mock him like she did when they first met. Instead, she nodded slightly at him. The Xiangzhem is below the knee, has no slits, and the half sleeves reach the elbows, tightly wrapping even the neck. It was very different from the unrestrained outfit she wore the first time. Moreover, she did not wear heavy makeup, but only light makeup, which made her look very dignified. Even so, it could not conceal her perfect figure, and her charming femininity was far better than before. Xiao Ji and Jia was stunned for a moment, then pursed her lips and nodded at her. She saw the people behind Li Wuyu again. These people were dressed in traditional Diaxia costumes, both men and women. It seems that Li Wuyu is the leader of Diaxia this time. However, just as Li Wuyu was checking in, the hotel servant walked up to her and said, Princess Yanla, the master wants you to stay at the mansion. Li Wuyu was stunned, a hint of joy flashed in his eyes. Okay. I'll go over after I settle the others. Sister, are you going to leave me? Li Yanla said bitterly. No, check in first, I'll come to see you when I'm free. Li Wuyu was very grateful to her sister, but since Li Yuan specially sent someone to find her, she didn't dare to disobey. Don't forget your sister just because you have a lover, Li Yanla said. Definitely not, Li Wuyu said seriously. Li Wuyu left only after everyone from Diaxia had checked in. Seeing this scene, Xiao Ji and Jia had a blank expression on her face. Sister, didn't Master Lu send this woman away? Why is she back again? Xiao Ji lowered his voice and said, This is not good. This woman is so charming that she will seduce Master Lu's soul. You see, I had just arrived and were called away by Master Lu. We have been here for such a long time, but Master Lu has not called us. What does that have to do with me? Xiao Ji and Jia said calmly, so what if they get married? Xiao Ji was speechless for a while, to be honest. He really didn't understand what his sister was thinking. Master Lu is such an outstanding man, how great would it be if they could join forces? He has to be cheaper than other women. Even if Master Lu's stance is problematic, he hasn't done anything to let them down. He even thought it was right even if Master Lu sold weapons to hostile forces. Why bother? For Huan's sake, can't you just talk it out? From now on, don't mention this matter again. There will never be a fight between him and me. One day, we will meet in battle. Xiao Ji and Jia paused, then looked at Xiao Ji dimly. If that time really comes, which side will you stand on? Xiao Ji smiled bitterly. It was another fatal question. Of course I'm on your side. Chapter 195. One sentence almost made me burst into tears. At this time, Xia Cheng led his team to Bai Liang. He came from Huku Ferry, which was destroyed and was currently undergoing major repairs. More than 100,000 workers were building a huge dam. Although it has not been completed yet, it will definitely be the best in the world after it is completed. He has already received Liu Yuan's weapons, 200,000 explosive arrows, combined with an improved crossbow, which is extremely powerful. The most important thing is, he also has the claypot bomb. That is Biao Yang's magic weapon that makes it proud in the world. In addition, Liu Yuan even gave him 100 bird guns. These are all treasures that only exist in Biao Yang. With these treasures, Xia Cheng felt more confident. However, to be on the safe side, he needs to prepare more weapons. Of course, there are conditions for Liu Yuan to buy weapons in addition to the high price. He occasionally needs to pay for some intelligence. For example, last time, he gave a detailed account of the deployment of troops outside Huku Ferry. Liu Yuan was so satisfied that he actually gave him a bird gun. Although this thing costs 300 taels each and the bullets cost extra, he felt like he had made a huge profit. This time, he was considering whether to reveal the news of the Three Kingdoms alliance to Liu Yuan in exchange for more support. He had a very bold idea in his mind, which was to take advantage of the Three Kingdoms alliance to launch a palace coup. The probability of success is extremely high, but he knew his father and was always on guard against him. Therefore, he would not take action unless he was absolutely sure. Unless you have the power to overthrow everything. Your Highness, if this dam is built, it will become a battleground, said Neon Wenyao. Xia Cheng raised his eyebrows and said in a deep voice, Uncle, do you understand why Liu Yuan wants to build a city here? Huku Ferry is too important. If we build a solid dam here and a city next to the dam, it will definitely be a prosperous city. You see, they used large stones as the foundation, embedded steel inside, and poured it with cement. After it was completed, its hardness was unimaginable. When I passed the checkpoint just now, I estimated that the depth is no less than 30 meters to build such a huge dam. It would cost at least tens of millions of tiles of silver and require 300,000 or 500,000 to 500,000 to 500,000 workers. Once it is completed, it cannot be destroyed by human power. This is a divine punishment on the water, which can kill Da Jing. Nian Wenyao's eyes were full of caution. The main reason why he came along was that he wanted to personally see the prosperity of Biao Yang so that he could formulate countermeasures. However, as soon as he stepped into Biao Yang's territory, he was stunned by Biao Yang's generosity. They are so damn rich that they can build such a huge project without any ambiguity. But what made him uncomfortable was that many of these laborers were soldiers of Da Jing. Liu Yuan didn't treat them as human beings at all. It will take at least 10 years to build such a large dam, Xia Cheng said. And Biao Yang still exist for another 10 years? Nian Wenyao asked with a half smile. Xia Cheng did not respond, fearing that he would reveal his flaws if he said too much. His father asked Nian Wenyao to come over, obviously to supervise him. My uncle is no longer on my side. If I want to seize the throne, I must get rid of him. That night, Xiaoji and Jia looked at the fireworks exploding outside, but had no intention of watching. She remembered the fireworks feast that Liu Yuan had specially organized for her a year ago. Then the scene flashed, and the scene of Liu Yuan firmly choosing himself in front of everyone appeared again. The corners of her mouth couldn't help but rise slightly, until the scene switched to Liu Yuan and Honggu. She was inexplicably upset. And there was the Cold War and breakup between the two. In her opinion, they had already said it firmly, completely putting an end to Liu Yuan's delusion. I have my own path, my own mission, and my own responsibilities. If I were just an ordinary woman, it wouldn't be a big deal, but I'm not. But how can I get Liu Yuan to cooperate with me? Just then, there was a knock on the door. Ooh, sister-in-law, Ling Zhi. Mom, Payat and I are here to see you, please open the door. Outside the door, the voices of Lu Ling Zhi and Huan Huan were heard. Xiao Ji and Jia was delighted and quickly opened the door, then saw the aunt and niece looking at her happily. The little girl opened her hands and said, Ma, I miss you so much. Xiao Ji and Jia hugged the child tightly in her arms. Mom misses you too. Mom is lying. She clearly told me that she would come to see me often. Every time I asked Dad, he said a few days. How long has it been? Huan Huan pouted, tears welling up in her eyes. She felt very aggrieved. I'm sorry. I didn't keep my promise. Xiao Ji and Jia didn't want to deceive her child, because this child was her life. Sister-in-law, come home with me, my mother is waiting for you downstairs, Lu Ling Zhi said. Aunt Sue is here? Xiao Ji and Jia was surprised, but she shook her head. Liu Yuan and I are not husband and wife. It is not appropriate for me to go to your house. And I have already made it clear to him that it is impossible for us to be together in this life. Ling Zhi, I know what you mean, but we really can't be together. So, I appreciate your kindness. Lu Ling Zhi held her hand and said, even if that's true, it doesn't matter. If you can't be my sister-in-law, then you can be my sister, right? I dream of having a sister. Moreover, even if you don't marry my elder brother, we can still be relatives. My mother also said, you are our relative, how can we let you stay in a hotel? Come back with me. Mom, please go home with Juan. Shunathan has many little secrets to tell you. Juan hugged her neck and begged. Xiao Ji and Jia hesitated for a moment. Okay, but I'll stay in the guest room. That's great. Lu Lingzhi was delighted, fearing that she would return. She took her arm and left the hotel. As soon as I went downstairs, I saw Liang working as a coachman, and Su Xiuyue standing there waiting. Aunt Su. Xiao Ji and Jia stepped forward quickly. Even though she had broken up with Li Yuan, she was still Huan's grandmother and her elder. How can the younger generation let the elders wait here in vain? When Su Xiuyue saw Xiao Ji and Jia, she held her hand. The first sentence she said made Xiao Ji and Jia's nose sore. Child, you must have suffered a lot of injustice these days. No, Xiao Ji and Jia denied it flatly. Look at you, how much thinner you have become, and how much darker you have become. Su Xiuyue caressed the scar on Xiao Ji and Jia's neck, which had almost been erased, with a distressed look on her face. Does it still hurt? No, it doesn't hurt anymore. Xiao Ji and Jia tried hard to hold back her nasal tears. She didn't know what was wrong with her. Just one word from Su Xiuyue broke her heart. Even if he was facing thousands of troops and covered in wounds, it was not as good as a word of concern from Su Xiuyue. I asked that damn boy to pick you up, but he refused. I was so mad. Su Xiuyue scolded Lu Yuan fiercely. If he doesn't come, I will. Even if you don't marry her, Aunt Su will still recognize you as her daughter. There is no reason to stay in an inn when you come to be Liang. Let's go home with Aunt Su. Aunt Su has always kept your room for you and cleaned it for you every day, just waiting for you to come to be Liang. Chapter 196. There is nothing to discuss between you and me. Xiao Ji and Jia bit her lips, feeling her eyes were so red. No matter how she blinked, she couldn't suppress the soreness. Su Xiuyue pulled her into the carriage and chased after her in search of grapes and watermelons. Xiao Ji and Jia just shook her head at them, signaling them not to be nervous, and then followed Su Xiuyue away. Chief, what if that bastard Li Yuan plots something bad against your majesty? This is Liang, what can we do? Xiao Podeo slapped her on the head. Be careful with your words, calling me miss in public. If others hear it, you'll be in trouble. Watermelon covered his head and stuck out his tongue. Oh, I'll remember it. Not long after, Su Xiuyue brought Xiao Ji and Jia back home. However, from beginning to end, Li Yuan never showed up, and seemed to have no intention of meeting Xiao Ji and Jia. Xiao Yang, go call your elder brother. Su Xiuyue winked at Lu Yang. Li Yang responded and hurried to the backyard. Soon, Li Yuan came out. When he saw Xiao Ji and Jia, he just passed by and said to Su Xiuyue, Mom, do you want to ask me something? Ji and Jia is here, so you don't have to show up? Come if you want to. It's not your first time here. Is it necessary to make such a fuss? Li Yuan said inferiorly. You. Aunt Su. Li Yuan is right. He is a very busy man with many things to do every day. There is no need for him to waste time on an outsider like me. Xiao Ji and Jia smiled faintly, as if she didn't care about Lu Yuan's attitude at all. I still have some official documents to look at, so I won't stay with you any longer. Li Yuan bowed and left. Ji and Jia, this kid doesn't know what's wrong. Don't be like him. Aunt Su. This is good. If he kept hanging around me, I would feel embarrassed. After all, I can't give him any promises or status, and I can't just waste his time, right? But she felt inexplicably uncomfortable in her heart. She didn't understand. Isn't it a good thing that Lu Yuan drew on between himself and her? Why do I have such inappropriate emotions? Su Xiuyue sighed. I can't control the affairs of you young people, so I won't get involved. But you have to remember what Aunt Su said. No matter when, this is your home, you have your room, and we are all your family. If you encounter difficulties, come back anytime. Thank you, Aunt Su. Xiao Ji and Jia said with a smile. At night, Huan leaned over to Xiao Ji and Jia's ear and whispered, Mom, in fact when you were not around, Daddy kept talking about you in front of me every day. Xiao Ji and Jia asked with a smile. What are you talking about me? Dad said you are beautiful, generous, kind-hearted, a good person, and especially sensible. Xiao Ji and Jia patted her on the butt and asked, who taught you to say that? A little girl rolled her eyes and said, no one taught me, it was just my dad who told me. Xiao Huan, you are 6 years old this year and have been in kindergarten for a year. Have you forgotten what your mother taught you, that children should not lie? Xiao Ji and Jia said angrily. Really? Huan really didn't lie. The little girl touched her butt and said a grieved lie. Daddy also said that it was very hard for Mom to give birth to Huan. No matter what, Huan must be filial to his mother in the future. Dad praises Mom every day, although I have long known that my mom is the best mother in the world. My dad is too corny. But so much to say, couldn't he just talk to you in person? You must tell me. The little girl rolled to the side, then crossed her legs and let the fan blow on her. Grandma said so did my aunt. And even my uncle, they all said that my mother was very good. Xiao Ji and Jia's heart moved. Maybe the child was not lying. They were almost breaking up, and Li Yuan was still slandering himself in front of the children. For some reason, she was actually somewhat touched. This is a good thing, as the adults' grudges do not involve the children. Huan is well taken care of. She is plump, errant, carefree, and becoming more and more innocent. Everyone who sees her envy her innocence. The Lu family really doted on her to the core. For this alone, she has to thank the Lu family. Their dad, he is very good too. Of course, I know my dad is the best dad in the world. Although he is very busy, he still makes time to spend time with me every day. He also takes me out to eat delicious food and have fun on weekends. He also made me lots of small toys. Sometimes when dad is busy working, he lets me play on the side. I like going out patrol with dad the most. It's so much fun. However, I still like the bedtime stories my dad told me, such as Shuki and Beta who fly airplanes, the 7 Kalavish brothers, the strange stories of the Heavenly Book, and Nezha who makes trouble for the dragon. The little girl counted on her fingers. There are too many, I can't even count them. Xiao Ji and Jia felt very ashamed that she seemed to have never paid attention to what her children wanted. Li Yuan did everything she failed to do. Even if Li Yuan is busy, he will always keep Huan by his side. She used to be busy with nothing but left her child in the palace to be bullied by others. At this moment, she suddenly felt a little confused. What was the point of snatching the child from Lu Yuan? "Man, when will you marry my dad?" Huan tilted her head. "It would be great if you gave me a brother or sister, and I could share all my toys with him. I can even tell her a story to put her to sleep. Children should stay out of the adult business." Xiao Ji and Jia said, "If you want brothers and sisters so badly, let your father have them with other women." "No way, I want my mom and dad to give birth to me." "You silly girl. Are you trying to piss me off on purpose?" Xiao Ji and Jia nodded her little head. She had no idea who this girl learned this clever trick from. She felt that if she continued chatting, this little girl would never stop. I finally coaxed her to sleep, but Xiao Ji and Jia couldn't sleep. After falling asleep, Xiao Ji and Jia was awakened by a dream again. In the dream, she and Lu Yuan gave birth to a bunch of children, 7 or 8 in total. Lu Yuan still complained that it was not enough, saying that they had good genes and they should have more children, otherwise it would be a waste. She wiped the sweat from her forehead and said, "Fortunately, it was just a dream." I glanced out the window and saw that it was already dawning. After waking up the little girl, Xiao Ji and Jia washed up and went to the restaurant. Li Yuan was holding the latest newspaper and a cup of soy milk in his hand. Honggu was sitting next to him, while Li Wuyu was standing behind Li Yuan, looking like a little girl. "There's no problem with the newspaper, just publish it according to this edition." Li Yuan handed the newspaper to Li Su and ignored Xiao Ji and Jia. Xiao Ji and Jia hesitated a bit, but still sat opposite him and greeted him with a smile. "Good morning." Li Yuan just nodded without even raising his eyelids to look at her. The atmosphere is a bit depressing. Xiao Ji and Jia also felt uncomfortable. It turns out that a person's indifference can reach this level. "Li Yuan, I want to talk to you, can I?" Li Yuan put down the cup and stood up. "There is nothing to talk about between you and me." Chapter 197, Li Yuan, let's go. "Li Yuan, does it have to be like this between us?" Xiao Ji and Jia frowned. "Can't we talk calmly?" Li Yuan said, "You always talk about principles and try to win me over at every turn. The empress is more important than anything else in your eyes. I really have no interest in talking to her. Besides, isn't that what you wanted? Besides, how did you treat me when I was talking to you nicely? If you are in a good mood, just reply to me. If you are in a bad mood, I won't say a word more. You always act pretentious. Everyone is a human being for the first time, so I don't need to do that. Are you taking revenge on me?" Xiao Ji and Jia asked. "Everyone on my revenge list is dead. And you are not qualified." Li Yuan looked at Xiao Ji and Jia. "By the way, my daughter is very happy to see you. If conditions permit, come and spend more time with her. Instead of coming to Biaoyang every time because of trouble. I'm not a Bodhisattva who helps people solve their problems every day. Even if I were a Bodhisattva, you would still have to kneel down and burn incense for me devoutly, right? Being a human being requires conscience. And being a parent even more so. For the sake of so-called principles, you don't even care about the most important things. I understand. You and I are not the same kind of people. If they are not on the same side, then they are enemies. For my daughter's sake, I won't do anything to you. Don't expect me to always remember our old friendship. That's all I have to say. Take care of yourself." Li Yuan is gone. Xiao Ji and Jia sit there, speechless for a long time. And a man wait for a woman for 5 years. But can a woman remain a widow for a man for 5 years? Even if I observe mourning, it's only 3 years. A person like him could be successful in Biaoyang not by being merciful, but he is willing to give himself his gentlest side. It's me, I don't know what's good for me. Xiao Jianjia sighed softly. She was neither a good emperor nor a good mother, nor the white moonlight in Li Yuan's heart. Why can you talk whenever you want? It doesn't make sense. Xiao Jianjia feels that the biggest change that growing up has brought to her is that she is no longer blind. The world does not revolve around one person. Neither does Li Yuan. Li Yuan didn't take what happened just now to heart. As the saying goes, because you once had it in your heart, you won't miss it anymore after you have truly let it go. Master, you? By the way, Honggu, are all the athletes from various countries here? Li Yuan asked. Yes, there are 73 countries in total. Of the total of 1,600 athletes, all of whom have arrived in Biaoyang, Honggu now works as Li Yuan's full-time secretary. With one hand holding a knife and the other hand holding clerical work, however, she still prefers to go strike. She simply cannot handle this kind of secretarial work, so she can only do it anyway. Li Yuan put his hand on the black stockings and rubbed them. To be honest, Honggu's long legs were so amazing. And wearing the hip skirt made by Sister Luo, it was simply YYDS. Should we have dinner with these representatives today and hold a meeting? Let me check the schedule. Honggu frantically flipped through the documents and searched for a long time before finding this item in the schedule. Yes, said Tenna. And we will have a meeting in the conference room, and at 11:30. We will have dinner at the Tianxing Terrace. Li Yuan nodded and thought about the next process in his mind after everyone arrived. The opening ceremony of the sports meeting would begin. In just 1 month, nearly 1 million tourists flocked to Biaoyang. People from all walks of life in Biaoyang made a lot of money. Not counting the growing economy, advertising alone brought Biaoyang 5 to 6 million alwats of revenue. This does not include the increase in Biaoyang's influence and the cohesion of the people, so they spend tens of millions to host events and make a lot of money. Master, I? Seeing Honggu hesitating, Li Yuan asked with a smile, what's wrong with you? Master, please don't let me write the essay. I feel like can't scrawling all over my body when I see these words. Could you please choose someone more suitable? Honggu hugged Li Yuan's hand and begged. I clearly memorized all these procedures last night, but when I woke up, I forgot everything. I'm not cut out to be a clerk. Li Yuan sighed. It was not that he didn't want to, but he couldn't find a more suitable person. There is no need to explain his status, and the secretary not only comes into contact with him every day, but also has access to Biaoyang's core secrets. For such a person, loyalty is only the most basic requirement. Not only that, but you must also be able to stick to your heart and resist temptation. But even so, Li Yuan was still worried, because the relationship is still not solid. Before Shu Yuanshang became emperor, he let Empress Ma take charge of logistics, construction supervision and everything else. That's because they are husband and wife. Two sides of the same coin. Queen Ma was also very clear that she was fighting for her husband, herself, and her children. So she would do her best. When Lao Shu went to war, she even dared to stay as a hostage. She is not afraid even of death. Honggu counts as one, Liu Su counts as one, Xie Hong Mei and Xie Yuan count as half. Sister Luo is just a very contented little woman, so don't count her in the list. Murong W. Wanking is just a fun person, so it's better not to mention her. Even if Lu Ling Zi Chai is cultivated, it would not be suitable, because she will get married eventually. It's not that Li Yuan is on guard against even his family members, but he wants to avoid bigger troubles. Originally Xiao Jianjia was the first choice, but now she is no longer on the list. Honggu is the surgeon, Liu Su is away, Xie Hong Mei is a military doctor, and Xie Yuan is in charge of Hengshan County. Letting Honggu work as a clerk really puts her in a difficult position. You keep holding on. Once I find a suitable candidate, I'll take your place, Li Yuan said. Don't lie to me. Honggu was afraid that Li Yuan would coax her. It's more painful for me to hold the pen than to kill me. Don't worry, I won't lie to you. Li Yuan first went to the prefectural government to handle some official business, and then came to the conference hall. Representatives from 73 countries all entered the venue. As soon as Li Yuan appeared on the stage, he instantly became the focus of the audience. Immediately afterwards, everyone stood up, and those who were more distantly related called out to Governor Lu. Those who are closer are called Big Master. Li Yuan nodded, raised his hand slightly, and motioned for everyone to take a seat. However, no one dared to sit down. On the stage, Cao Yanhu, Xi Yuan, and Shang Wei have arrived. Yes, Li Yuan doesn't pretend anymore. He just wanted to tell everyone that Shang Wei was his. Biaoyang Pass is also his. After Li Yuan sat in the main seat, everyone took their seats. Below, everyone looked very excited. Shang Wei's arrival made everyone realize that Biaoyang was surrounded by 3 major passes, let alone an army of 1 million. Even if it was an army of 2 million, what would it matter? Everyone is envious and fearful. Li Yuan's high profile once again intimidated everyone. Xiao Jianjia looked at Shang Wei, who was sitting in the upper seat. With a cold expression, Even though she had known that Shang Wei had two minds, at this moment, Shang Wei completely revealed his disguise, causing her heart to drop to the bottom. Especially when she looked at Shang Wei also looked at her. This made Xiao Ji and Jia feel inexplicably nervous. Is this traitor planning to reveal his identity? Chapter 198, Having Ulterior Motives. She was a little nervous. What would she do if Li Yuan knew that she was the empress? Will he kill himself, or put himself under house arrest and then command the princes? However, Shang Wei just glanced at her and then looked away, and no one knew what he was thinking. Li Yuan was very satisfied with everyone's expressions, and then said, "On behalf of all Biaoyang, I welcome you all. I hope that in the next competition, athletes from all countries will achieve good results." After delivering his opening remarks, Li Yuan gave a detailed explanation of the procedures during the competition. Everyone has a schedule and some precautions in front of them. After the conference, Li Yuan hosted a banquet for everyone at Tianxing Tai. Just then, he saw Xie Cheng holding a wine glass and walking towards Xie Yuan. After the two chatted for a few words, they dispersed. "What's wrong?" Li Yuan called Xie Yuan over and asked. Xie Yuan said in a deep voice, "Master, he seems to have recognized me." Although Xie Cheng just came over to say hello, there was something wrong with his eyes. However, she was sure that it was not the greedy look a man would have when he saw a beautiful woman. "So what?" Li Yuan said. "Although you have changed a lot, people who are familiar with you will definitely recognize you. If your sister had shown up, she would have been recognized long ago. But don't be nervous, this is Biaoyang, and you are the county magistrate of Biaoyang, no one can hurt you." Li Yuan's words gave Xie Yuan confidence. "Thank you, master." Li Yuan smiled, but kept glancing at Xie Cheng out of the corner of his eye, and the boy was also looking over here. Xie Yuan must have guessed correctly, he recognized Xie Yuan. But he was smart and didn't say it directly, otherwise he would be in danger. "I will definitely repay you tenfold or 100fold for all the suffering you sisters endured." Xie Yuan's eyes were slightly red. If there weren't so many people around, she would have burst into tears. After such a long time, every time she thought of the grievances and suffering she had endured, she couldn't help but feel afraid. "I was being chased so hard that I didn't dare to stop or close my eyes to rest. Whenever I close my eyes, all I see is the tragic deaths of my grandfather's family." Hatred and fear were like a vicious tiger lurking in her heart, constantly eroding her mind. However, Li Yuan just touched her face with his hand, and the waves in her heart were calmed down. She knew that the man in front of her would definitely make the decision for him. But Li Yuan didn't expect that Xiao Ji and Jia saw this scene. "Sister. Master Lu." Xiao Ji looked at the intimacy between Li Yuan and Xie Yuan and wanted to open up new opportunities for him, but Xiao Ji and Jia interrupted him. "What happens to him has nothing to do with me. This banquet is very important. These representatives from other countries are the ones we want to win over. Even if Biaoyang is unwilling to cooperate with us, we will cooperate with them. The Xie and Jing dynasties are the key. As long as they agree with us, Bi and Jing will be a joke." "But sister, Xie Jing has already formed an alliance with Bi and Jing. Will they really approve of us? Everyone in the world is pursuing profit. Who would go against money?" Xiao Ji and Jia thought of Li Yuan's words, which made her inexplicably depressed. That night, she followed Li Yuan and learned it a lot. There are not only combat ideas, but also governance concepts. She tried her best to dispel the shadow of Li Yuan in her heart, but it became even more profound. The most important thing is that it was all taught by Li Yuan. At this moment, she suddenly realized how sincere Li Yuan was to her. Her eyes dimmed and she dispelled the inappropriate thoughts. At this time, Neon Wenyao asked, "Is it her?" "Almost exactly. Although she has changed a lot, her dimples and beauty spots remain the same. Moreover, her name is Xie Yuan. There would be no such coincidence in the world. I thought she was dead, but I didn't expect that she was in Biaoyang and became the magistrate of Hengshan County." Seeing Li Yuan caressing Xie Yuan's face, Xie Cheng said fearfully, "It seems that she has a close relationship with Li Yuan. She must have become his concubine a long time ago. Otherwise, why would Li Yuan let a woman take charge of such an important port city?" Neon Wenyao sneered and said, "As expected, good people don't live long. But evil will last for thousands of years. This matter must be reported to His Majesty immediately." Xie Cheng nodded, but he was extremely nervous inside. Did Li Yuan know Xie Yuan's identity? If he knew, what would he do? On the other side, Li Wuyu was also present as the leader of the Diaxia envoys. She naturally could not stick to Li Yuan. Li Anla was turning into a hamster. Eating with great pleasure, his cheeks were stuffed full, but he kept stuffing more food in. "It's delicious. So delicious." Li Kumei smiled bitterly when he saw this. This girl couldn't walk when she saw something delicious. However, he was thinking in his heart, Shang Wei's high-profile disclosure of his identity means that Biaoyang has gained another solid fortress. but no one knows how many troops Bialyang has. He estimated that the Bialyang army should have no less than 200 troops. As long as Liu Yuan wanted, he could pull those prisoners up at any time and turn them into elite soldiers in minutes. In other words, no less than 500,000 troops. Attacking a city always requires a force several times greater than that of the enemy, and it is not certain that it can be captured. There is an inland river in Bialyang that is 10 feet wide and more than 3 feet deep. This further increased the difficulty of the siege. Moreover, this inland river surrounds almost all the cities. 1,000,000 troops is a joke. Unless the three kingdoms formed an alliance and each side dispatched 1,000,000 troops, it would be possible to capture Bialyang. That is 3,000,000 troops. Before the army moves, food and fodder must be sent first, and at least 500,000 civilians are needed. That is, for 0.5 million people. Just thinking about it made Li Kunai feel annoyed. He tried all the methods of attacking the city, but the success rate was low. The siege is even more of a joke. Bialyang can hold out for a year. But do you think the army can hold out for half a year? If we don't win this war, we will lose, and it may even directly bring down a country. We have to report this news to His Majesty. Bialyang can only be conquered through strategy, not by force. Li Kunai felt that a forceful attack was too cost-effective and too risky, so he would be better off finding a way to assassinate Liu Yuan. However, they sent many assassins, but they all died in Bialyang. So, what method should be used? It was at this moment that Xiao Jianjia caught his attention. This woman seems to be the biological mother of Liu Yuan's daughter. Thinking of this, a sharp light flashed in his eyes. At this moment, Xiao Jianjia had no idea that someone had already set his sights on her. She even held up a wine glass and came to Li Kunai. Prince Jingzhan, I am Xiao Jianjia, a female general under the command of His Majesty, the Emperor Daqian. His Majesty asked me to say hello to the Emperor of Daxia on your behalf. Li Kunai looked at Xiao Jianjia with a smile. Hasn't the Empress been deposed? Your Emperor is in Bianjing. Xiao Jianjia's heart sank. The thing she was most worried about had really happened. Only Her Majesty the Empress is the legitimate one. Xiao Yi of Bianjing was just a puppet supported by Yang Ji. Yang Ji was a traitor, so how could he be considered orthodox? Prince Jingzhang, please don't make any mistakes. Bianjing is a city with a vast territory, tens of millions of people under its rule, and a strong army. What does your Empress have? Chapter 199, cut off the relationship with one knife. What does she have? A few thousand elite soldiers or 100,000 rabble. 5 impoverished state capitals. Hundreds of thousands of hungry people. Seeing Xiao Jianjia was speechless. Li Kunai smiled and said, I was just joking. Please don't blame me, General Xiao. Your Majesty is indeed trapped in the north now, but it won't be long before we can reach Bianjing and recapture Bianjing. Prince Jingzhan, just keep an eye on it. Xiao Jianjia resisted the urge to leave, even though everyone around him was looking at him with mocking eyes. Oh, it seems that the Empress is quite ambitious. How about forming an alliance with our great Xii? We will send troops to help you take back the world. Li Kunai's words made everyone around him burst into laughter. Okay, as long as Emperor Xia cancels the marriage alliance with Bianjing and only recognizes your Majesty, everything will be negotiable. Xiao Jianjia seemed not to hear the sarcasm in his words. Li Kunai glanced at Liu Yuan and found that he didn't care at all, so he knew that what was said in the intelligence was true. Although Liu Yuan and this woman have a daughter, their relationship is not good. Xiao Jianjia is focused on Qian and her heart is not with Liu Yuan. What a stupid woman. Even though he has a powerful backer, he still has to be humble when talking to representatives of other countries. Isn't this a slap in Liu Yuan's face? You're losing both the sesame seeds and the watermelon. How foolish. However, this also indirectly shows that Liu Yuan is extremely tolerant of this woman. And the flaw lies in her. Thinking of this, Li Kunai said, you can go to Lianjing and I can help you introduce them. I take Prince Jingzhang's words seriously, said Xiao Jianjia. With so many people watching, how can I go back on my word? Li Kunai tried to persuade him, but when he saw Liu Yuan looking over here, he didn't dare to do it too obviously. Okay, let's talk about it in detail later. Xiao Jianjia raised her glass, toasted him, and drank it all in one gulp, treating everyone equally, including the representatives of small countries that she once looked down upon. A king who loses his country has no dignity at all. Only the face that is picked up is real face. Xiaoji saw it and felt pain in his heart. Sister, just show your appreciation. There's no need to drink it all in one gulp. Xiao Jianjia burped and shook her head. No, a person's character can be seen from his drinking habits. In this kind of situation, I must make them remember me. Xiaoji was helpless even if these small countries agreed. What could it do? Can they help with all they have? Even when doing business, what matters is that both parties are willing to do it. It's not a deal if you just rush into it. He looked at Liu Yuan, and seeing that he had no intention of stopping him, he walked up to Li Yuan and said, Master Lu, long time no see. Xiao Jiji, I heard that you are now leading the cavalry to sweep across the north. When you haven't seen someone for 3 days, you should be looked at with new eyes, Li Yuan said half-jokingly. Xiao Ji scratched his head embarrassed. Master Lu, I was unable to come to see you the first time, please forgive me. You and I have different positions. And I understand you. Li Yuan was still quite grateful to Xiao Ji and his son. If they hadn't covered up for him, Biao Yang would have been exposed long ago. Thank you, Master Lu. Xiao Ji was delighted and said, Master Lu, the main reason we came here this time is to open a border market with Biao Yang. You can set any conditions you want, as long as we can meet them. What do you have to show for it? Li Yuan said, don't say that I, as a teacher, don't remember our friendship. As long as you can impress me, I will agree to it. Xiao Ji smiled bitterly. Is barter feasible? Not only that, we can also provide shelter for the caravans entering Biao Yang. Are you threatening me? Sure enough. You have grown up. Li Yuan smiled. You can just ask the empress to cut off the trade route. I will open it up in the same way she cuts it off. Xiao Ji shuddered. No, that's not what I meant. I just beg you, Master Lu, to remember that we have been covering for Biao Yang over the years and opening up the border market. You covered for me, and I saved you and your son. So let's just write it off. Then please, Master Lu, help me this time for my sake. I will be very grateful. As he said this, Xiao Ji knelt on the ground and bowed deeply to Li Yuan. Everyone looked over. Xiao Ji and Jia's expression changed even more. Xiao Ji, what are you doing? Xiao Ji looked at her, shook his head gently, and pleaded with her, asking her not to come over. Xiao Ji and Jia paused. She knew that Xiao Ji was asking Lu Yuan for help. Please help a bunch of disciples, Master Lu. I will always remember Master Lu's kindness. If you need me to do anything in the future, I will go through fire and water without hesitation, provided that it does not violate my position. Xiao Ji lay prone on the ground, prostrating himself with his entire face buried in the floor. At this moment, all his face and dignity were gone. But he no longer cared. As long as Li Yuan is willing to open a border market, he can help them overcome the difficulties. However, by doing this, he was undoubtedly putting Li Yuan on the fire. You also want to cut off this bond of friendship, right? Fine, I'll help you, Li Yuan said coldly. From today on, I, Li Yuan, will expel you, Xiao Ji. From my sect from now on, you can no longer consider yourself my disciple. If I find out that you are cheating people under the guise of being my disciple, I will never forgive you, no matter where you are. Xiao Ji trembled all over and tears suddenly burst out of his eyes. He never thought that Master Lu would actually expel him from the sect. Master Lu, don't call me Master Lu, Prince Xiao. From now on, you and I have nothing to do with each other. Lu Yuan looked at Xiao Ji coldly. You can't call yourself my disciple anymore. Don't blame me for not reminding you. Xiao Ji burst into tears. Tit for tat, today we will end our relationship. I promise to open border markets with you, but if we meet on the battlefield in the future, I will show no mercy and kill you on the horse. Do you hear me clearly? Li Yuan said sternly. Xiao Ji then understood that Lu Yuan expelled him from the sect in order to protect him. He is the crown prince of Daqian. How could he accept to rebel as his teacher? If one day, there really is a war between the two, how will he deal with it? Ji, listen carefully. I will never forget Master Lu's kindness. He kowtowed 3 times to Li Yuan. Come closer and listen. Li Yuan waved his hand. Xiao Ji quickly stood up and walked up to him. Li Yuan whispered in his ear, remember it? Even if I die, I will never forget it, Xiao Ji said loudly. Okay. From today on, there will be no more affection between you and me. You must tell your father about what happened today, or you will die with regrets under the sword of Bai Liang. Xiao Ji looked at Li Yuan deeply and bowed to the ground again. Thank you very much, Master Lu. Everyone around was very curious about what Li Yuan said to Xiao Ji. But, it's mostly envy. A mere fact of opening border markets to each other is enough to make them salivate. Xiao Ji wiped his tears, returned to Xiao Ji and Jia's side, grinned, and whispered, Sister, look, Master Lu agreed to trade with us. You don't have to drink so hard anymore. Chapter 200 Poisoning. Why do you have to do this? Xiao Ji and Jia had a complicated expression. That's my teacher, you can task him. But I cannot. It's not shameful to kneel before him. Xiao Ji smiled. Well, anyway, Master Lu has agreed to open a border market, so we can continue to trade with Bai Liang. When no one is around, I will visit Master Lu to discuss the sale of weapons. Xiao Ji and Jia glanced at the cold Li Yuan and asked, what did he ask you to do just now? Sister, don't ask any more anyway, it's not a matter of principle, Xiao Ji said. Okay, I won't ask, but if he threatens you, I would rather not open this market. At worst, we can just fight our way out, Xiao Ji and Jia said. Sister, do you think I have anything that is worthy of Master Lu's threat? Xiao Ji smiled bitterly. Don't think of him as such a bad person after so long, you should know his character well. Xiao Ji and Jia pursed her lips. She noticed that everyone around her was looking at her with envy. Li Yuan did not stay in Tianqingtai for too long, and immediately asked Texai Yuan to receive him. Wuyu, come with me, Lu Yuan said. Uncle, I'm leaving first, Li Wuyu said, and then glanced at Li Yanla who was still shopping, and followed Li Yuan openly. Li Kunli's face was not looking good. The eldest princess of Daoxai had become a maid who was ordered around by Li Yuan. Mian Wenyao whispered to Xia Cheng. It seems that Daoxia still has a trick up its sleeve. Xia Cheng nodded. Originally, Daoxia was planning to marry Li Wuyu to him as the crown prince's concubine, but they suddenly changed their mind later. It turned out that he was sent to be Aoyang to curry favor with Lu Yuan. Li Wuyu's appearance and figure are much better than those of his wives and concubines. As for the people around me, they are all envious. How many of these small countries don't want to marry their princesses to be Aoyang? But Li Yuan didn't even look at it. Xiaoji and Jia had a blank expression on her face, and no one knew what she was thinking. The carriage stopped at the Pear Garden. At this time, the Li Yuan garden was bustling with people and crowded with tourists from other countries. One big stage and 6 small wood-eye stages accommodated more than 3,000 people and made a fortune every day. Arriving at the exclusive box, Honggu opened the window. When Li Yuan sat down, he could see everything on the stage, but he could not see what was happening in the box below. Mu Rong W. Wanking did not go on stage today. His performance was of the Butterfly Lovers. Since this story came out, Mu Rong W. Wanking personally turned it into a stage show, and countless men and women were moved by it. Li Yuan thought it was pretty good. Biaoyang cannot only have developed industry, spiritual richness is also important. Honggu retreated behind the screen, found a seat, and watched the show by herself. Li Wuyu picked up the teacup, poured tea for Lu Yuan, then knelt at Lu Yuan's feet, pouting and eyes reddening. I thought the master really didn't want me anymore. Tears welled up in her eyes, but she didn't dare let them fall, for fear that they would ruin her carefully applied makeup and that Lu Yuan would dislike her. Yesterday, Li Yuan asked her to go back home, but he didn't see her, which made her excited but also secretly disappointed. You've lost weight, Li Yuan said, picking up the teacup. Thus 2 words made Li Wuyu tremble all over and burst into tears. I'm sorry. Master, it's Wuyu's fault. Wuyu has tried very hard to eat meat, but I don't know why. I just can't gain weight. Seeing her face full of self-blame and nervousness, Li Yuan was also embarrassed. It seemed that the previous training was too harsh, which really caused her to have a stress reaction. But this woman is also gifted. She only slimmed down her face, waist and legs. The parts that shouldn't be slimmed down haven't become thinner at all, but instead make her measurements look even more exaggerated. This Qi Yanzhem is not revealing at all and is very dignified, but more attractive than the previous bunny girl costume. I don't blame you, get up, Li Yuan patted his thigh. Li Wuyu stood up nervously and sat on Lu Yuan's lap. Although tears were still on her face, her heart was filled with fulfillment, as if all the grievances had disappeared with this caress. Just wear this from now on, Lu Yuan said again. Yes, master. Li Wuyu was delighted. It seemed that Lu Yuan liked this outfit very much. I've heard about what happened to you in Daoxia. You will stay in Biaoyang from now on, Lu Yuan said. Thank you, master. Li Wuyu was as obedient and docile as a kitten, but at this moment, she suddenly felt nauseous, followed by waves of panic and palpitations. Li Yuan noticed that something was wrong with her. What's wrong? Master, I can't breathe. I feel so uncomfortable. Before Li Wuyu could finish his words, he fell backwards from Li Yuan's legs. Li Yuan was startled and hugged her quickly. Li Wuyu's face turned blue, his eyes were closed, his lips were blue and purple, and he was sweating all over. He was almost dying. Honggu, come here quickly, Li Yuan shouted and let Li Wuyu lie on the ground. Honggu was also shocked when she saw the unconscious Li Wuyu. Master, what happened to her? I don't know. Give her a first aid. You give her CPR while I give her artificial respiration, Li Yuan shouted towards the door again. Liu Su, call the doctor. Honggu was afraid that something was wrong, so she stopped Li Yuan and said, Master, there is foam at the corner of her mouth. She is most likely poisoned. Don T give her artificial respiration rashly. Although Li Yuan has some basic medical knowledge, Honggu is more professional than him, having been in the world since she was young. She will definitely not do anything without a purpose. Honggu was seen kneeling on the ground, scrubbing and pressing several occupants of Li Wuyu, then using a special technique to open her mouth, lifting her up, and then patting her back hard. Wow! Li Wuyu immediately vomited a large pool of smelly substance mixed with blood. Seeing what Li Wuyu vomited, Honggu's face turned cold. It turns out that she is poisoned. This woman is really not a good person. I will kill her. Wait. Li Yuan raised his hand hurriedly. I guess she herself doesn't know that she's been poisoned. Besides, if the poisoner wants to poison me through her, this is too stupid. This isn't an infectious disease. Artificial respiration was something he brought from another world. Did the person who poisoned him expect that he could perform artificial respiration? Did you expect that you would be alone with Li Wuyu? Honggu snorted coldly, but the murderous intent in her eyes did not diminish at all. No matter who it is, if they endanger Lu Yuan, she will never show mercy. Honggu, continue to induce vomiting and find a way to save her life. Although Honggu was reluctant, she had no choice but to do as she was told. She poured all the tea in the teapot into Li Wuyu's stomach, and then used the same method to induce vomiting to make her vomit out everything in her stomach. For a moment, the whole box was filled with a sour smell. Although Li Wuyu was not yet awake, he managed to save his life. Chapter 201, Aerial Gaming. Soon, the doctor arrived. After diagnosis, it was found that Li Wuyu was indeed poisoned. Even though the doctor was experienced, he couldn't tell what poison she had been poisoned by. For a while. Master, I have already given her acupuncture and fed her in. Iu Huang Ji Edu pills and J, IUXIN pills and JUXIN pills. She will be fine in the short term, but she still needs further consultation. Li Yuan didn't say anything and carried Li Wuyu into the carriage. After arriving at the hospital, several senior doctors confirmed after consultation that Li Wuyu was indeed poisoned. However, whether it is a chronic poison or a strong poison remains to be investigated. If it's the former, that's fine. But if it is the latter, then it must be thoroughly investigated. Who knows who these people will poison next? This is something Lu Yuan cannot tolerate. Liu Su has gone to investigate. And if Li Wuyu died here, he would not be able to explain it even if he had 10 mouths. If something like this happens before the opening ceremony of the sports meet, who would dare to attend in the future? Try every possible way to save her, Lu Yuan said. The great doctor was giving Li Wuyu treatment, and he couldn't help, so he could only wait outside. It took 2 full hours before the door of the emergency room was open. Leading the team was the director of Biaoyang Hospital, Liu Boqian, who was known as the #1 doctor in the northern part of Daqian. The Liu family has been practicing medicine for generations, and some of their family members even served as officials in the palace. However, by the time of Liu Boqian, the family had fallen into poverty, and he no longer liked being an official. Instead, he traveled around the country, treating poor people. Princess Yu suffered from headaches for a long time, so she found Liu Boqian after the consultation. Liu Boqian said he wanted to perform an operation on Princess Yu's head, no, a craniodiopy. Bing Yu thought Liu Boqian was joking and almost killed him. But he also brought down the Liu family and exiled Liu Boqian's clan to northern Liang. No one knows who leaked the news and attracted the barbarians. The human had a hidden illness and wanted to seek treatment from Liu Boqian, but was intercepted by Liu Yuan. If Tiyuman had been allowed to capture Liu Boqian at the beginning, he might not have died so early. It was also thanks to Liu Boqian that he alone took up the responsibility of promoting medicine in northern Liang. Otherwise, with Liu Yuan's limited knowledge, it would be impossible for him to develop Biaoyang Medical. Liu Boqian is now not only the director of Biaoyang Hospital but also the head of the medical department, enjoying the treatment of a full colonel. Dr. Liu, how are you? Liu Yuan was casual with everyone, but he had genuine respect for Liu Boqian. Master, I have accomplished my mission. Princess Xie Changel has been rescued. From what I have seen, she must have been poisoned by a rare chronic toxin. Liu Boqian's all Liu Yuan's respect, but he was very humble and did not dare to put himself in a high position. Oh, reason? If it is a strong poison, it will take effect violently and quickly cause heart failure and kidney failure. It is so severe that it is basically difficult to save the patient. Moreover, the other party poisoned us with the intention of killing us, which would not give us time to rescue us. Liu Boqian's words made Liu Yuan's eyes light up. Go on. We in Biaoyang have been researching poisons, so I have a say in this area. Liu Boqian said. Princess Xie Changel's pulse is very bad, not only her heart and lung function, but also her kidneys. Almost all the organs in her body are failing, and her pulse is almost non-existent. This symptom must be caused by toxins eroding the blood and lungs for a long time. However, because the toxins are weakened, the human body has metabolic functions. A certain amount of toxins can be metabolized. But if you consume it continuously every day, over time, when it reaches a certain dose, it will definitely break down your body and cause sudden serious illness. That is what we often call sudden death. But I remember that a few months ago, the master asked me to give Princess Xie Changel a full-body physical examination. At that time, Princess Xie Changel was in good health. So it is impossible for her to suddenly fall seriously ill and die suddenly in such a short period of time. She's too young. Liu Yuan fell into deep thought. If it is a chronic toxin, then there is only one person who poisoned it. Emperor Xia. His letter was an unbearable provocation to Emperor Xia. Emperor Xia not only endured it, he actually sent Li Wuyu over. When we think about the consequences of Li Wuyu's death in Biaoyang, everything can be explained. Li Yuan felt a little cold. These emperors were simply inhumane in order to achieve their goal. Can I go in and see her? It's better not to do that. It's better to wait until her condition stabilizes, Liu Boqian said. Okay, Li Yuan did not force it. Then please, make sure she survives and try your best to cure her. Please rest assured, sir, Liu Boqian bowed. At night, Liu Su entered the room and said, Master, everyone is under close surveillance. There is nothing unusual with the Diaxiate allegation at the moment. Li Yuan waved his hand and said, continue to observe. Regardless of whether it is a chronic poison or not, we must not let our guard down. But what worried him was Li Wuyu, who was in critical condition 3 times in one day. The poison she was infected with was more virulent than she had imagined. The most important thing is the multiple organ failure caused by poisoning, which makes irreversible damage. After all, she is just a victim in this game. He will definitely seek revenge for this loss. Are you ready for tomorrow's opening ceremony? My lord, everything is ready. The flame of liberation has been lit in front of the victory monument. Tomorrow 20 people will take over and carry the flame of liberation into the venue, Honggu said as she opened the notebook. Okay. Li Yuan rubbed his swollen head. Let's all go to bed early. The next morning, Li Yuan got up very early. Xiao Ji and Jia still lived in the mansion, but from beginning to end, he never took the initiative to talk to her, but treated her normally. Of course, all this is based on the premise that Xiao Ji and Jia does not harm the interests of Biaoyang. By the way, Lu Yuan, I have already given all the silver you gave me before to the Lu mansion, a total of 5.5 million to alls the extra 500. Zero tiles will be considered as the interest on the silver I borrowed, Xiao Ji and Jia said. Okay, thank you very much. General Xiao, Li Yuan said with a smile. Also, don't give me money anymore. I can't afford it, Xiao Ji and Jia added. You saved me several times and helped me out. I will find a way to repay you for all of this. As for that night 6 years ago, you don't have to worry about it. If it weren't for you, I would have fallen into the hands of thieves long ago. So, you don't owe me anything. As for the child, I kept him willingly. Everything I have suffered is my own fault. You don't have to feel ashamed. Li Yuan looked at her in surprise. Why are you talking about this so early in the morning? I'm afraid if I don't say it now, I won't have the chance to say it in the future. Xiao Ji and Jia smiled. I have always given you the feeling that I am using Huan Huan to control Biaoyang. I did think about using Biaoyang after all. In my ease, you are a traitor. Frank, Li Yuan gave a thumbs up. Xiao Ji and Jia gathered the hair scattered on her face behind her ears and said, but I am too stubborn. I can accept that my daughter's father is a mediocre person, but I absolutely cannot accept that he is a traitor. Chapter 202, Song of Biaoyang. I'm very conflicted. I despise you and use you at the same time. I isn't that too cheap? Li Yuan shrugged. In fact, how could he not see Xiao Ji and Jia's twisted mind? She was too proud, so proud that she couldn't even lower her head. But at this moment, she lowered her head. She no longer has the splendor of the past, but all her edge has been restrained. She has indeed grown up. So, from now on, apart from normal trade exchanges, I will never mix personal feelings into it. Even if one day, Your Majesty asks me to conspire with you, it will be for the revival of Daqian. After all, we are now surrounded by enemies on all sides. It is difficult to even protect ourselves, let alone revive the great Qian dynasty. Those so-called principles and pride are not worth mentioning. I also hope that you can put aside your personal feelings. If you ever meet me on the battlefield, don't show me mercy. And I definitely won't. Xiao Ji and Jia's eyes were calm, but her heart was extremely uneasy. Okay. Li Yuan nodded. Then starting today, Biaoyang will march into Daqian. Okay. Xiao Ji and Jia's heart tightened, but she still nodded. I'll wait for you. General Xiao's transformation is truly impressive. Li Yuan clapped his hands. This is all thanks to the careful teaching of Governor Lu, said Xiao Ji and Jia. You're welcome. After all, I don't want my daughter to be without a mother. Under the table, Xiao Ji and Jia clenched her fists tightly. This bastard was really infuriating. Don't worry, even if you die, I won't die. I will definitely live 100 years. The Daqian is gone. How can you live 100 years? Lu Yuan sneered. Then stood up and said, let's wait and see. Just wait and see. Looking at Lu Yuan's back, Xiao Ji and Jia felt more stressed. If Lu Yuan really extends his hand to Daqian, who can get there? No, he probably won't take action in a short period of time. Before he takes action, I must conquer the world, Xiao Ji and Jia thought. At this time, the entire Biaoyang prefecture was crowded with people. The road has been cleared. And the city defense troops are armed with live ammunition. There is a guard post every 5 steps and a pavilion every 10 steps, isolating everyone behind them. In front of the victory monument and before the statue of the people, stands a huge liberation tripod. A huge fire was rising inside the large cauldron, and the purpose of Biaoyang was engraved on the cauldron. This is the first stone tablet built by Liyuan after he defeated the barbarians and rescued the slaves. So it is of great significance. He will be the first to take on this fire. But before that, a voice came from the loudspeaker. Today is the anniversary of Biao Yang's victory, and it is also the sports meeting. The first flame of liberation will be lit by the governor himself. Before that, please observe 3 minutes of silence to mourn the heroes who died in the war. The originally bustling scene suddenly became quiet, as if the pause button was pressed. Even the entire Biaoyang prefecture fell silent at this moment. Nian Wenyao sucked in a breath of cold air, his eyes full of shock. Biaoyang's unity and execution were simply appalling. The most important thing is that the humanity shown by Biaoyang and the support for the soldiers from top to bottom are beyond imagination. Let me ask, in a Biaoyang like this, which soldier would not fight to the death? Not only Nian Wenyao, but all the foreign envoys present were surprised. But no one dared to speak. It was such a solemn and dignified scene, where one could hear a pin drop. No one wanted to become the target of public criticism. After the 3 minutes silence, Liyuan took the baton and lit the flame of liberation in front of the liberation cauldron. At that moment, the whole city was boiling. Long live the master! Liyuan smiled, holding the Holy Grail in his hand, and walked slowly past the crowd. The speaker is also tracking in real time. A master has come down from the victory monument. The second runner-up should get ready. The second runner-up is Cao Wianhu. Cao Wianhu was also very excited. The master really had not forgotten him. The fact that he can be the second in command is enough to show his status in the master's mind. Soon, Liyuan appeared at the intersection and everyone around him cheered. Next, it's up to you. Liyuan handed the Holy Grail to Cao Wianhu. Thank you, sir. Cao Wianhu was extremely excited. He took the Holy Grail and ran forward. Come on, Master Cao. Master Cao, thank you for everything you have done for the people of Biaoyang. Hearing everyone's praise, Cao Wianhu burst into tears. At this moment, all his hard work paid off. It's worth it even if I die. The third runner is Wang Dabiao. Even though Wang Dabiao is still in the bullet factory, this guy is definitely one of the top 5 figures in Biaoyang. After suppressing him for so long, it's time to give him some sweet rewards. Wang Dabiao was also very excited at this moment. He was a big man. But the moment he took the Holy Grail, he actually shed tears. Thank you, Master. And thank you, Master Cao. Wang Dabiao wiped his tears and ran away. I thought he would spend his whole life pressing bullets in a bullet factory. It seems that the master has forgiven him. He also secretly swore in his heart, Wang Dabiao, Wang Dabiao, Wang Dabiao. If you dare to disrespect the master again, you will be cleaning the barracks toilets for the rest of your life. Afterwards, the fourth baton was Niu Han, and the fifth baton was Niu Taishu. Anyone who has made significant contributions to Biaoyang is in the relay team. Even Shen Yuan and Ian were among them. This made the two of them even more grateful. They were originally surrendered generals, and now their appearance in the relay team shows that they have been accepted. The sense of belonging and strong sense of honor made them indescribably excited. And for the last time, Liyuan appeared again, holding Huan Huan's hand, and Huan Huan holding the Holy Grail. The father and daughter walked to the victory cauldron. From the liberation ding to the victory ding, it symbolizes the hardships that Biaoyang has gone through. When the fire of liberation was lit in the cauldron of victory, the whole city roared. Everyone sang song of Biaoyang. Arise, you starving and cold slaves, arise. You suffering people of the world. My blood is boiling with passion, and I want to fight for the truth. Liyuan picked up Huan Huan and couldn't help but join in the chorus. The old world is in ruins, slaves, rise up, rise up. Don't say we have nothing, we want to be the masters of the world. Liyuan changed the tune of the Internationale, making it full of power. Whenever you sing this song, you will be shocked by the lyrics. And this song of Biaoyang encompasses the core ideas of Biaoyang. Let every person at the bottom of society resonate. All the foreign representatives were shocked. This was the first time they had heard the song of Biaoyang, but the meaning expressed in the lyrics was enough to shock the world. Xiao Jianjia also stood there in a daze. She thought Lu Qiuishan was bold enough. But I didn't expect that Liyuan, as a son, is more powerful than me. What Liyuan wanted to do was to rescue all the people at the bottom of society and let them rise up in resistance. Especially the sentence, there has never been any savior, and we don't rely on gods or emperors. Everyone present was horrified. If not gods or emperors, what can we rely on? Liyuan's song is more than just bold. This is almost a fundamental denial of imperial power. Chapter 203 Great Days. I still remember a widely circulated saying in Biaoyang, are kings, princes, generals and ministers born into different species. This is what Liyuan said himself. This sentence is almost a slash to the imperial power. These are words that no emperor could tolerate. Xiao Jianjia was learning from Biaoyang, but she didn't dare to learn it all. Only today did she realize that Biao Yang's way of life was like candy wrapped in poison. She glanced at the envoys from other countries and found that they all had serious expressions. No country's son will instigate the people to overthrow oppression. Any political regime is established for the sake of the world. If the royal family wants to rule peacefully, it cannot do without the aristocratic families and local gentry. But in Biao Yang, there were no aristocratic families, no gentry, and no powerful people. Scholars can enter the civil service by taking exams, and the exams are open to all classes of people in Biao Yang. Biao Yang suppressed the aristocratic families, the gentry, and the powerful. They helped the poor, the common people, and the poorest people at the bottom of society. Xiao Jianjia fell into deep thought, and then a gleam of light flashed in her eyes. There are no gentry or powerful clans under my command. This is an opportunity to rebuild Daqian. Xiao Jianjia thought, it seems that I still don't understand the essence of Lu King's plan. Mobilizing the people to start a human sea war is just a superficial appearance. The real core is to destroy and rebuild, and reshape Daqian. The Lu family father and son are truly geniuses of the time. Putting aside their positions, they are all talented people with the ability to change the world. Xiao Jianjia clenched her fists at this moment. She was full of confidence in the future. The singing gradually faded. Liyuan took Wan Huan away. The highlight was the opening ceremony in the evening. Soon, night fell. The Biao Yang prefecture is brightly lit. Tens of thousands of people entered the Victory Stadium and were all shocked. Especially those foreign tourists. When they saw the scene, they were full of curiosity, just like country bumpkins entering the city. The people of Biao Yang, on the other hand, were proud of it. Some of the native inhabitants of Biao